Hey, we're live. We figured it out. Finally, fellas. We're real late, but we're here.
Welcome all.
Now let me see if I can figure out how to turn the chat back on.
Yeah,
But,
we need the chat. All right,
alright.
Eric's fumbling.
Uh,
He's scattered. He's confused.
uh, but yeah,
He
keep.
doesn't know what's going on.
Alright.
All right,
Basically, we're here to talk about 2024 One Piece. So,
we've gathered some of the lads.
some of the boys.
We got Rico, we got parvision, we got Brago, who's currently muted. I imagine he'll unmute at some point, but yeah, just wanted to get the boys in to see what they think about 2024. Should be even huger than last year. If we're talking about the manga, yeah, I know.
Ooh,
Maybe we just
big.
maybe we just take 10 minutes to really just go back in 2023 and the year that was. It's just insane year of One Piece.
Crazy.
The manga alone, generational
Absolutely.
year, generational year. Like people have started to realize the fights we're actually gonna get when they watch that One Piece opening, the new one.
Yes.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah. Like
It's
these are these
been-
dream matchups.
It's kind of crazy, right? Like we look back to a world pre 1078, where before we went around the world, and it's kind of wild. Think of a One Piece without Divine Departure, Garp coming in, the Garp versus Kuzan stuff, the Buggy stuff, the Emu stuff, which is huge.
Huge.
So many of that completely changed the game, and that was all last year, and that was all back to back to back to back. And like you said, that's just the manga. Then we had Gear 5 last year, and all the amazing anime episodes, the live action, JRPG, announcements for a remake. I mean, come on, bro. It was a great year to be a fan.
Ridiculous. All right, the chat is up. I can see the chat. All right, all the technical issues are solved.
Alright, so the issue was apparently this video is for children, so they wouldn't let me use the chat.
Yeah, One Piece is for young children.
Kids manga.
Alright,
Right?
the chat is live. We are good to go. People in the chat. I can't see it on this, but I can see it on my phone, so we're good. Alright, now Pa,
Yes.
king of the crazy theories.
Uh-huh.
Have you bought anything for me for 2024? Anything you're cooking at the moment?
Damn, we're starting off on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, it's a tough one. I've been telling people that this next chapter is kind of huge. I think not just. I was actually gonna make a video, but I don't have time anymore, so I might as well just say it's just like the like in terms of One Piece punches, this punch that's coming from Kuma might be like one of the most important punches, not from like a Luffy versus Charlos, that kind of thing, but there's a huge debate right now of the Gorosei and their strength, their power level. Like I don't even know if I would say half the community thinks they're frauds. I think most of the community thinks they're frauds, or I think it's more fair to say that like most of the community could agree that maybe they're not as strong as like top of the verse, right?
No, I've always said commander level.
And so like that degree is so insane that like you in a lineup of like 100, if you brought up 100 of manga readers, line them 100 of them, you don't know who's gonna have what perspective. And after this chapter, I think we'll be able to know like, okay, this is where the Gorosei is at. This is what the One Piece world is like. This is what we're gonna see in the future.
But do you know the history of the Gorosei power levels?
Like as far as what the community thought?
Yeah, it basically all stems from Noshijiro having a sword.
Yeah,
that's basically where it all stems from.
Swords and scars, right? It's like people
the scars
like,
got me for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I was in the community when that happened, but like when Gorosei started coming back up sometime like end of 2022, I remember people were, I always thought that the Gorosei were going to be some kind of, well, they're not like fighters, like I always thought they would have like hacks of some sort, and the magic circles are some insane hacks, and holding people down with the force is some insane hacks. So as far as that goes, like I've always felt that, and then people are like, what do you mean? Of course they're fighters. Do you see their scars? I was like, is that really what we're
I know. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, Yeah, Noshjura having a sword. People are like, "Oh, that's Zoro's final fight, so you gotta scale them all up to Emperor level." It's like, it's insane.
Yeah, and then the progression of it's so wild how the conversations go where it's like it went from Saint Venus having a sword to being like, oh well, Mihawk is the strongest swordsman, so the Gorosei guy can't be that crazy. I'm like, that's a whole. I was like, I don't even want to deal with this one. I just feel like the Gorosei is strong. Don't drag me into the Mihawk stuff.
The problem with the Gorosei, like right now with Saturn, is like he's not like, because he's like spider limbs aren't that impressive. He's got really impressive special abilities.
Right.
So like he's got the healing, the insane healing factor, and he's got that force beam or whatever it is. Right.
That's the most fascinating part for me, honestly, is the healing stuff. There's like certain things applied to his abilities that we've never seen before, and I think that's just gonna be super dope. As my boy Roger comes in here, what's up, my boy?
Hey, what's up? Can you guys hear me? Are we good?
Yeah, we can hear you. We
Yeah.
can.
Oh yeah,
That's
we
what I
could
like to
you.
hear. I got the new camera set up and everything. Things are looking nice. Debuting it with you guys.
Yes,
Pleasure
sir.
to see you. Got a lovely group over here. We got the Red Force podcast. We got Recon. We got Parv. We got Brago. What's up?
Brago's
Sure.
still muted 10 minutes
No,
ago.
he's not muted. He just hasn't said it.
Okay, he's just sitting there.
I was just waiting, yo.
Oh,
I was just
shit.
waiting.
He's waiting
Shout
for
out to my
me.
guy.
See, there
Shout out
you
to my
go.
guy. Yes, sir.
It took the hockey clash. This is what it
Listen,
is. Fantastic.
I'm a bit under the weather, so if I sound
Oh,
low,
good.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Everyone's
I hope
sick.
you feel
and-
better, brother.
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
This time of the year.
So yeah, like the Gorosei, right? Saturn, this punch. I mean, it's gonna be emotionally impactful. I don't know how much like it's gonna put Saturn down or not because of this.
Does this
Healing
punch land though?
It has to.
But
It
we're
has to
arguing
land.
about the most recent chapter. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like it does land. I'm kind of in the set that the more I think about it and like I see where we are in the story, I do kind of feel like Saturn is gonna die here, and along with Kuma. To clarify, I think they both die in
Well,
Egghead.
Roger,
Yeah.
you don't have to
Yeah.
worry because there's no spoilers out yet, so we're all good.
Well, no, I know I'm all good,
Yeah.
which is why you did this on the perfect day. But I think he's dying. I don't think from
That's
this
crazy.
punch necessarily, but I do think if we are to expect something that's meant to be Ohara incident level, right? Even
Yeah.
above that is what they keep hyping this up as. The Egghead incident's going to be even more impactful than Ohara.
Yeah.
I think the best way to do that is you broadcast the death of a Gorosei live to the rest of the world, in addition to revealing all the stuff within Kuma's memories.
Yeah.
Because if what Vegapunk said is to be believed, then all this stuff is backed up in there. And if Punk Records goes wild and all of this is broadcast to the rest of the world, that is a 1-2 punch of basically a reverse of the Ohara incident, where people are finding out the truth of the world, and the death of a major figurehead.
Yeah.
And if you get both of those in one, in addition to like,
Huge.
as I'm sure we'll talk about later, someone else maybe getting Kuma's fruit, we're in for a good time.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
BB
good
theory.
time.
Shout out to the opening.
Classic.
Shout out to the opening.
I mean, that theory is like an ancient theory from like 2006 or something.
and
But
it's
that's what makes
crazy.
Yeah.
It's so good that it's finally
Yeah.
coming true now, though. It's
Right.
like, oh, it just feels so good.
So how do you think the Gorosei death and Kuma's death happens? I'm gonna say Kuma like extracts all the pain he's felt through his entire life and just unloads it onto Saturn.
Bingo.
I'm like,
That's
I
exactly
don't think
it.
that can. I
Violates
don't
him.
think that can kill Saturn though.
Bruh,
Yeah.
how much
I don't
damage
think
that
on
is?
its own.
Do you think he'll
I
heal
agree.
fast?
Yeah,
Why-
no, because I think what has to happen. I think Kuma and Bonney they have to see the Sun God together.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think Luffy gets the last hit.
Okay.
So Bonney,
Wait,
Bonney
Brago,
and
you
Luffy?
also think Saturn dies on Egghead though?
Nobody dies.
Okay.
Nobody dies.
Nobody. Whoa. You don't think anybody dies at the end of Egghead?
I
Kuma
think even
included?
Kuma has a chance to survive.
Bro. Wow.
Well,
I
we've
think
already
Kuma
got
can survive in essence. I don't know if like
Yeah.
Kuma himself, like like the pawpaw fruit going on. Like I know a lot of people like have been following, oh my God, Kuma's here, the pawpaw fruit thing. But my thing is like, there's so much going on with Vegapunk that it kind of detracts that for me because we have the green blood now. The green blood has already made
Yeah.
the pawpaw
Welcome,
fruit.
Cole.
So if we wanted to, we could have the pawpaw fruit in anybody. Like Vegapunk could just
That's
give
true.
like any devil
So
fruit
yeah,
to
but
anybody.
like, do they have
Oh,
to
I
have
came to a theory? Bet.
certain arms and mechanical things in their bodies
Cole-
and such,
Yeah, Cole, you know about this VV theory from the ancient days of. I'll look.
Oh
pop
yeah,
for.
Randy, Troy, and I we went over that like in one of the streams for a minute, but like how he's like, because I think it ties to the numbering of the fruits, where like if you
Yeah,
take
yeah.
like
Right.
it's 5 and
Nikyu.
6,
Yep.
you take Chopper, it's like 1 and 9 or something.
Yep.
And
So
then
he's
so
wrong.
eventually like Nikyu would be 2 and 7 or something, and so Vivi would have like that power, and then
Yeah,
she would
that's,
complete the
uh,
entire like
yeah.
number tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout
The question is
Yeah.
though, to add to that, do you think though that it's physically going to be Kuma's fruit, or do you think it's going to be based around kind of what Saturn said in this last chapter, talking about like the essence of fruits and like the extraction? Like it could potentially be an extract of Kuma's fruit, and maybe that goes with what Brago was saying, which someone else could actually get his power without Kuma necessarily dying, right? If these extracts are put into somebody
But
else.
like,
Yeah.
I think Vivi will get it because it goes back to Nefertari, Lily's presumed ability of the purple fruit to
and
teleport.
the whole
political-
true
Yeah.
the whole true sovereigns meeting and the hand of liberation, it all
The
kind of
spitting
makes sense,
image
yeah.
thing too,
But-
with
Exactly.
Emu mentioning
Something
he's like
somebody
1-to-1.
mentioned was
Yeah.
Kuma's memories could still be in Punk Records.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they should
totally.
be. They
Yeah,
they
they should-
actually should be
They
because
should be in Punk
it's,
Records.
but it's like a viewing via Vegapunk, so is it really Kuma's memories or?
Yeah,
or
that's what I'm
like
thinking, too.
Yeah.
Like
well,
here's
he
what I think is
does-
actually way better. Like here's my theory, and I hope it happens. I hope that Kuma gets his sanity back just by hearing the drums liberation. He gets to like at least
That'd be awesome.
temporarily.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's able to actually
I
like
would love
regain his sanity, because just how like the robot activated because of Luffy's heartbeat.
Right.
Maybe
Yep.
like Kuma can also kind of get his humanity back, at least for temporarily. And then he sees Luffy pop off. They let's say combo. Let's say it's a family combo. Luffy, Bonney, and Kuma, and they just
Oof.
put down Saturn, bro. Like
There
it's
you
I
go.
over.
mean,
Like, put him down.
There you go. There you go.
Love it.
technically,
I
he
like
already got his humanity back. He's being a dad right now.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Right.
this,
We haven't
Yeah, but I
heard him
need to see
say
the
anything,
drums
but-
do something,
well,
bro.
this
Like the drums
goes-
have more importance now, for
this
sure.
goes all the way back to like Thriller Bark and like the questions of like what is a shadow?
The
Who's
shadow of
the
the
body
bodies.
controls.
Yeah.
Not even like
Yes.
not even
The
like
shadow thing.
what's his not even Moria really knows how his like power works, really.
Well, that's-
Somebody's asking the question: how did
Yeah.
Kuma know that
Yeah,
Bonney
but
was in
more is a
trouble?
bum.
I mean, yeah, fair
Kuma
enough.
no Bonney was in trouble. I assumed it had
More.
something to do with like the
Maybe
technology
S-Bear?
and Egghead.
It might be technology, or it might be the Buccaneers' like secret ability. Like
Yeah.
they could,
Maybe.
they could
Someone
locate anyone they
said-
care about or something.
Yeah.
There was a theory someone said where it's like if we follow the timeline, I haven't had time to verify it, but a few people have said it now at this point, where by the time Vegapunk gave Bonney that sapphire necklace, that would coincide with when right before Kuma had left.
No, I
So-
checked it.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
checked this. I've checked this. Kuma starts to move as soon as Rob Lucci says he wants to assassinate Bonney. He gets up off
But he
Dragon's
says
Island.
it in front of S-Bear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
S-Bear. Yeah, so there's like a
So it doesn't
there's a
coincide with
weird
the necklace.
I feel like
Okay, not the
He starts
necklace.
to move,
I
or he
think
starts
it
to
could
like
be.
because
It
in
could
the
be a
chapter
little
where
between
he
those two.
He,
Well, hold on,
start-
the
he,
chapter
he
we see him
rips off all
escape.
this.
that was the same
No.
chapter we find out that there's still like when Vegapunk and Bonney meet.
Yeah.
That's when he starts to actually like get out of the contraptions, and you have Ivankov and Dragon yelling at Kuma like, Kuma, where are you going, friend?
Gotta
What's
hold you
going
down,
on?
right?
okay.
But that all led to the stuff with him going to Marijoa and then that clash with
Yeah.
Akainu before he eventually flew away.
Yeah.
So I am wondering, like, he wouldn't have gone straight to Akainu and climbed up the red line
Well,
if
I
Bonnie
think-
was in trouble at Egghead initially, right? I mean, he would have gone.
He has
do
to go.
something
He has
else.
to go around the world, so he has to hit the red line.
Yeah, pretty
It's
much.
a
But like the
little
red
There's
line's in the
also-
way,
issue,
essentially.
I guess.
I
There's
guess.
also-
Oh, I guess
Climb
that's
the red
true.
line,
Yeah, that's right. If he's going around the world, I guess that's true. That's true. That's true.
There's also
Climb
the
it
question
eventually.
mark though, is like I've he went to the red line, right? And then it didn't seem like if he already got to the top, and from my point of view, he could have just pawed himself straight to Egghead, but it
But
seemed like he
Pop,
was like in a destructive mode too. And so then when Akainu came
take
in and he was
everybody
like
out.
fighting it, then
But if
it
you look at
seemed
the
like
panel,
Yeah.
panel, he's like being held down by chains, so he like
Yeah.
has to fight off the guards.
I'm it's things like that that is kind of goofy because
Yeah.
like if he just
I know.
fought himself,
I know.
do those people just insta die because they're holding onto the chains?
I
Like,
know
you
it's
what I
weird. He
mean?
has to like touch himself, so he's like being held down by chains, so he can't
Hey, yo.
slap himself. I don't know.
I feel
Yeah,
like
some interesting-
I feel like
yeah,
a-
people holding down Kuma is the crazy. Like I still to this day, I'm looking at the revolution that he fought. There's no world where the royal King Bakori's royal guard could stop a Kuma. Like that doesn't make sense. They don't have threats.
My own headcanon for that is like Kuma couldn't like bring himself to like kill
Yeah,
anyone.
he's like a pacifist at heart.
Yeah.
Like to this
Right.
day, that's one of the goofiest things in One Piece, where it's like it was 4 dudes looking at Kuma's like, "Hey man, don't
Hey,
mess
man,
with me."
don't-
I'm like,
Yeah.
What are you doing?
You don't know
You're
how
looking
strong
at-
Bakori's lived 3 times. You don't know how strong this man is.
Yeah, he just keeps on coming back.
He's-
Yeah.
King Bakori is one thing, but those royal guards, they were just they thought they were in top 1 in the verse. They looked at Kuma and said, "I got this, buddy."
But,
Everyone
yeah.
stop! I got this. I'm like,
Just-
no.
Just for Kuma, like we got a donation for $2 from Gray. He goes, Kuma's gonna go out like Whitebeard. Do you think like
Standing, you know?
yeah,
Bro, that
like,
reminds me.
full holes in him and shit? Do you think we'll get a speech from the narrator about like Kuma's life as well?
Oh, for
think-
sure.
If he's conscious, yeah. I mean, why not? Like, you know,
Yeah.
like at least wish Bonney a proper, you know, happy birthday. I would love to see at least that. Like, you know,
Right,
he's
right.
smiling,
That's-
he has that face, and then
Yes.
Bonney in his arms, happy birthday. You know, that'd be
Yeah.
excellent.
I honestly think too it coincides with whenever Luffy, comes back up from eating the food and is back
Yeah.
into Gear 5 mode. Because when you have that moment of Kuma with his own eyes seeing Nika in the sky and
Right.
Bonney witnessing it at the same time, I think that moment of the 3 of them needing to be present and alive
Yeah.
leads to whatever other conclusion we're
Right.
going to get. Whether or not Kuma dies or Kuma lives or something, I do think that moment of Bonney and Luffy and Kuma all being present and the 2 of them seeing him in the sky is like the most important thing of
Right.
anything else.
You also got to
Regardless of
factor in
whether or
that
not,
third parties.
Yeah.
Because other people are going to be here.
Kizaru,
Yeah.
a perfect example, right? We don't know what's going on
Yeah,
necessarily with Kizaru. Like you had that little
Yeah.
moment of him slumped over, but is he turning sides? Like what's
Yeah.
going on
Who do
there?
people think
No.
that
Blackbeard
DoorDash
Pirates.
delivery is? Huh? Who's the Uber Eats driver?
The Uber, I Caribou.
God
Shit,
damn it, I
Caribou.
can't
It's
believe
Caribou
it.
still in the barrel.
Either the
Yeah,
machine
of
was
course.
already there or carried.
The
Like,
machine's
Kizaru
right
was
next to
1%
it.
chance.
The
You
The
guys
wires
last
are
thing,
in
I'll say this: if it's Caribou, the last thing Caribou said to Zoro was that you'll pay for this, and if that's him giving Luffy food,
Well,
Well, they have to
Yeah.
escape. Remember that. Like Caribou, it's like a Buster call times 10.
I think
It's like, yo, I can't.
yeah, but we have
I can't
other
escape.
ships. The Blackbeard
guys-
Pirates just
Have to
docked,
leave.
right? There are other ships that are docking.
We
You
have
can
no
escape
idea where
any
they're.
ship.
We have no idea what they're
I'm
doing. We
glad,
have no
I'm
idea.
glad you brought that up because that goes to I think the big thing that I keep going back to is like
Yeah.
who of Blackbeard's crew is there and who would make the most sense.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of people who think like Blackbeard is gonna arrive himself or something.
No.
I think it's Moria. I think it's Moria because the whole thing is. Let me explain because there's a lot of weird steps to this, but I'll get there. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Moria was with Blackbeard, right? And the whole
Yeah.
thing with Perona and Kobe, that conversation that they had prior to the stuff with Garp and Kuzan, was that she needed Kobe's help in breaking out Moria, right?
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, man.
Yes.
No,
Yes,
welcome.
Yep, sorry, cool.
So that
My bad,
was-
I forgot.
And no, you're all good. You're all good. So that was the key thing that Perona brought up with Kobe, correct?
Yeah.
That was like
Right.
their whole big thing. Was it ever clarified that Moria escaped?
No.
No.
I don't
Right.
think so.
So we know Moria is somehow, some way still with Blackbeard. Now, my assumption is that Blackbeard probably knew all this stuff at Egghead was going on. He's a Yonko. He's getting information, all this stuff. I don't know the exact timelines, but I would presume he would not want to keep Perona and Moria in the same place. He knows that Perona is going to try to break him out. He sees Moria's ability. And I think with what we've got in Egghead right now, with the presumption that like a lot of people could potentially die, and like big characters. I'm talking about people like Saturn. I'm talking about people like Kuma. I think the idea of making zombies of the corpses of those people at Egghead could potentially be really interesting.
Yeah,
Like
that's
Kobe-
kind of
Hmm.
interesting.
I don't mind the idea because it gets like Moria involved in the plot because that
Right.
whole like the whole thread.
Yeah, 'cause
went
what is he
nowhere.
doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
But I
Oda,
like that.
Oda clearly wants to bring back all the original.
I
There has
think
to be
it's-
like
for the end.
somebody else that like so Lafitte, right?
I think it's
Like-
Lafitte and
Yeah.
Katarina.
I think
Katarina.
that's way more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I think they
I
could
wouldn't
have.
mind, I wouldn't mind Moria being with them.
honest.
Though. That'd
I
be
still
cool.
think.
But like
Yost-
more has to like
Yeah.
bend the knee, and I don't see him bending the knee anytime soon.
Oh,
to Blackbeard.
100%.
I think.
So-
I think he already has.
Already did that.
Wow.
Bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think he
Ah.
already has for sure.
I
He
think
got
he
thrown to
was-
prison. Allegedly got thrown to prison.
Bro, it's either bend the knee or you gonna die.
Yeah.
Right.
I think.
And Moria seems like the kind of guy that would either do whatever Blackbeard tells him if it means he's going to survive.
Yeah.
And I do kind of feel like, because I've heard people bring up the Katarina thing as well, but you also have to remember, like the last time that we saw her, we saw Elvalo, right? And then we saw the whole fight with Law and everybody. So everybody is kind of accounted for. It would be bizarre if
we didn't see
last we
Lafitte.
saw
Not Laffy, baby.
Lafitte, I think makes more sense than Katarina, because Lafitte, we literally have no idea where he is. And also, we've seen Lafitte in the story before with direct ties, exactly, with the world government and infiltrating and things. So this would make a lot of sense.
I think York's backup plan was the Blackbeard pirates.
Yeah,
she knew the world government
could have
was
been.
gonna fuck
Yeah,
her
could have
over.
been.
Yeah.
So
I think all the parties involved should leave with some spoils. You know, if York is a Blackbeard
That's
and
what
somebody else leave with the Star that'd be
I
dope.
think for sure they're gonna have we're gonna get more Mother Flame. I think that's gonna get because we want to see more of that Lucy destruction.
Cool.
So we're gonna probably get like more of that stuff happen.
Cool, this is what's gonna happen. Blackbeard's gonna steal York, right? And then he's got Garp and York, and that's his bargaining chips to become a king. So that's how the world government get York.
My only thing
is bargaining. You're saying Blackbeard's bargaining chip is going to be York?
York and
I think that's
Garp.
bigger than
I don't know.
Garp.
I don't know if you need York or not, but I think Garp is enough.
You already got
Honestly,
Garp.
if they do capture Jay Garcia Saturn, if they do capture Jay, then
They
it's set.
are
Like,
desperate.
if they capture Jay, it's over.
Like,
but that's
what
the
does
crazy
the
thing,
Gorosei
like,
care about though? Like the Gorosei care about York. They don't care about Garp really.
Not to
They
cut
care
you
about
off,
Jay.
but like going back
They
to
care
what you're
about Garp.
saying
What do
exactly
you
with
mean?
Jay, if Jay dies,
Yeah.
and like that's what I'm saying is, I think there's a situation in which you get the death of a Gorosei and Moria being present and potentially turning him into a zombie and bringing him back in that sense would be kind of crazy. Because again, Moria,
I guess.
you're seeing all these other like former Shichibukai and people who were important to the story in the first half making waves, right? You got Crocodile and Mihawk and Buggy with all the stuff with the Cross Guild. Like you're seeing a lot of these early villains, not to tease, Eneru potentially coming back later on as well. But I feel like Eneru and Moria are kind of the only two unaccounted for right now in terms of making big waves in the second half of the story. And so I do feel like that would be a good way to incorporate him. And going back to the Lafitte thing, if somebody's watching over Moria and Blackbeard wants to separate Moria from Perona, does Blackbeard know that Perona's been freed now? Like, is that a thing? This all would have happened prior to that because we had the fight with Law. So again, I almost feel like maybe that's the 1-2 punch, is you get Lafitte and Moria clearing whatever's happening over here on Egghead, and then that takes us into the end where, we'll eventually get
my only thing with like a lot of the ideas is like centralized on York, and then what like Blackbeard ends up taking away is that the issue with York for me is that when a lot of these ideas came around with York, it was like on the onset of her being a traitor, but then thereafter we saw like the kind of logic she uses, and it's not that deep. Like the plans with the Seraphim was super shallow. Even the password was super shallow. Like every single plot point when it comes to York, it became diminished in my mind after her reveal, and to the point where it's like her plight in the story is kind of arc-centric and not as grand as we might have thought, even for a Vegapunk. And a lot of
it really shallow, or was it
there's
other Vegapunks that are on her level?
It could be a ruse, right? But then even when it comes to like Wannabe Celestial Dragon, or the conversation and negotiation of like York, it's like save me. There's not like there hasn't been a complex thought. The only Vegapunk really that's been more like mysterious in my mind is Shaka. Like everyone else is kind of like straightforward.
Well,
and then so for York to have like the backup plan of Blackbeard, it's a little interesting.
Backup plans though, Pa.
But the reason why Blackbeard and the connection's odd to me is because like it didn't even seem like when he saw the Seraphim and he saw like, oh, the warlords are being replaced or whatever, there was like, I want Kobe. Kobe's a plot point for me to become a world government thing. And it's like, if he were going to Egghead, I think it would be him. And it would be like, I don't know how much he would need to know, because not even the world government knew that Luffy was going to be there. So how would he know all of this stuff would be happening? Nobody should know that Jay is going there. So if he were to go there, it would have to be a presumption of like premeditated period. Like none of this information's out there yet.
Right.
Until the newspaper thing comes, and we don't know that time.
That's why York leaking it to Blackbeard kind of makes sense.
So for me, when we saw the Blackbeard ship, though, the thing that I thought, and Sai and I have been talking about this, is that the way Oda put it was, if a lot of us thought like, oh, they were making parallels of Ohara, right? And it's like this centralized information system. They, are they good? Are they bad? Let's investigate, whatever. And then whatever destruction's entailing. But the main thing that's separating is Kizaru and Akainu are responding. In Ohara situation, there was refugees that Akainu just obliterated. In Egghead, there were refugees that Saturn said like, oh, let's take care of them, but then they went missing. And when you look back at the chapter that Blackbeard showed up, it's the refugee ship is leaving and Blackbeard's ship is arriving, and thereafter none of them are present. All this time later, Blackbeard's not there, nor are the refugees. They literally went missing. And if there's anything that's coinciding there, it's the two entities that are missing, and that plot point is really important because then it goes back to the Ohara thing where did Akainu make the right decision of killing every Oharan? Well, in Egghead, all the refugees are now in Blackbeard's hand, and if he has Pudding, for example, well, boom, he has so much information at all the refugees. If there's a single person there with information related to Punk Records, Vegapunk, anything, Blackbeard's got him. All it takes is one of the refugees.
I feel like it'd be too much to have the
too.
refugees be an issue. I feel like it'd be a bit too much of a part to have like that plot point be recycled again, where you have the refugees all be captured where we saw before. Because in this situation, in of course real time, there's a good chance that one, they're not gonna be killed in the same way like Akainu. Then two is that Blackbeard already has, because he doesn't know, at least as far as you know, he doesn't know yet. He has Garp. Garp is the best bargaining chip you can possibly get at this point in time.
No,
remember how
mythical.
he was gonna trade? Well, because here's the thing, it's like he was gonna trade a whole marine ship and 800 soldiers just for Kobe. So if you have the hero Garp that is revered, that his name is a lot of weight in the minds of the people, and then you want to bargain your country to be a actual official organization with Garp and Garp alone, I think you get the job done. Honestly,
I think Cole, I think that's not like enough because you have to like make the Gorosei care, and the Gorosei really care about York. For the Mother Flame to get their.
They care about her now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think she's ultimately disposable at the end of the day because if they get the Mother Flame in some other way,
but they need someone to make they need Punk Records.
Well, Crucian Saturn is a scientist himself. Don't forget.
Oh yeah, Saturn's a scientist. He's worse than Caesar.
Shout out Goku for the $20. We appreciate it.
Goku.
Hey, Goku.
And just on the York thing, you got to remember that the whole plan was that Rob Lucci was going to assassinate all of them, so York would already had the heads up. This is the whole thing. The whole plan's foiled by Luffy's arrival. So she would have been successful if Luffy didn't intervene.
Yeah. It's wild though that you bring up the stuff with Lucci because like moving into where we are in Egghead right now, like I don't know about all of you guys because I think we had like one little reverie on the in-between when it was first starting. But like for me personally, this arc has been the most consistent of the time skip in terms of like pacing, in terms of really good reveals, just like great fights. It's been really, really solid overall. Payoff. But
damn,
the one thing going back to the payoff thing.
There's one thing, bro.
I think we're about to touch on the same thing there, which is that
ahead.
Moving into the ending of this arc, I literally do not give a shit about Rob Lucci at all. I don't care. And moving into like when they reintroduced Lucci early on, I was like, bro, I can't wait to see what he's gonna do this arc. And ultimately, like the stuff with Lucci and Kaku kind of fell by the wayside now, where I'm way more interested in Saturn. I'm way more interested in Kuma. I'm way more interested in the resolution of the stuff with Bonney. Whereas like Lucci, I want to see what he's going to do in the fallout of Egghead, but I think his plot thread and them setting him up has kind of fallen by the wayside. And I do wonder if maybe like because we haven't still seen the fallout of the activation of the robot after Luffy went Gear 5, I'm almost wondering if like he might have something to do with that.
Well, like
or there'll be another thing happening with those vice admirals. Like there's a lot of characters there.
Oh, because Oda skipped the middle of the arc with all the York trader stuff.
Yeah,
Rob Lucci was active during that period. We kind of skipped maybe some character stuff.
He skipped that part, man.
Yeah, thank God he did, but but yeah, we kind of like skipped over Rob Lucci's character maybe a bit there.
Yeah,
so that's probably
we skipped the whole Seraphim section, and that to me is where like the arc is having issues. In my personal opinion.
Cole, you're wrong. Cole, you're
because part of the reason why I think we're kind of like just leaving all their the CP0 stuff to the sides because we had a whole section that was skipped. Like I think that undeniably, if the anime adds that section in, Like they had 2 episodes, is all that of what we
Cole,
missed.
we're basically-
The anime is now once again definitively better than the manga counterpart because they add that content. Once
Here we
again,
go.
Once again, baby.
Already?
Cole,
Already?
I'm just-
Cole,
One
If
episode
they
in.
add that in,
Cole,
if they add that in,
they-
yeah.
Cole, you
Yes.
can't say these things with
Listen,
your
one
camera off.
episode
You gotta
in is
turn your
better.
camera
Listen,
on if you want to say
Listen,
No,
Ke-
stop, bro.
Cole gets like PTSD flashbacks to Toroko when anything skipped, so that's why he gets so.
No, it doesn't involve
actually
Tor,
rebel.
no.
He's actually
No,
rebel. He's rebel.
I need to see Cole pacing back and forth saying this stuff.
in
I
terms
just-
of like how we got to it,
It's
like
so
I'm
funny
not saying the arc isn't like the arc I think right now is like on pace to like, be like the best arc in the post time skip. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying that the arc would be better undeniably if we did get that material.
I did not
They
care
would've.
about
Not
how
you
Zoro and Luffy defeated
Zoro-
Seraphim.
Cole,
That-
Cole, he skipped
That's
the
gonna be an
middle
issue
of
because you know in
sarcasm.
the future they're gonna be problems
I
too,
don't
and then
care.
when
The
I
only,
find
the
it.
only Seraphim related thing that I was like underwhelmed by, and this is only because I like Dofi so much as a character, was I was like, dude, I can't wait to see what S Flamingo's up to. And like S Flamingo not really playing any role in Egghead at all, like
Yeah.
any meaningful
guess-
He's
role.
already out there being a menace,
Right,
Roger.
exactly.
You just gotta
So-
wait for it.
So that's kind of
Yeah.
how I feel. I feel
Yeah.
like when we eventually get him, it's going to be
He's
good.
gonna
Maybe
be-
him
he's already
teaming up
doing
with the
stuff.
real Doflamingo after he breaks that impel down or something. Like there's going to be something related
I
to
would
that.
love
and I
for the
think that's
Seraphim
what
to go
I
Probably,
rogue.
want.
probably.
Yeah.
Doflamingo's base DNA status would be just celestial
Just
dragon.
chaos. Yeah.
Celestial
Yeah,
dragon,
of
man.
course.
I
Of
don't-
course,
this
he's
is
going to
the
be
thing,
chaotic no matter what.
It's kind of weird with his desire because his desire is to return to like Marijoa. So he's like original
Which is-
DNA.
Don't you find that interesting though? Like with you
Dofi.
bringing that up,
Yeah.
that ties into the stuff with York. I think early in the arc as
Yeah.
well too.
Yeah.
Is like I remember in the early days when somebody was popping off people one by one. I thought actually that was not a Vegapunk. I thought that was going to
Oh,
be
that's
S Flamingo.
Yeah, I agree.
Specifically because of what you guys just said, right? I thought like that makes so much sense for the story for him to want to go back to be a celestial dragon, to go do all these killings and be chaos. And so when that didn't end up being that, and maybe that ties back into what Cole was saying too, with the Seraphim kind of thing being dropped. Like I'm definitely on the side of everybody else where I'm happy that that stuff kind of got skipped in favor of other stuff for the story. But I am also slightly bummed that we didn't see more of the Seraphims that I actually cared about.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, I still feel it's been a very consistent arc.
Especially when you have like Robin, who rarely gets anything, has apparently went through the ringer off screen. That's completely skipped. And then all this hype that let's say CP0 could have gotten, let's just do Kaku stuff. That apparently skipped, and he fought against apparently 2 of them. So what the hell
I
is
think
happening?
it's like what hype, like for the CP0, what's left for them? Like it's not really focused. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
their
No,
arc
no.
necessarily.
That's my point. This is like their last hurrah, and part of their last hurrah was literally skipped off screen.
But we already know
bro.
it can't be any hurrah because the Straw Hats are there.
In terms of like, we're gonna probably get them focused again in the future when they're all together again in the
Correct.
Holy Land. So when we see Lucci,
Correct.
Kaku, when we
Like
see
Final
the
War
John-
level.
exactly,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
I get it, but like in the grand scheme of things, in Egghead, they're just not a threat anymore.
No. And that
Yeah,
was back
that
to what I
was-
was saying earlier.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
They're just not a
exactly.
threat anymore.
They
But that
can
content was
be,
still
but they can be, but I don't know how Oda weaves it in because at the end of the day, right, their roles are as assassins. They're like under
They're
they-
side characters in this arc.
Yo,
Right.
speaking
They
of,
are, but,
speaking
like,
of like Rob Lucci
Wait.
shit, we got like $2
Yeah.
from GR. He thinks Lucci's gonna unlock Conqueror's Hug in the video.
Let's go.
Against who said that?
Okay.
Geo?
Geo, yeah.
Let's go. Yeah,
course.
Geo trolling once again per usual.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe that's who kills Kuma, right? Maybe what happens is Kuma
Does a
seems
shit
like
all-
he's gonna kill Saturn or something, and last minute Lucci just comes in and kills Kuma,
Well,
and you're like,
here's-
what the heck is this? And then he's like, my liege Saturn, please
Listen,
look what I delivered.
like,
to
For
Kuma.
Rob
For
Lucci right
me-
now, he's trying to avoid failure because we know
Right.
what happened last time. Okay, so
Right.
he's
Right.
You
trying-
know, like the thing about
Three-piece,
Cipher
yo.
Pol, like
A 3-piece
if you
McDonald's
guys-
meal, bro. Let's
If
go.
you
you guys
So
remember,
Lucci's
like,
gonna get a
Water
body. He's
7,
gonna get another
Cipher
body
Pol,
before the end of the
Yeah,
arc.
the
Because-
crazy
The only
thing about-
body that I care about that's in Cipher Pol is Stussy.
What-
Bussy's the
I
only
need-
body I care about.
I need a
All the other ones
flashback.
can
drop.
I need a flashback of Rob Lucci, what he was doing in the 2-year time skip. Because how did this man
Yes.
get promoted all the way to the top? After Eddie's
After
lobby,
failing.
after he busted called Eddie's lobby.
I mean, he's awakened.
That
bro.
was
Look at
that
No,
was
but
that
he
was
also said like in the
But
cover
Spandam's
story, it
still
was
in the
the
CP0
plot
as
line
well.
was that he was a wanted man because he took out a bunch of Marines in the cover story,
Yeah.
and so Spandam and his dad put out a hit on him, and the last like line is essentially Lucci's like "you're next" or whatever after
Yeah.
like slaughtering everybody.
Yeah,
like
right.
the entire cover story is him just killing people, which
They
is
just realized, like, you know, we
sensible.
probably need him.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
and then
Exactly.
he came back, but like for me, and you know, Brago said that like they're side characters. For me, Cipher Pol, you guys can probably agree, is like one of the coolest parts of Cipher Pol was the introduction of how like they were like these spies that were underground. They had this intricate planning, and they were like wearing masks, and they planned the assassination of Iceberg, and none of that was like in your face. You didn't need any of their characters to be there. It was just the planning of it. And for like, as far as that goes now, I feel like we lost a lot of that element because it's like fighting, and that's why I'm saying like I don't even care for them to fight, but they could be useful at the end of it. We just need to know like what side they're on, what side they're gonna choose, what their end goal is, because that's the weird thing. We don't even know Kizaru's
I think they picked their side when they had an opportunity to flip, right?
Yeah, but we don't even know Kizaru's side, right? What side is Kizaru?
Kizaru's on the side of the Marines.
So, and then how does that go with the Gorosei now, right? Because that's the intricate thing where Cipher Pol is tied to the Gorosei, whereas Kizaru is not.
The thing is, like all the admirals do this every time. They go off and they go rogue, and it's just like, this is what I feel about it. And they're like, what are you gonna do? Fujitora literally was fighting Green Bull.
Green Bull ignored Akainen's orders and did his own thing.
They do this, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, the Marines need the admirals, so they're not gonna do anything.
Just going off that idea of like the admirals are even like uncontrollable. Like the Gorosei doesn't understand like free will. That's like their biggest flaw. And Otis, I like
but that's the thing. The world government ultimately, that's what they desire is full control.
Yeah, and
right?
I like how Otis making the point that
and it can't. It's not possible. It's just not possible.
Even if you don't
especially
have a
with
brain,
how Egghead ends.
Even if you don't have a brain or memories anymore, you still have your like. Will.
You still can't control the Seraphim.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, Kuma pushing
still,
through
like,
is like the best argument of that.
Yep.
Yeah. But then also even still too, it's like the admirals in terms of their importance for let's say the end game of the story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can just siphon them off to where now you have like because Fujitora
may flip. You can't have them all flip. You can't have them all flip.
You can't have them all flip. Okay. Then the Akainen's feeling a little bit sad. Like, oh, you're free will Kuma. I'm like, you just can't have all these guys flip. No way.
Green Bull's licking Akainu's shoes, so he's good to stay.
Yes, if Akainen flips, then he's flipping. So that's the thing. We're like, unless you think the Gorosei are all gonna be, I don't know, Yonko caliber, like some people are saying.
We're gonna find out soon.
Which I don't think there's no chance of that. But
we're gonna find out soon. Fatherly impact is coming, baby. Get ready. Get ready. Saddle up, big boy.
I think for a fact Kuma's attack is not gonna knock out Saturn, but you know, to put
if
like
Saturn gets knocked on his ass, coughs up blood, goes that classic. It's like, oh, okay. Like, wait a minute, are they really them? Because my idea has always been it's Emu. Like, Emu is the one that we have to worry about the most.
Yes.
And then maybe because I love the hive mind idea where Emu is somewhat controlling Saturn's body from the Holy Land. I love that idea.
I don't know about control, but I think he could be
cool.
enhancing his body.
I can see
maybe.
Sure.
Fair.
Utilizing whatever that little satanic circle thing is.
Yes.
They could literally be all just like ancient robots. Like ancient
because
Seraphim.
that's a way where you could justify Saturn being really strong, right? Where it's like, well, technically he's using some of Emu's power, so it's amplified.
Yeah.
But I don't
it's
like
like
couldn't.
Twist,
it's like they all form like the 5 pieces of Exodia.
Yeah, they're all
exactly.
They're all like ancient Seraphim from the ancient kingdom. But I guess I don't know. That wouldn't really.
The Gorosei,
sense.
that's what they are. The Gorosei, based on that theory, they're essentially the 5 paths of pain now.
Right.
Like now that I've seen Naruto and I understand the idea.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Sharing the power, I'm like, okay, I can see
Wait,
that.
so is that what Oda's going for? Like introducing the Vegapunks and now paralleling that with Emu? Like the Gorosei are kind of
somewhat.
He very well could be.
Yo, I can't wait for Noshijuro to start talking about like taxation and what he's done to the world via.
Yes.
Right. Like, what are the odds that he was actually like, let's say, in Wano country trying to take the gold there like 400 years ago, and then him and Ryoma had a fight, you know, like 400 plus years ago, way back when. Or let's say Marcus Mars is the reason why they have that gigantic ship, that bridge, Tequila Wolf, and then that was his project, and then he was trying to back that up. So I just wonder, like, how many, like, is it possible where we get the actual best Superman backstory next arc, Urouge, and it involves Tommen, and then Tommen, like Urouge on some Kratos shit, right? And then Tommen was his Ares, and then he had to do all these deals with Tommen. Like, I'm ready, bro.
I don't know how.
Fury?
I was paying attention I don't know how within 3 minutes
How
we went
rude.
from the end of Egghead to now suddenly we're in Elbaf and it's a parallel to God of War 2014 or whatever. And it's like, yeah, Uruj are coming in like Kratos.
Yo,
He's gonna kill Loki.
King
He's
just-
gonna
Cole's
kill
point,
everyone
though,
else.
Yo, King
I
just,
am really
King just wants to
interested.
do Ruse flashback so we can see an again. That's the only reason
Oh,
why.
I am
That's-
really
that's
interested in
gonna
how the
happen.
Gorosei were picked,
That's
though.
gonna
How they were
happen.
chosen. How were the Gorosei
Oh, for
chosen? I am
sure.
really interested
Absolutely,
in
me
that.
too.
That too.
Yeah.
And also the Holy Knights and what
That's
like
gonna be insane.
Right.
Yeah,
because
for
honestly,
sure.
hold on. Does anyone else here believe? Because I think it's very possible that the Holy Knights matter more than the Gorosei in terms of like,
No.
Matter like
No,
absolutely
fighting,
not.
fighting or
No.
like political.
in terms of like, in terms of
What do you
fighting,
mean?
in terms of
In regards
who
to
matters
like
the
Fighting?
most.
status?
No.
Yes.
No, absolutely not.
I think
No.
the commander and like so Garling matters just as much as the Gorosei, but not all of them.
Not all of them. No.
Yeah.
Garlic,
So-
I think, and the reason he only matters that much is because he's Shanks' daddy. If he wasn't, I don't think he would matter.
I
at
think-
all.
But
I think
Dragon heard
Garling-
Sabo's story
Yeah.
and then never really turned. He never shifted his position of okay, let's so like now the Gorosei matter. Dragon should know that the Gorosei are not like these weird demon Zoan type dudes. But
Would
yeah,
he know
the
that?
Whole Knights
How
still-
would Dragon
Well,
know
he knows
that?
now because of Sabo,
told him. Yeah,
I mean,
Sabo
now,
told
what I'm talking
him.
But
about
he didn't
now.
know that before.
Yeah, now,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah,
before
but I don't
then,
think he's shifting position on the Holy Knights. Is like when they mobilized, that's when our battle matters them. Like that's a big claim
Because-
to their stake.
He
When the
said that in the
Holy
chapter.
Knights mobilize, now you have to save the world. Like,
Wait,
that's
time
come
out,
on.
time out.
Said
Wait,
that
because
in
I want to,
the
because
Yeah.
you mentioned something, Cole, that I want to go back to. You had mentioned that you thought, like, if the Gorosei aren't really those guys, right, and it's actually
Yeah.
the Holy Knights that are ones that are going to be fighting. I always
Yeah.
assume, though, at least since the introduction of the stuff with Garling,
Mhm.
that the Holy Knights would be the opponents of the Revolutionaries come Final War, right? Like the Gorosei will be dealt with by Luffy or
Yeah.
whatever other major players are going to be
Maybe.
there, and that, like, or at least some other major
they're,
characters. But
they're
I
adding more
assumed-
people, more
Right.
You can argue
opposition.
that because
like
you
the
can argue that the Holy
revolutionary
Knights
opponents, I think would be the
Yeah.
Holy Knights. Yeah.
because you can argue that the Holy Knights, let's say in terms of their number, they kind of coincide more with the Straw Hat crew current numbers. So like you have a number for every Holy Knight, and then that matches Luffy's like Straw Hat
I
crew,
don't know about
and
that.
then that'll be like a matchup.
That's giving them
between
But I
way
think-
too much
I
importance.
think there's almost more.
Well, that's
of
what,
a-
but Brago, literally Dragon makes them in conjunction with saving the
Because
whole
that's-
world from
because-
slavery.
Those are his opposition. That's his opposition. The Holy Knights.
This is the point, right?
I think that
Yeah.
I think that every celestial dragon is opposition. He wants to take them all down.
I think
Yeah, but that,
clearly-
and
Well,
they
of course.
protect.
That includes the Gorosei.
Those
This
Those are
is-
the
But I
fighters
think
from
if the-
Celestial
if-
They're not
Dragons.
exempt.
the
Like,
Holy
they're
Knights
not
are the
exempt.
bodyguards of the Gorosei. They
Yeah.
need to fight the Holy Knights first, which is why I'm
Yeah.
saying that, like,
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
Garland-
they would matter more like, in terms of combat.
Mm.
Then they would matter more than the actual Gorosei.
oh,
I
yeah,
don't know.
combat-wise,
Outside of
I don't
Emu,
know.
they
Story-wise, I feel the Gorosei
I don't know.
have to be
Whoever
higher,
fights the
you
Straw
know.
Hats are gonna matter
This
more.
is the
Yeah.
like Oda is intentionally hyping up Garling to the next level for no reason.
Yeah, and I don't even
So,
think
like,
Garling's the strongest Holy
Who's
Knight.
an old man right
Damn,
now?
Who
bro.
else would be the strongest?
he's Shanks' brother who talks
The
about
new
generation.
Oh,
generation
Shanks'
brother.
brother. Okay,
Abs?
there you
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
there you
bet,
go.
yeah, bet.
Okay.
That's-
New
I can see
generation.
that, Brago. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yo, have
someone
you
else
guys-
who's taking on like what we're seeing right now with like the other characters. The next.
Yeah, it's a new
constantly
generation
hyped
now.
up.
There's somebody
Yeah.
else there.
Yeah.
But don't you think that in terms of those potential fights, obviously I know we're really, really early on and we're far away from those, but I do feel like the one that's almost assured of any of those is Dragon versus Garling. Because I think that the story potential of having the parallel of Luffy's father versus the parallel of Shanks' father is just too good for Oda to pass up. I don't
think
see
so,
a
man.
situation in which
For
those two
whatever
don't
reason,
clash.
I feel like Dragon has to lay eyes on Emu.
I think
Unless
it's
they can
kind of.
fight Emu,
Interesting. Ooh.
This-
I've
I
always
feel like
wanted
he
to see
loses
that,
to
bro.
Emu.
but I
Yes.
feel like Dragon has to see Emu.
I've talked to Morge about this before, by the way. Morge is a maybe. He might turn up, he might not be. But anyway, I've talked to Morge
Wait,
about
who'd
this.
you,
like-
Cole, who'd you say Akainu's opponent is going to be?
Dragon. I think it's gonna be either
Dragon.
Dragon or Sabo.
Or
See,
Yeah,
I think Akainu is Sabo.
because they have history
That's-
there.
For sure. That's why I think it's Sabo. I think
Dragon.
there's just like there's the parallels of the stuff we were talking about with Dragon. I feel like with Sabo, there needs to be a moment of showcasing to Akainu when Akainu was being all cocky to Ace, being like,
Ace,
your
yeah.
fruit will never be as powerful
yeah,
as mine. Sabo basically being like, you're right, it never is as powerful because it's going to be even stronger. And he does some like fire fist thing with the ghost Ace or whatever.
Then he gets
Like,
folded. The Dragon has to
exactly.
step up.
And then Akainu
Yeah.
goes down from Sabo. That would be wild if Sabo
No,
got
I like
powerful
that. I like that
that.
for sure. But at the same
Yeah.
time, but at the same time, the plot story, the plot points between Dragon and Makan have to be revealed. Where we saw
Yes.
Jim Marine Ford,
Yeah, for sure.
Makan
For
already
sure.
knew immediately that Luffy was Dragon Shin. He
Well,
said,
Dragon
"What's
knows
Dragon Shin?"
I think Dragon tries to go up on Emu, dies to hype up Emu.
Dies.
Damn.
Emu dies?
No,
Dragon dies.
Dragon
Oh,
dies.
Dragon.
Dragon
That's why
dies.
Sabo's,
Holy
yeah,
mackerel.
because
This-
Dragon,
this-
Dragon has to hype up Emu as like a serious
This is-
combatant.
This is the whole thing with Dragon. Like,
He's hype. He
I
killed
know,
Kobe, you know?
we all know Dragon's gonna be strong. I think we all agree on that. But like, at the end of the day, he's just gonna be overshadowed by Luffy in everything he does. Cause like, obviously, he's not gonna take out Emu.
I mean,
like,
everybody gets
you know,
overshadowed by
like-
Luffy, so that's
Yeah,
not
but
like a
like-
fight, you know?
Yeah, but like even Sabo's doing that, so you can argue in some ways. to Dragon.
His whole thing is like liberating the world. Is like, does he know about Joy Boy? Because like, if he knows the prophecy, why
Hopefully.
is he trying to get the One Piece? Why is he trying to get the Nika fruit? Like, why isn't he trying to be Joy Boy? There's all these questions.
I mean,
like
but
that.
like, it's not
always
that
just assume-
simple, though.
Yeah,
like-
I also kind of assume that Dragon knows. The reason I don't think he's going after the One Piece is because I still think the One Piece, in actuality, is probably some truth about the world that Dragon is already aware
Probably
of.
already knows about
And
that.
so he's like 5 steps
Whoa.
ahead. He's playing forward.
Already
He's-
aware of? No.
He's like, bro, I want to go take out the world government because they're the ultimate threat,
No.
right?
That-
the reason
that
I want to
kinda like
liberate this
devalues
country.
Or
Right.
like, regardless of whatever the One Piece reveals,
Right.
the Celestial Dragon's got to go. So why would it matter
Yes.
to him?
Yes.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
think the issue with Dragon too is that like the question mark of like was when Sabo told Dragon about Emu, is that new information? And that kind of it weighs heavy on my mind because it seemed like when Robin told him about the ancient weapons, that was new information. So it's like if he doesn't know about the ancient weapons, what someone like Crocodile knows, then you know, Emu, Sabo's probably reached the furthest that anybody really has with Sabo and Wapo.
I
But
feel
like,
like
so
Huh?
that question
That
mark
is
with
also
Dragon-
such a wild. Can we just like take a step back and realize in the year of our Lord 2024, you just said the person who has the most information on potentially the final villain is Sabo and Wapo. Like Oda's a goat. Honestly,
That's like
that's
Oda
there, that's goat.
humor. Like, of
Yeah,
course,
Oda's
Wapple is there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I do like how Oda's bringing back all these like.
It's almost like
Yeah.
Caribou,
For
and like
sure.
people are mad about
Yeah, I know.
Caribou fighting about
I know.
Luffy's dream, right? Where he
well, that's the
didn't.
thing where
Like, this is funny
Right.
that Caribou's
Yeah,
there.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
One
wanted to-
He's
thing
just there,
with-
man.
with Caribou is like we still don't know who that person is that he wants to talk to. And with Wapo, you know, I think there's like 3 different things that I think that are really interesting about him. But the one that's relevant to this conversation is like, for whatever reason, Oda loves hippos, and Blackbeard has that correlation, and Wapo has that correlation.
Yes.
And I don't know because
Yeah.
like, and if people in the chat don't know what I'm talking about, like chapter 19, the first time it's called Devil Fruit. It's Luffy brushing the teeth of a hippo, and the hippo has devil fruit swirls. And Blackbeard has that. Like he had Blackbeard with a hippo too, and it's like Oda doesn't do that randomly with a character like Blackbeard.
Yeah, I
and the
don't know, like,
weirdest
yeah.
character in the story, Wapo, ran out of the Gorosei's room as a hippo.
There's also like a
what
lot
is
of
that?
color. There's also a lot of color spreads with just random, like, hippos on them as well and shit.
Yeah,
For no reason.
hippos
It's
are
like-
crazy. Don't get me wrong. It's just like
They're wild animals, man. Yeah.
as far as like if someone told me, oh, like what's gonna happen at the reverie, a hippo is going to break through all the walls and not even Cipher Pol is gonna be able to stop
It's
it.
funny
Like,
sometimes how One Piece works because it's like you just show all these guys have like, you know, observation haki and shit, and Wapple's just
Yep.
kind of like looking around and. But yeah.
it is funny though because I did make a meme theory saying that but this is before the reveal that the way Vivi escaped, and I remember I said it in with a stream with Rogers Base. I'm pretty sure it was you.
Yeah,
It's either you or
probably.
Randy because of the Vivi stuff. And I was saying, how do you feel that the most likely way that Vivi escaped was in Wapple's mouth? And I didn't think that'd be real.
we did. Right, because that was
Yeah.
the chapter. I know totally what you're talking about. That was the video we did right after that chapter where it was like the Law and Blackbeard stuff. Because it was
Yeah,
the Law
yeah,
Blackbeard. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and then he just scooped her up, and then that's how it was. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
that's wild that you just did this. And
Oh,
my
she's the
God.
best.
We got-
I just love that Vivi's coming back now. Finally,
too,
It's
bro.
like that she's actually important again. It's
I mean,
love
in
it.
all the Egghead conversation, nobody brought up the idea that Morgans and that they seem to be on their way to
Yeah, they
Egghead
wanna
too.
go
Oh,
to
for
Yeah,
sure.
they are,
Morgan's
yeah,
wants
no,
the
yeah,
scoop.
no.
That's big news.
They
here.
want the
He's
scoop.
going on
That's
a
right,
point.
baby.
Yeah, no, that was
Naturally.
big for me too. That was big for me
Which
as well.
that's totally why I think too the stuff with Vivi. Like I know people are like, oh, it's just a transition in the opening of the anime. It's like, no, bro, they know exactly what they're doing. By animating it where it looks like she's using a paw power, but it's actually
Right.
Bonney going through with the memories.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that is absolutely meant to be a tease of something. It's like that theory. about Vivi and the pawpaw fruit and that old SBS. That's been going on for too many years and has way too much credence for them to not be aware that.
I would say this. I would say this, Roger.
Yeah.
I don't know if they know anything specifically, but
no, I don't think so either.
Because of the opening and how it feels like a One Piece fan put this opening together.
Yes,
right?
It really
absolutely.
did.
So
it wouldn't be surprising if this is just like a callback to it. Like, hey, remember this thing that was going on? This has been around for a long time with Vivi and the pawpaw fruit. So
and
it was really
speaking
cool
of
to see.
Brago, I'm glad you said that. The whole thing about like it feels like the opening was made by a One Piece fan, because I don't know when else we're gonna get a chance to talk about this, but I genuinely think that new opening is without question the best new opening of the entire time skip. Like bar none, probably above most of the pre-time skip as well. It is.
I think it's definitely above all the time skip ones.
So good.
For manga readers, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, like if you're anime watching, you got spoiled on
anime only.
I said this on Twitter.
Screw them, right?
If you live in Japan, you walk the streets and get spoiled. I don't think they're concerned about.
They had Gear 5 on subways before.
Yeah, but like if you're a foreigner and you're trying so hard to avoid spoilers, you know,
I got this.
damn, like
I literally got this in Japan. They sold this in the store 5 weeks before the Gear 5 episode even came out. So they truly do not care. And you can just get this little Kleenex holder in the middle of like, any jump shop that you find there. So they don't care.
I mean, Film Red had Gear 5 in it, and people were like, it was for one frame. I was like, no, it's like
that was obviously Snake Man before it was.
But like the black and then the white line drawing thing, people say it's there for a frame, but it's there for a long time.
They definitely changed it, but that was
like 10 seconds, bro.
That was obviously originally Snake Man, and they changed it to Gear 5.
Not only that, right after, like Luffy and Shanks are right next to each other, and his hair is clearly white.
Yeah,
Luffy's hair is clearly white.
I mean, like, we were at Anime Expo last year, and like huge Gear 5. It's like, what are you guys doing, bro?
Yeah,
like,
right over the
front. Come on, man.
My whole theater popped so hard, bro, for that Gear 5 moment. It was crazy.
Oh, yeah, no, it was great. It was great.
Alright, so
that reverie rolled. That was such a fun dinner. Just thinking back on it, that really was a lot of fun.
We got $5 from Josh. He agrees with Pa about the refugee situation and the Blackbeard pirates.
I just think it's like not it's not exciting enough to be the reveal. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it
might be a small plot point kind of thing.
I think that's the crazy part about like Egghead is like there's so many big things happening, but also a lot of them are like there's an Egghead centric thing and then it's Blackbeard centric. So as far as it not being interesting, I would go as far as say is I feel like a lot of what Blackbeard was doing is filling up the gaps in the world that the Straw Hats couldn't possibly be related to, and so whatever is not related to the Straw Hats, Blackbeard's there, and that has been the case, and I feel like that's going to be the case going forward. And the only I think for my mind is like, does Blackbeard, does a force of his or himself show up at the end, and if so, how does that balance like this current situation? Because so many people are questioning the Kizaru. If he flips, is that heavily, because then that means Saturn's insane, or if he stays on that side, does Blackbeard equalize it? But that doesn't make sense because Blackbeard wants to be on the world government side, right? That's what he said. So wouldn't it make sense to bargain with Saturn, like, yo, I'll take care of Luffy, whatever you need, blah blah blah. So it's all of that, and I'm almost thinking like, is Morgan's the force? Because I've been thinking about this too. Like Morgan's has to know what he's walking into, right? If he's an information person.
I've got a theory. What if, because the news has gone out, right?
Yeah.
Everyone knows about this marine blockade around Egghead. What if this is where Cross Guild make that move and they start just collecting bounties on all these ones?
But like, who's got the money? Like, where's the money coming from to pay all these bounties?
Crocodile, man.
Crocodile
What's he doing?
Crocodile's got a
Crocodile has funds, baby.
Not only that, Crocodile has the casino, has a lot of money. You've got Buggy with the successful delivery service, and you have to remember, Mihawk was a rich kid. He has so much money. We don't know what the deal is with Mihawk's family, but they're gonna be important.
It's Crocodile.
Wasn't he poor when he was a kid? Like when we see that SBS.
When we see that
that's just a trading camp.
Crocodile.
Right? Okay, gotcha.
Crocodile's the trust fund.
Let's go Dragon training camp. Gotcha.
That's the theory.
Exactly.
The theory that I have is that Crocodile is of the Dufeld family. Like Dufeld funded. Dufeld. Like they look so similar, but as far as like Crocodile was acting like a loan shark, and Dufeld is the loan shark. But in their characteristics aside, my thing has always been like,
I like that.
Dufeld was funding Mads for what? And Mads before they joined made Stussy. So if they were in the cloning thing and Dufeld was the primary funder, like he had the ship and everything, if you think about anything in the real world, rich people don't do anything for free. And so it's maybe he was doing it to get a kid or a clone or whatever. I don't know what it is, but all I know is that Stussy was like the first successful one. So what were the failures before?
I love the Dufeld idea too. Like I've never even heard that. Yeah, I think that's great.
Speaking of Mads and Neo-Mads, just to go back to Josh, he says like the refugees are gonna join Neo-Mads because if you remember Caesar and Judge remade.
Oh sure.
Oh yeah, they did.
Sure.
So that might come back into play with York. I don't know what they're gonna do with Neo-Mads, to be honest. It's kind of weird.
Well, do you guys think that the other Vegapunks are dead? Right, the ones that have actually been killed. Do you think they're actually out
maybe
permanently?
Shaka,
Like Shaka,
maybe
Pythagoras,
but I feel
only
like
want
hey, as long as you have York and Lilith alive, I'm good. I'm set.
But, like,
all right.
The great dude.
Why
Also,
Lilith?
we got another $5.
Yeah, I don't know.
We got another $5 from Gray. He's asking like, do you think the green blood is permanent, or is that like a resource that needs to be restocked from like using Delphi?
Probably a resource. Like okay, like for example, like there's because you probably need like some like limitation because then that make them just as powerful as the original person themselves. And let's say, and I feel like that's a bit too iffy when it comes to using the powers, especially if the person's still alive with that power.
Well, remember, like I don't know, are they going to have the creativity that these people would have?
No.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like I think the power is the same. It's just the creativity.
I mean,
that's what
No.
But X-Hawk's already doing like Dazbone moves, so like.
He did a kick.
I can't.
Yeah.
So what? That's fucked up.
You know what? For months, I forgot.
Yeah, but Dazbone had like he could rotate and create like a drill thing.
Yeah, Dazbone's did like a swipe and then he cut like a building into pieces.
This is
like
the thing.
I think what's called like the atomic spark or something. Yeah,
I think we're thinking of the Seraphim as like mindless robots, but like even like Vegapunk.
The kids.
Vegapunk says to Stussy like, "Stop it! You're like a human. Stop saying you're not a human." Like, I think they're like actually.
I mean, they talk, right?
Yeah, they talk.
Yeah, they talk, so I think they can learn. And I mean, here's a question: do you guys think they can learn hockey?
Yeah.
Why not?
Eventually. If Kuma can use it, then I like in his current state, the Kuma who's supposedly not.
This is Kuma operating on his own will now.
Right. Yeah,
but,
I would say maybe like if they can have the authority removed from them, then maybe they can actually learn hockey. Fair enough.
I'm saying like since we
their
see
will is suppressed.
Since we see S Snake like actually already have a personality, what I'm saying, Brago, is that since we're seeing that post everything Kuma's been through, he is able to muster up hockey. I would imagine, yes, children Seraphim of the warlords eventually, there's a huge possibility.
This is hockey point. This hockey point with the Seraphim, right? Yeah. They don't like specifically do orders like Pacifista, right? They're told an order and they have their free will to do it in any way.
Their own way.
So like Marine Hockey would be the same sort of situation. Like they follow orders. They're allowed to do what they want.
Let me ask y'all this:
get the job done.
Is S Snake gonna have Conqueror's hockey?
Oh, I don't know about Conquerorors.
Well, this is the thing. Like,
I think the potential is there. I'm not sure if it's going to be.
But because they're robots, I think that they have to have some on their free will. Android, the Commodore, everyone.
I do almost wonder though, right? Because we just had a conversation like 10 minutes ago about how a lot of the Seraphim stuff got skipped. Like we are now 4 levels into it, where I don't necessarily know if we're going to get story developments of the Seraphim learning hockey at some point. You know what I mean? Like I think them just being clones of the characters and utilizing their powers is almost like enough to me. Like I don't think they necessarily need to dive into that to make them a threat, because I think the majority of people they are, right?
It depends on like who they're going to be the main threat at the end of the story, right? We feel like they're going to be fighting against
the Seraphim are the main threat. At the end of the story?
I don't know, bro.
They're going to be part of it. They're not going to be part of the war.
I mean, they'll be part of the war.
But like, as far as
they're like the main fighters of the world government, next to the admirals.
Yeah.
They're going to be fighting. Gas.
And,
But,
and that's the thing. When we get the next batch of Seraphim, I'm assuming that's when we get the questions that Rogers just asked us. Like, there's a whole subsection of future Seraphim that Oda has.
Yeah, they were meant to
when we
replace
get them,
Mihawk,
we'll know about the personality. We'll know how they're made. But that lends itself to another question, Rogers. Like, in all the conversations, we also have been not really talked about Vegapunk, and a lot of the things that we got onto Egghead, we don't know how devil fruits go into guns or swords or anything like that. Right? Like he has a whole.
Well, I think that we saw what Saturn kind of alluded to that, because Saturn says like he's able to take the essence of the fruit and put it into an infant child like Bonney.
Yeah, but he's a failure, bro. We said it before.
Yeah,
like Vegapunk.
Bonney has the power that Saturn put inside of her,
and he doesn't even care about that.
I think what they were trying to do.
Why would he care about an insect?
I'm saying he doesn't care about the power, Cole. But like,
I think what they were trying to do, they were trying to do the green blood thing
at all.
King,
well, okay, so like the green blood thing.
Put the devil fruit in a blender and feed it to a baby. That's all.
Yeah, they were trying to do the green blood thing. I think that's what they were trying to do.
And that's what I'm saying. Vegapunk is so far beyond that.
Yeah,
we need
I think
no,
because Cole, it's an extract, so they were trying to use the extract and still have the fruit be useful.
Reused, right? Yeah, so the fruit's still there. So like, what they did, like they took like let's say like the skin of it, and then they because it's the fruit. Okay, hold on. But okay, maybe, but body cells are powers though, right?
Yeah, but they said the fruit doesn't work anymore. It's like
it doesn't work anymore though.
Yeah.
Okay, no. So what I'm saying is that wait. What I'm saying is that if you splice in, the whole thing that he did may be similar to what Vegapunk is doing with putting fruits into inanimate objects. That's all I'm trying to say.
No, Vegapunk is successful with the green blood.
Yeah, the green blood's a living
I'm talking about the objects. I'm talking about the objects, not the green blood. I'm talking about the objects.
Specifically on the
why
objects,
we have a gun dog, why we have a Frank Freed sword. I'm talking about that stuff.
Well, they have to be Zoans for this, right? Because they have
on the topic
of Zoans, yes.
You just mentioned the thing with Bonney not being able to use your powers. I assumed that was just a Saturn thing. That Saturn's either negating them or that they're not working.
So like the fruit that they got the extract from is no longer useful.
Yes.
But
so basically, it's just like if Bonney ate it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, but my point is that Bonney. I think we are talking about separate things. I think I got confused. Okay, because I was going to say Bonney still has her power.
Yes.
Like
so Bonney has the power the regular way as if she ate it.
Yes.
Correct.
But they were trying to basically say, hey, what if we use an extract and give it to somebody, give another person an extract, give another person an extract?
Right.
And so, but it's obviously a fail because Bonney has the power, they can't use it anymore.
Correct.
But the green blood, that's successful because now they can just, you give somebody, you can create the Seraphim, you give them green blood, and they have the power.
Yeah, the question there is, can they use it unlimitedly?
One thing you said, though, is that Bonney
I think they can, it's just the resources to create it. That's not,
the part that Rogers' base was coming in on was, Brago, you said that Bonney can't use it anymore. What did you say about that?
When I say well, maybe I said it wrong, but I'm saying the fruit that Bonney got the extract from is nobody else can use.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right, because I thought there was a conversation of like something that I missed because there was that moment of the last chapter with Bonney where she tries to use the powers on Saturn and it doesn't work. I just assumed it was like Saturn's hockey was too strong or something because we've seen that with devil fruits where like if someone's hockey is too strong, the devil fruit doesn't necessarily work.
Bonney's fruit has one of the more complicated.
It's bizarre. Yeah, right.
Like for Cole's
initially,
point too,
but
he
now
was talking about
I
like
think
the
even
power
still
being
because
Cole, it still
important.
is.
But the thing
because
is, for
Cole,
me, like,
technically, Cole, technically, right? Technically, once Luffy she sees Gear 5, that Nika power should just completely die, right? Because that future no longer exists because it's here. But somehow, I think Oda's gonna spin it where Bonney gets a bump from Nika existing in front of her.
Because Saturn said it hasn't worked out that the white form is Nika.
I don't think it's that Nika's existence is stopping her from using it. That's not what it is.
It's like it's lost.
That Bonney is getting older.
Right.
Bonnie is getting older, so she has less ability to imagine. She's seen reality. She sailed the years for 2 years. The main reason she was sailing, by the way,
her
was
imagination made it
Kuma,
stronger.
but also she wanted to find Nika for Kuma. That was the reason why she was going to island to island to island, was to find Nika. She failed for 2 years, so at this point in the story, it's different than when she left Sorbet Kingdom, where she instantly pulled out Nika off of a rumor. Now she can't do that same thing because she's seeing her dad's destroyed.
It's because her dad is losing, so she's losing faith.
Yeah, but her dad believed in Nika. It's like if you were.
She regains her faith.
So basically, the more she believes in Luffy, Nika's gonna be stronger.
For sure, it's like a Peter Pan type thing,
which is weird.
Where they're like, clap your hands if you believe for Tinkerbell, and then obviously they are able to fight.
Exactly. It seems like it's gonna be that way.
On that topic, though, I also wonder, because the introduction of like what her fruit actually could do and how she could transform into different potential futures, that opened like a whole can of worms up. Because then when we first saw her utilize the power, like way back in Sabaody the first time around, and she's changing people's ages, and I'm thinking about like what that fruit could actually be. Like, is her fruit already awakened, or is her awakening? Because this is the crazy shit, right? If she hasn't awakened her devil fruit, and she in her base form is able to transform herself into a future in which she could become Nika and use his powers, right? Is her awakening potentially that she could grant alternate futures to other people?
No,
because that would be insane.
She already did that technically.
So, but she's doing it with ages, right? She's not doing it with potential.
No, because this could be like just an Easter egg with Oda and Luffy and the thing, but she already did that.
Like if she joins the Revolutionaries, right, and she teams up with Bello Betty, whose whole thing is like
crazy.
She cheers people on, and then she literally creates an alternate future with a bunch of Nikas flying around, charged on by Bello Betty, like. That's
it's not that severe.
There's the two things.
There's a context to this, though. No.
I want Cole to talk me down.
Because I'm saying, like, there's a context to this. Because people, because like the way it seems that based on what Saturn is saying, it's all about how she perceives that future to be. And the problem is that, like, a lot of folks want her to have like this crazy Bonney verse, like she's she's Miles Morales, and then there's a whole bunch of hers that like exist.
Oda kind of opened those cans, though.
All these old versions of them. No, that's not happening.
Situation where Saturn fundamentally does not understand the power because he doesn't believe in free will. So he fundamentally does not understand the power. Because the way
there's also two things about that too.
Saturn, goes, it's the power that I gave you. You transform into any future, but the more you know of reality. Saturn assumes he knows reality, but he actually doesn't because he's wrong.
Okay, look, here's the question.
On that note, though,
here's the question. Here's the question.
He doesn't mention that Bonney has the power to change other people. He only refers to her power to herself. So he's missing an entire category that Bonney exhibited as a child.
Like, and even
but she's not giving these people alternate timelines on themselves.
She turned other people into other futures, and that's like an old theory on my channel. The thing about it is that if you look at her powers, and even if you go to what Oda has shown with timelines, Cole, even if you look at that, you can see a character like Luffy. In a good timeline, he's this. In a bad timeline, he's like this, right? Characters are possible of all these future timelines. What Bonney is allowed to do is change anybody into a possibility, meaning that a younger person could turn into a stronger version of Nika if they're able to believe it. If that story is widespread.
No. That's not the issue. The issue is that people are saying, hey, Bonney can let's say she makes Usopp older, but she gives Usopp abilities that he does not have. So I'm gonna give Usopp I'm gonna give Usopp the magma fruit in a future in a time.
That's not impossible based on the rule sets.
I don't think it's impossible.
Hold on. That's why. So that's this question right now. Do you think that when she does her distorted future, is she turning her body into actual rubber?
I think she is turning her body into a version of herself temporarily, in which she knows what leak is like and is rubber, so she would be rubble. She would have the capability.
It's cold. There's no way.
He imagined that he was rubber, right?
You're forgetting the most important thing about what Saturn said, Cole, is that it mirrors exactly what Vegapunk said that were true of devil fruits. So he says that Bonney is able to access the branches, the future of humanity. Devil fruits are the exhibition of the multiple branches of what humanity.
She perceives.
So
it's not an unlimited tapping into the future of every part of humanity. We do know
anything that is possible with devil fruits is possible for humanity.
Because you were saying earlier, wait, because you said earlier, right, that if she sees the awakened Gear 5, right, and her and Kuma, which I think all of us can call are in consensus, that moment has to happen in which they see Nika.
Absolutely.
The whole thing that Saturn said, which is why I got concerned and why I wanted to defer to you in the first place, is that Saturn's whole thing was that she was losing hope, right? And that's why she's not able to imagine this future. If she sees Nika, the god that she's been thinking about for years, in front of her actually existing, that scares me in terms of potentially giving her some like massive buff, because then her imagination is going to go off the chain.
Yeah, no.
Right.
So she'll get a buff, and she'll try and emulate whatever she's perceiving the Nika to be, but she won't become the Nika. There won't be a second sun god,
yes, and
she that second sun god through the time building. No,
I think Bonney will actually turn white and have the hair and the sash.
Tied to a temporary attack.
So, like,
right?
for example,
so I think that could be her awakening, like you're talking about, Roger. Like we don't see it. Maybe we don't see it versus Saturn. Maybe in the future, Bonney can mimic Gear 5 temporarily.
But distorted future isn't a form, it's one move. Insane. It's not like a permanent form she goes into.
No. And that's what I was saying too with the buff with other people, right? Is that, like, to me, it's just wild that the first time we saw her, we basically saw her utilizing her fruit in a way we just weren't aware of it, but we were basically seeing her utilize the fruit in a way that we've then seen Awakening be utilized, right? Where it's affecting other things. So from the get-go, she was affecting other people. So it naturally, you would think the next progression of that would be temporarily. Right. Well, I'm not saying she would literally be Nika, right? I'm saying that it would be a temporary boost in which she could turn other people into the future.
Well, the thing is, like, she was like, it's a mimicking, right? So we saw Law mimic Corazon's fruit, where like she couldn't.
I wouldn't say it's mimicking though.
That's a great point.
Because the main problem with saying it's mimicking is that when she was 12, she went off of a rumor, one line that Kuma said, and was able to pull out Gear 3 looking Luffy as Nika.
What was the mimic there? There's no mimic. Here's how it changes though. Now she's seen it. So she's seen it, and she's still gonna try and emulate. So now she's gonna mimic exactly what she's looking at.
That's but that's as before. That's like before. If she turns her body into actual bona fide rubber, so if she hit with a lightning bolt, which you want to negate that wholesale because her body's now rubber, and that's what I'm saying before. And then to me, the biggest key of this was that it's more like imitation, emulation, not actually being that. Was what we find out what happened with her and Connie. Where she becomes Queen Dowager Connie because that's what she's an old person be, like an older person. So she mimics that form.
But after that, she could just turn into Connie at any time.
Hold up.
Yeah, that falls apart with the Alpha fight. That falls apart with the Alpha fight where there's nothing.
Wait. I think one thing I got to establish. Even if she mimics Gear 5, she can never touch the power that Gear 5 exudes. That's not what's happening at all.
That's what I'm asking you. Is she rubber or not? That's what I'm asking you.
She could be rubber, but she's not
temporarily.
She's rubber, but cool. She could be rubber without emitting like Conqueror's hockey and all that.
How is she doing? That's my thing. How is she doing?
Why is she being rubber crazy?
Yeah, why?
Because
Cole's stuck on people being rubber. Luffy punched people and they turned rubber. Like
wait, no. Because
Moria did this to Oars too. Like
we know the other
that was his shower stretching, but whatever.
We know the other folks can expand their bodies in various ways without the need of rubber. We see what's Katakuri. We see what San Juan Wolf.
But you literally see her do Gear 3. I mean, it wasn't even like a question.
Hold on. So what did Kuma tell Bonney when she was younger? She told him that her body could fight and expand as soon as possible because his body was not rubber. So her body is trying to emulate that in a hulkish way and be what she perceives that to be.
She's doing a Kong gun. What are you talking about?
She's not doing a Kong gun. What are you talking about?
Look at the panels. Against Saturn, when she's fighting Saturn, she's doing a Kong gun.
Cool, but the other part of that's crazy is that how long
go look at last chapter. She's trying to do a Kong gun.
Wait.
Cool.
You mean her wrist?
It took Luffy like 8 years to get to Kong gun. It took him that long to get to Gear 3. He had a rubber fruit. Just because you have an imaginary rubber thing, we saw how Luffy fought, and it took him like I don't even know to fight Rob Lucci to pull out a giant fist, right? But because of the idea of a rubber thing, that's all Kuma said. She pulls out coincidentally Gear 3 fist.
No, that's not all he says. No. He says that he can fight as freely as he wants to because of his rubber body. It's not just so. She's trying to emulate what a rubber body could do with her own power.
Cool. Are you saying that she's using her version of rubber, but if she gets hit by lightning, she's still affected?
Thank you. Yes.
Exactly. I agree with that. Though.
Yeah, that's fine.
I agree with that. Yeah.
She's not rubber like Luffy. She only emulate what that is.
So she's mimicking it in her own way.
This is the whole thing.
This is like so myopic and kind of irrelevant. This is like a really annoying point.
It's important shit. It's important shit.
All he's saying is body fights and
it's important shit.
This is why Cole streams
And
are
the checks and
standard
ba-
8 hours long. There was
And
one
the checks
time
and
I caught
balances-
him counting the lights of Lelucia and then going through the entire series. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, not 16. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
He kept
Alright,
on doing
so-
that. That was like 9 hours stream.
After that,
In the
I'll
checks
go,
and balances,
I'm
it
gonna
matters.
go. I'm gonna go through
I think
some.
it does for
I'm gonna go through some
sure.
dodos real quick.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Color Brown, $5. Who do we think the man bucked by Flame is?
Well, Ace
That's my guy
Warlord.
Caleb.
It's Ace Warlord.
Ace
Gotta kill
Warlord,
Brown.
man.
It's the
Help
Ace
some new
Warlord,
guy.
man.
Scopper.
Scopper Gavard.
Yes, go.
The man marked by flames is Scopper.
Let's go.
Come on,
I still think it's Saul, man.
Yeah, I still
really
think it's Saul.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
Saul anymore. There's too many connections.
Yeah, I don't think it's Saul.
Because
I
what
think-
Shiryu says, his theory is it's a man connected with the world government.
Still Saul.
So, and we just got the, Ace
Kill-
statement that he beat a warlord. So
It's
It's
just
a-
it's just such a random
Yeah.
character to give such an important role to that we've
I
never
know,
seen
but he
before.
Not
I-
necessarily though. If he's
Yeah.
from O'Hara, technically is a member of the government, right? Having
No,
been
no,
a
no,
Marine,
no, Roger.
has
not
the will
Saul.
of D. Like,
Look-
I mean, if you're gonna in talking in terms of important characters, I would assume the
Yeah,
characters
I'm
with
not-
the will of D are probably.
Yeah, I'm not
very
talking about Saul.
important.
I'm talking about this
Yeah.
warlord that Ace
Well,
beat. It's
here's the
like
thing,
so
so
right?
irrelevant.
We
It's
know
like-
where the fourth poneglyph used to be, and that's Fishman Island, and that used to be
Sure.
Whitebeard's territory. Because if you remember the Roger,
Yeah.
the Odin flashback in Fishman
It was
Island,
there.
next to the Joy Boy poneglyph,
The fourth?
road poneglyph, yes.
Okay.
And it
That's the
was
only one that's
all
not
missing
remember
now.
that at all.
Island.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Well, that's
Okay.
what I think. Dragon makes a lot of sense
I don't
because
think that makes
Dragon-
that's like, what I mean is like that's like a high IQ move. All right, if I have the final poneglyph, nobody can find the One Piece. The
Yeah,
world
okay.
can remain as it is,
Right.
so I can make my move. And
JD
also, if Dragon has the wind powers, he can pick it up and move it. You know
I
what
don't
I'm saying?
think it's
just
Dragon.
like,
Okay, I did. That's a trap card. I wasn't gonna talk on this because I have a huge theory, like already posted, and it's very long. But with the Dragon thing, that's the one thing. It would make his character absolutely abysmal because he had Robin for 2 years, the one person in the world who could read poneglyphs, and if it was stolen before then, and he has it, and he didn't have her read it to the point where she went to Zoe, and she was like, "Oh my God, red poneglyphs!" She literally said, "I've never seen a red poneglyph. I've never heard of red poneglyph. This is the first time." So if Dragon had it and never had Robin read it, and they worked, we know that they did talk about poneglyphs. They talked about ancient weapons. Dragon would be the worst. Like I couldn't save him from that one. I can save him from all the other slander. Not
it
that
Dragon
one.
depends.
stops
It, well,
lowering
part.
after
It
Not
depends on
telling
if.
Robin anything.
But the thing is, if I have something to keep it away from everyone from finding it, what's the point of having Robin read it? I don't care what's on it. I just
So
know
is
that
it-
I'm trying to keep it away.
Yeah, but is he marked
but
by
then you have to
flame?
jump through a bunch of loops to have him even know about it. This dude doesn't. If you don't think he's going after the One Piece and he only cares about the Holy Knight, he doesn't care about Jin, he doesn't care about all these things, and he's so focused on saving the world. I don't think a red rock at the bottom of the ocean that nobody really even knows about. Because here's the other important thing: the way that rock isn't common knowledge. That rock
Yeah.
is outside of
Lodestar,
Fishman
yeah.
Island. Robin had to do research before finding it, and Robin's the only character that does. She did that on Skypiea. She went to a place nobody else went to and found these things. And I'm not going to say that anybody else has that expertise to do what Robin did, because she's been doing that her whole life. So
Maybe
in order to
Blackbeard.
find that red poneglyph, you have to have like key knowledge, to the point where my assertion, and this is part of the video, I don't think that Whitebeard even knew about it, because the conversations that would lead to that would be so weird for Whitebeard to have that knowledge. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I talked about it in the video where even Whitebeard, think about it, this rock isn't even in Fishman Island, and Whitebeard didn't care about the One Piece.
I think
I
Whitebeard
feel-
He could have
definitely.
got
feel
it
like- I
from
feel like
Roger.
Because
I-
I would think that'd be something that that's
Roger-
information they present to him
All
as
right,
like,
yeah.
hey,
I feel like
this
Roger-
is-
but
Roger-
and that's
because
the
they know
important
he's
thing,
the-
but the only
essentially
person
he's
who
the one that
could
like
that
was controlling
information
the
would
era,
be-
right?
Well, did
The only
did
person who
Whitebeard
could have
ever get
presented
to-
that information would be King Neptune.
Yeah.
Neptune is the only person
Yeah.
there. And Oda did this weird thing when you go back. It's like Jinbei's not even in Fishman Island, apparently, at that time. And there's only a select amount of characters that would know about, one, the importance of that red poneglyph, that you'd even need to take it,
Yeah.
because it's like nobody knows what's even on that
All right,
until after Roger.
Do you
So
wanna hear
in
my-
order to
Yeah.
know why that rock is important, you have to either have interacted
Or
with
go to
Roger,
Lodestar.
or have asked like the right questions. And there's not that many characters that would.
All
Well,
right.
they go to Lodestar,
Well,
right? And then you can find other
Lodestar,
people
yeah.
there. But
Well,
that's
that-
it.
But do you
It
think
depends-
Lodestar?
It
not to
depends
cut-
though, right? Because
Lodestar didn't
I
tell
don't think
him.
you have to read a rock like that to know it's important.
It's red.
I mean,
No,
Card-
but you immediately know.
Yeah.
But Brago,
if you
I'm
have
not
the
mad.
voice, if you have the voice,
I'm not
it's
mad, bro.
important. If you have
No,
the
I'm
voice,
saying no, and I'm
it's
saying for someone like Dragon,
Like-
whose goal is chasing the history of the world in regards to against the celestial dragon. So yes, information is important.
Also,
I don't think
like,
you necessarily have to know
like,
what's on it to know it's important.
like,
Yeah, but you
like
have to know where it is.
I
Brago.
think it's
it's
the
not.
Nah,
It's
I think
it's
the road
at
product
the
is more common than you think.
it's in the
No,
forest at the bottom of
They're
the
more
ocean.
common, the road
that
poneglyphs?
had to be. Robin had to go into the forest super deep to find it. It's not like you just go to Fishman Island and all of a sudden you see it.
Kid,
You
But
have,
when
you
you
have to
said
go
they're the more
way out of
common,
your
Let's
way.
have a kid.
Christian, when you said they're more common, do you mean that
No, like the
knowledge of them is more common?
The
than you think?
knowledge of them is more common because, like, pirates like
Oh.
Kid know about you need the road poneglyphs to get the raft out. Like, it seems like a
It's
new
not a
world
secret at
common
this point.
knowledge. Yeah.
No.
Well, hold on now.
It's like new
but,
world
like,
common knowledge.
yeah, but kids, like, but kid, Law, Luffy, they're like their crews, like one in like
Yeah, but it seemed like he knew
1 million.
before,
Like they're very like,
Yeah, but like
they're
if
top
Kid,
end crews in the world.
Bro, if Kid knows, how does like Dragon not know? You know, how does the
I think that's
Do random guys in
gymnastics.
the wait, do
You
random
feel like
guys
Kid
in the
knows
Grand
the
Line
dragon
know?
doesn't know what the
I feel
poneglyphs
like
mean.
Wait,
but that's
Dragon
why-
definitely knows.
No,
Yeah.
but and that's why when Dragon mentioned the poneglyphs and Robin and saying like, oh, I guess ancient weapons are real. That's my clue that like, yeah, poneglyphs aren't on Dragon's radar, right? Like he talked about Robin as the light of the revolutions, but
yeah.
not like, oh, you're the only person who
Yo,
can read poneglyphs.
this-
Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's
Wait,
the
but
the
light.
did
thing is,
we
Dragon-
start on
Dragon-
this because did somebody say that Dragon has the last poneglyph? Is that
Yeah, the man marked
Yeah,
by
I feel
flame.
like Dragon could be the man marked by flames.
Alright, this is my man marked by flame theory. So it was the warlord that Ace defeated. He got upset. Ace defeated him. He's like, no one of his generation is gonna become Pirate King. I'm gonna go steal the red poneglyph from Fishman Island. He goes and steals
It's
that red
just
poneglyph,
so
and
much
he's just
there.
like
Just
taking it away.
chilling.
Like you gotta have
Yeah.
Just
knowledge and strength,
Yeah.
and
I know,
also
but-
being able
So,
to keep it away for this
Strength but lost to
long.
Ace.
Like,
Right.
and
It
the only-
can't just
the
be
only-
somebody that just lost to Ace. You know what I'm
this
When
is
saying?
you guys
Yeah.
said though that it's taken, right? You, at this point, I would assume the majority of you believe that like when we see the final road poneglyph, like I think it's in Elbaf currently.
It's the
I don't know
might be.
who it is. I don't know.
I don't
who
know
this,
anymore.
it could.
I
it
think
could
it's
be
on
No,
somebody
Roger,
there,
it's
whatever
definitely.
black-
It's
but I think
either-
it's in
yeah.
Elbaf. Like it has to be.
It's
Naturally,
it's
for the
no,
most
it's
part.
confirmed that the last one's the Fishman Island one because Big Mom already had hers.
Big Mom
But,
had one.
but I'm saying it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
still on
Zoe.
Fishman Island, right? Regardless
not
of
there.
who the person with the burn scar is. My
Mhm.
assumption is if Kid
I-
was
yeah.
going to Elbaf to meet the person with the burn scar, and all this stuff is tied in with the road poneglyph, it would make narrative sense that the final road poneglyph, which
It's
has
on
already
Elbaf.
been alluded to and teased to be in like an important island to
Yeah.
the history of the world, well, like Elbaf is pretty
I-
much the last big one
yeah.
that we know
The-
about,
the-
other than
Now
all
the
this-
there's like
guys,
really
guys-
conflicting
thing.
info on it.
The
though,
whole
'cause, like
thing-
there's weird like
Yes,
conflicting
exactly.
info on like what Shiryu said and then what the lore of the black ship
Sure.
that Whirlpool.
Sure.
Right.
So there's all
Sure.
this,
Because
like, conflicting
honestly,
stuff.
like it could be like where Saul is on that ship, and then Saul is trying to like make sure that Elbaf is fine from any, let's say, danger. So he's on that ship guarding the poneglyph. And then let's say Elbaf is gonna be more important. Let's say not in terms of the poneglyph, but let's say in terms of the final Uranus ancient weapon. So
But Paul
it's
is
there,
Paul,
probably
yeah.
there
But
somewhere.
So
in
Saul
Elbaf.
is guarding the poneglyph.
But after Elbaf
Yeah,
is
it
It
on
could
a
be
raft-
him if
after
Saul
Saul
had
ain't
marked
stopping
by
nobody that
flames.
won that
Guys.
poneglyph.
After
Because-
Elbaf, we're going to
because-
raft out clearly.
Because
Right?
the problem is that you have more factors now where this thing could be. And especially if
Didn't
you
they
have
mention that
government,
it's,
they're ones
it's a
guarding
black
it.
ship? Somebody
the
sailing
Black
around on a
Pearl.
black
No,
ship?
The
I'll
Black
spoil
Pearl with Captain
the-
Jack
the
Sparrow
video.
are guarding the last rope warning.
Huh?
Yeah.
There you go.
The video's already
Captain Jack
posted, but-
confirmed for
They
what?
said that?
So when it comes to that red poneglyph, right? Roger, the way I found my answer was I followed the Odin flashback and
Yeah.
Roger, right? So Roger had Big Mom's already copied, and then he found out about the one on Zoe and the one on Wano from Odin, and then
Right.
the other one from the Nekomamushi and the other two,
Right.
right?
Correct.
And this is the interesting thing about the Odin flashback. There's only one conversation that Oda decided to off screen that Roger had. The entire time we see Roger talking, and there's only one time he had an off screen conversation, and it's right before he finds that other poneglyph. And prior to that, he doesn't say like he knows where it is. He doesn't do any of that. But the person he speaks to is the person that I think is the man marked by flame, and that person is Tom. He has an off-screen conversation with Tom,
So-
and it's the weirdest situation because my thing was like, okay, we just had the Saul situation where he's revived, right? And that nobody liked that. And I was like, okay, this is the hardest part of the theory. Is he alive? And the craziest part is Oda, for the first time in the entire series, decided to shoot him but with tranquilizer bullets. He got shot with tranquilizer bullets, not real bullets. And then on top of that, when as far as confirming that he died, it was in the Viver cards right next to Saul. In the Viver cards, it's right next to Saul.
But
deceased.
Wait. So my brain is
people would hate
this.
that.
You're saying you think Tom is alive?
Yeah,
and has burn scars.
I'm not mad at the theory, but like
I'm not mad at the theory either. But I know
it's interesting.
Like the reaction immediately to it.
I spent an entire like maybe 10-15 minutes in the video explaining why it's a completely different situation, and there would be breadcrumbs for it. But the main thing about it is he is the character that Oda decided to give Roger an off-screen conversation, the only one right before it and right afterwards. Roger beelines to the poneglyph, and the main thing is that it completes the important things. The main thing is that Tom actually has a connection to O'Hara. He's been tracking Robin this entire time. He literally told Iceberg and Frankie, watch out for this girl because of ancient weapons. And so now he has a connection to O'Hara from that side. He has a connection to Robin from watching it. He has a connection to the ancient knowledge of the people, because he's part of the guild of ancient shipwrights, which as far as One Piece goes, as far as shipwrights go, that's very, very important. So shipwrights, the ancient guild, the ancient engineers can tie to Pluton. So he has that Pluton information. And on top of that, he is the literal character. Right before Roger found the poneglyph, he talked to Tom. And the entire point of what Roger said was, before he sees Tom, he says, I'm going to go where what guides me. And the next, I got in my grasp, where's this guiding me? And then it was Tom. But as far as the video goes, there's a full.
But Scopper though.
I think it's more got to do with Whitebeard than it has to do with Tom and Roger, because that was Whitebeard's old territory, and we kind of know why he was protecting it. But I
explain in the video early on, and it's lengthy, why it's not Whitebeard. Why Whitebeard is a lot. You have to jump through a lot of hoops, and I'm not saying it is Tom, but as far as the Warlord thing, my connection to like the realization was that my thing is there's a future video, and I already talked about this, so I could talk about it now. Is that there's a void that Oda included in the story that I'm 100% he's going to use.
You think that
is the escaped impelled down prisoners. A lot of people think that Blackbeard wiped out all the prisoners. That's completely false, because Sengoku got the report from Major Brand New that like all the prisoners from level 6, according to that conversation, all of them had escaped, and these are characters that the world government wanted to essentially erase but not kill, and all those characters are still essentially unaccounted for, unless you count the on like Hazard that Zahn might have taken care of. But like that's where I think that warlord that, you know, if he resurfaces, it would be from Impel Down. If Tom is the main thing, it's from Impel Down, and that's a central point in that.
Roger's inspecting the documents.
I was literally going through. I went back to the Tom thing because one, I did not remember the tranquilizer bullet thing at all. You are correct. They do shoot him with the tranquilizer bullets. However, there is a whole bit after that. So you get the little bit here.
With the tranquilizer bullets.
Then them talking about, you know, the stuff with the blueprint, and then Tom falls over. So my assumption, if there's anything, based on what you were just saying, in terms of Tom and having a conversation with Roger, might not necessarily be about a poneglyph. That could be about Pluton.
Yeah.
And about the truth about Pluton. Because we know now Pluton's in Wano country. Odin obviously comes from Wano country. We got the reveal at the end of Wano about the old Wano and all the stuff that was underneath that. If anything, that almost feels like him off-screening that conversation was so as they would not like spoil the Pluton reveal after that had happened.
The Pluton, I think the Pluton and the shipwright stuff, I think that'll end up being a separated conversation with like Vegapunk and Frankie and that kind of thing. As far as what Roger was concerned with, right? Like, had he known about that Pluton thing and he's asking him about the train in this conversation, it's very interesting because he was beelining for poneglyphs. That's what he wanted. That's the whole progression of this part of the story, right? And so, you know, going back to the whole Tom and connecting to the Man Marked by Flames, one of the central parts of this conversation is like someone who worked with the world government. Tom did work with the world government, but the other part is that it's a character that's centralized on a ship, the legendary shipwright being tied to a black ship. And what's funny about that is that that's what the trains were. The sea trains were described as ships. He called them a paddle ship. And when you look at them, how it's drawn, it's literally, it's a jet black drawing on the thing. And so the whirlpools that are by it, like when you look at Rocket Man, for example, it's going so fast. For example, a lot of people don't remember this either. Rocket Man was going so fast, it didn't even need rails. It didn't even need rails, and it was causing like, you know, whirlpools around it. But even the Going Merry, when it was going by and the train went by, it had to move out of the way. So this train is destructive. Like these trains are significant. So as far as like all the different points in the video, so I don't want to like derail the he fits all of the different clues.
Because it's all well and good, but keep in mind that CD also ties us to that this person is tied to world government, where it's the world government themselves actively having someone in that position to defend the last world point glyph.
I think the key to this is timeline.
I think
it's like the key to this is timeline, because like we have when did the poneglyph go missing? Was it after Whitebeard's death? Was it why Whitebeard was active?
No,
we don't know. That's the most important factor
The-
of this. Is
the
like
whole-
when did the poneglyph
The
go
whole
missing?
thing with this the man marked by flame is the whole progression of that chapter he's mentioned is like obviously it's soul, right? Because obviously the whole flow through of the chapter is talking about that, and then it goes into soul and he's still alive, which is like when the ship and O'Hara was burning and he was frozen, all that stuff.
That was the first thing.
But yeah, to go this warlord, the only purpose to do this warlord is to give Ace like a retroactive source when.
I mean, Oda's doing it.
Yes,
Oda's always
absolutely.
doing it.
He loves it.
That's the only purpose is when Luffy meets his man. He's gonna be
I'm
like,
here
"Oh, Ace had Conqueror's Huggy. He was crazy."
Yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
So like that's the only purpose. If it's that guy, if it's Soul, it goes it connects all the dots and we get Robin stuff but like this random guy. Is he gonna be on Elbaf so we just get all the way at once? You know, like Oda's clearly streamlining the story. That's why we skip like the whole Seraphim shit. That's why Yamato didn't join the crew. You know, so like I don't know if we're gonna do this little side mission to find this man, then go to Elbaf. It's kind of
I'm glad you said that. Exactly the way you just said that. I'm glad you said that, because that's why I think regardless of who has it, when it moved, that shit is irrelevant, right? What matters is right now in the story, more likely than not, it is currently in Elbaf. And we're going to find out whatever that is in Elbaf. Because for them now pushing, like, and I know people don't like hearing this, but I've been saying this since pre-Egghead, like, and now it's clear based on what they're doing with the anime and, like, the stakes of Egghead and everything that's been happening. Like, we are in the final saga now, right? Like, unfortunately, shit is going to get cut. We're not going to get everything that people think we're going to get. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be left unexplained. There's going to be a lot of plot holes. We're not going to get everything. But realistically, the place we know we have to go, and I know Oda loves doing the, well, we're going to go to that place soon type of thing to turn people off. But, like, it's Elbaf. Straight up, Vegapunk said, we're going to Elbaf. That's the plan.
Luffy and Usopp are excited.
Luffy's there. I would presume Kuma, with all of his exploring throughout the rest of the world, in one final thing at the end of Egghead, could teleport all of them, send them all off to Egghead Island, right? That could be their way of getting there and getting off the island safely. Kuma himself takes on the brunt of whatever happens with the rest of Egghead and Saturn and the fallout, whoever the Blackbeard person is dealing with all of that. Like, that could happen there. But I do think this revelation and potentially even stuff with Shanks and a lot of stuff about God Valley, Loki, obviously, tying in things with Big Mom, like, that's gonna happen at Elbaf. And realistically, the whole thing that Zoe brought up, right, the idea that you go to the final island and then that's supposed to tell you about the road poneglyphs and their importance and all this stuff, we don't need to go there now. Like, there's no reason for us to have to go to Lodestar Island beyond Nami saying, well, I want to visit it for the chart, right? That's the only reason.
To me, the story progression is clearly Elbaf and Raftel. I don't think there's going to be anything in between.
That's it. Other than the final war. It's Elbaf. I really think it's Elbaf, final war, Laugh-Tale at the very end. Yeah.
Depends on the order of what's going on. But
I agree. I agree with you. Because I think the final war arc, I think is gonna, and this is I think why people maybe are somewhat getting confused about it in terms of like major arcs. It's clear with the way that Egghead that has been set up, and like even stuff that we saw a little bit in Film Red, that battles are now so big that they're being fought on multiple fronts. So just as we had the Egghead arc, there was still Full Island with the stuff with Garp and Kuzan. There was still, you know, the stuff with Law and the submarine and Blackbeard. You had Elbaf with Shanks, right? Like, I think moving forward, for every character to get their due in a way that I think people are going to be happy about, is you're going to have multiple fronts during each story.
Yeah, like in Elbaf,
so while, like,
cut back to
right.
somewhere else.
So like our main characters are going to be in Elbaf throughout Elbaf, but us being in Elbaf does not mean that we won't see more of what all the other characters are up to on their own excursions elsewhere.
So
that could potentially exactly, and that could potentially give us the information that we need about the few other islands that are left that we might necessarily not need a full story arc in, which then could make the final war arc like so massive and involve so many different islands that when you eventually get Laugh-Tale and the Void Century and the Ancient Kingdom and all that kind of stuff towards the ending, like Oda, I did not initially believe this. I used to think Final War was going to happen after Laugh-Tale, but now, like, after some of the recent Oda comments and some of the editor's comments, I do kind of believe him when he says it ends when we find the One Piece.
Yes.
Like, I think we get the epilogue or whatever, but I think the main final big arc, I do think, is Laugh-Tale. Yeah.
And again, the final war could be on the seas of Raftel when it's found. Like, all the parties turn up.
Sure, it could be both.
I do like the idea of the multiple fronts, because that gets rid of the issue of, like, you know, like Law doing something stupid right next to Luffy, and then, like, the whole, like, how do you split people up, and if you're all fighting in Marijo, it gets messy.
And we saw that exact thing being like communication via multiple fronts. We saw that in Film Red. Literally, you have the Dream World and the regular world, and Yasop and Usopp are talking via their observation hockey about what's going on, coordinating.
Like
so I'm presuming if you've got other characters with strong observation hockey, all on their own fronts, you're going to have them communicating.
Or just like Vegapunk walkie-talkies.
Oh yeah.
Well, that too. Yeah, right. Literally, we have a guy who can make walkie-talkies.
You could think like maybe the I don't know, maybe like the world government have all the ancient weapons in the end, and then like you get like, I don't know, like Dragon to take out one, and you get like someone else to take out the other one, and something like that.
Christian, when you said the walkie-talkie thing, that's funny, because then I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, but how are they going to get him to all their allies? And I'm like, oh, of course, Kuma's Devil Fruit, naturally. Like they're gonna,
you just send them on news.
Vivi will come back. Vivi will have the pop-up fruit. She'll slap the walkie-talkies where they need to go. Yeah, right.
You know, Roger, on your comment on Elbaf coming next, right now that's right on the horizon.
Yeah.
What kind of arc are you guys expecting from Elbaf structure?
I got a good structure here.
Massive.
I got not massive. All right, this is the structure of Elbaf in my mind. Elbaf is split into two factions: the faction that believes Nika is the sun god, and the faction with Loki who don't. All right, Luffy gets there. There's this faction war going on, and of course, Big Mom comes back. She wants her revenge. She comes back to Elbaf. Luffy defeats Big Mom. Defeats the Giant's greatest enemy. The Loki faction believes Luffy is the sun god, and he gains the Giants as an ally for the final war. That's the plot.
That sounds
great. The plot of Elbaf.
Cool.
I like fill it in with details.
Give a definitive, solid 1v1 win against Big Mom with Luffy. I like that. That's cool. I'm cool with that. Yeah.
I feel like that works because you can slot in all the different.
You can slot in all the other stuff in one, but that's the major plot. Yeah.
I also like that too with Loki because of we still need to know who Loki is and what he looks like, and we know that obviously it was so important that they marry him off to have the next, the heir of the Giants, and so that will be interesting. Yeah, like if his bloodline dies with them or something, and he believes in Nico, and he says this is too important. We don't need to.
Do we find anybody with? Wait, what happened?
I said the chat wanted to talk.
No.
Oh, absolutely.
I didn't want to butt in. That was a great conversation.
No.
I was just gonna say, with Buccaneer Blood, now that we're getting more Nika stuff, more Buccaneer stuff, do we find somebody with the Buccaneer ability in Elbaf, or with that
special
that type of lineage? Yeah, the special lineage there.
Soul could be half giant, half Buccaneer. I don't know if it's revealed that he's a full. He's not really a full giant.
Because Buccaneers are like giant blood.
Yeah, maybe. So. I think there's still a special ability that has to be revealed.
Is that why Saul got
Soul's legs? He's not like full giant size.
Yeah, he's not that big for a giant. But
And
Oda's,
he's early, isn't he the early
Oda's
guy
scale
with
shit
the
is
E?
weird as well, because I didn't think Kuma was that big holding Bonney in his hand.
I'm just confused about giants in general, their power or whatever. Cole recently tweeted a thing that I honestly forgot. Like Big Mom, I remember the marriage and everything, but Big Mom, after like talking about it, she said that if she got the giants, we don't know to what capacity she meant, but she said like she could topple Whitebeard, Kaido, everybody.
Well, even the world government in Punk has it. They want giants so badly.
Oda's gonna buff the giants because he's already buffed Dory and Brogy. Clearly, they're gonna be like, strong as.
But like Dory and Brogy are captains though. Like they're supposed to. They were literally their entire lives was duking each other out.
Yeah, but that's
for
all.
100
That's
years.
all that. That's all Elbaf do
We're
is
gonna
fight
get the
each
legendary.
Is it?
Yes, they're warrior culture. That's all they do is fight each other.
I do think there is a reason, like we've talked about before multiple times on other streams, is like the world government clearly valuing the giants, trying to create their own giants. So I feel like we're gonna find the reason for that when we get to Elbaf and see what they were actually capable of. Maybe not now, but back in the day, like why they were considered to be the main.
It is funny that every
planet.
time a giant is on screen, they get one shot by someone.
That's my thing. It's like, are the giants gonna be like are they just fodder control? Because I'm thinking like all the top tiers, like how many giants how many giants can Luffy take out right now? Can you just run the gauntlet like 100 giants? Like how many giants does it take to stop
I think there'll be one like emperor level giant in Elbaf that everyone's afraid.
Emperor level giant.
It has to be
crazy.
Everyone hypes Big Mom's hyping up the giants.
But I think it's
could you imagine Big Mom shuddering
as a people though, as opposed to just like one strong dude?
How can hypes up
the idea, the concept itself is a deterrent of having the giants under you.
Right. But this goes to the whole thing of Oda thinking like numbers matter, and he's trying to convince us that numbers matter in Wano the whole time with like CP0 counting the numbers of the people. When it's like, all right, Oda, you think like the numbers matter, they don't. It's about like Luffy and Zoro. It's not about
Luffy
like how many soldiers people have.
Drake styled on them. Like Luffy and Drake had like the Wombo combo team brotherhood. Like, hey, bro, we're on the same team. That's what the numbers are for.
A giant would be worth like what 1,000 fodder, but like there's still fodder. You know.
Yeah. I mean, tying it back though, because Recon, you brought this whole thing up in the first place regarding Elbaf. I am curious specifically to hear from you on this in regards to Shanks. Because, like, you mentioned this whole layout of how the arc could look, Christian, and I was like, that sounds great. But I'm like, where does Shanks fit in that? Because I feel like, is Shanks still going to be here? Is this going to be the reunion with Luffy? What do you think, Recon?
Dude, so I'm down for one of two things. It depends for me on when Shanks fights Blackbeard, right? If that happens before we get, so let's just say we leave Egghead, we go and do the post around the world stuff, and we see Shanks catch up to Blackbeard, then obviously it's not going to be the time for it. But if we don't see that happen pre-Elbaf, I would not be surprised if we get the Roger Whitebeard meetup scene in Elbaf with Luffy and Shanks. I think that would be one of the perfect ways for us to start the arc as like, oh my god, it's happening. This is our time. This is Oda. We can tell why Oda's been waiting so long to draw Elbaf, because he's also been waiting all this time to draw Luffy meeting Shanks, right?
Yeah.
So to start off the arc, having Luffy arrive, maybe he sees the ship and he's like, oh snap, they're here. And we have the Conquerors clash similar to the Roger and Whitebeard stuff. I would be so down if this is the arc where that does happen, especially if, like you said, we go from here to Final War. Because there's really going to be no in-between for that to take place. So if it were to happen on Elbaf, which we know is sort of Shanks' territory, where he has like a lot of allies here, I think it makes a lot of sense. It just depends on whether Shanks is on Blackbeard's tail or not.
It also depends because like we know Shanks is going after Bardo to clearly bait Luffy into a fight. Like that's what he's doing at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know what's
going. Because like
my issue with like the Elbaf then Laughtail pathway is that like right now Elbaf is like it doesn't coincide with like the Holy Knights and Rev's part of it, and that seemingly is a huge part of the story. So it's like, and if we don't think that Dragon cares about the One Piece, then Laughtail doesn't necessarily care. And it does seem like there is a separation of what the world government is doing and what Laughtail is, to the point you guys say One Piece and the Laughtail stuff is the very end. So if Elbaf and then Laughtail, then like my thing is like obviously I think we're all in agreement. Oda's full of shit with the timeline. Like Elbaf is breaking his timeline of whatever he said before. But there has to be like an in between there, and I don't know where Dragon and the Holy Knights part comes in.
Because the dragon and Holy Knight stuff though, the in between could very much be an Egghead situation, right? In which all of that stuff happens and we cut to it every 10, 15 chapters or so.
Well,
and see what's going on with them and how that potentially ties
does Luffy ever get involved? Does Luffy ever get involved with Dragon and Sabo and, you know, let's say Garp, a family reunion side by side? Does it ever happen then in real time on the Holy War?
I don't think until like the final war, probably not.
Sabo already said he needs to meet with Luffy and Vivi, so it's like it needs to take place at some point.
That part is sure, right? Like, do you guys think that Dragon's showing up on Egghead, or is it
here's the thing, right? I think like we know what happens when a celestial dragon is punched. You got an animal showing up. What happens when a Gorosei is punched? I think the Holy Knights have to mobilize on Egghead. And that's why the Straw Hats have to get away real quick.
Well, I mean, he got stabbed already and he didn't care,
right?
I really don't see. Okay, regardless of how strong we see the Gorosei as, I don't see him getting punched and then be like, "Holy Knights assemble!" Like, he gets stabbed and he's like,
you know, I'd be down for that though. I'd be down for that.
Just what happens? It'd be so because then what? Like he gets punched. He's like, "Oh shit, this is above my pay grade," and he's summons them with the
Charles did like. Good enough.
Then why did he do that to Star? Why did he walk up? Just have the Holy Knights go to Egghead instead. Like, I don't get it. He's not even. He's not.
He has the Holy Land, especially with the Revolutionary.
They don't leave the Holy Land.
I assume.
Oh, they're at the marriage law. Oh, is that why Akainu had to be there instead of the Holy Knights?
Yeah, you're spitting.
We have to show what they could do at some point.
The Holy
no, but here's the problem. Garling, we know was there. He was literally there executing motherfuckers. And then Kuma shows up and Akainu's protecting them.
But wait. But I'm missing the through line where you guys are missing the connection, right? Because like if Garling is Shanks' father, right, and we're gonna get more information on that, and Shanks is prevalent in Elbaf, like that's your through line, right? Luffy and the rest of the crew and Kuma or whatever, they either knock out or kill a Gorosei. The Gorosei and Emu hear about this, and they're like, "This cannot happen. Where are they off to next? Elbaf." Boom, send them after them. You send Garling after you have a reunion with the father-son thing there. You get more information about that family relationship. Like that, I think could tie directly into Elbaf stuff too. I don't think you need a second front for that.
Do you think that Holy Knights are going to mobilize against Elbaf? Like the world government has stated.
No. That's not what I said. I said that they would mobilize against Luffy. Because of the fallout of Egghead. Elbaf is just unnecessary.
They have to.
They're not going to fight the Giants. They have nothing against the Giants right now. They want the Giants. They want the gigantification thing. But they're not looking to pick a fight with them. They want Luffy. If Luffy is the little linchpin for everything that happened during Egghead, that's who they're going after. And that's who they're going to send Garling after.
You can't disrespect the Gorosei and get away with it. You can't even disrespect the Celestial Dragon and get away with it. Like,
I mean,
it was a big deal when he punched one of them. I mean, back in Sabaody. This is the guy that's in charge of all of them.
But that was public. Saturn literally, his introduction is like, "Hey, yo, every like
uses here, right?
You know, it's a close.
That's why big news is coming because he's gonna
exactly the news is gonna intimidate. Morgan's gonna tell everybody.
Stabbed him, and it's not like, oh, everybody assassinate. Like he's literally tossed her down like a rag doll, and he's like doesn't have the strength for that. But like, I do like the idea that the Holy Knights get mobilized afterwards. I do like that idea. But then if you're saying that Luffy ends up on Elbaf, you're saying the Holy Knights do go to Elbaf and continue their thing.
They could.
They would have to be intercepted by the Revs, though.
I doubt it.
What do you think? Let's hear it.
Because I think that what's going to be important here with Elbaf is, and honestly, it is what it is. In Film Red, there was a lot of different hints about, I'm saying, in Film Red, there were a lot of different hints about being the idea of demon stuff and then Norse runes and how you have Uda when she summons top music.
You threw in the Norse stuff. You threw in the Norse. There was, I know, right? You didn't sit there with the Mac. I don't care how many times you watched the movie. Called the 12th time, you were like all of a sudden a Norse expert.
You're
like,
I've listened to the soundtrack thousands of times. All right, stand this into our Spotify. All right,
yes, sir.
You go through all the lyrics. There's Norse stuff all over here. I'm not with you, buddy. Don't worry about it, Cole.
I think that more so than anything else is going to be number one. We have to have another supernova finally, like the last one, Rouge.
The last one,
He has to be kind of done and taken care of there. You have to. I think it's gonna be Uranus because I'm actually confident now that because the Mother Flames can power to destroy the whole Lucia Kingdom, that is not Uranus. That's something else entirely.
Is that an OG celestial dragon spaceship?
I don't know. That's gonna be
like
possible.
is that the mothership the celestial dragons came from? Like,
I mean, whatever it is, I think that I think that Uranus may be something else entirely different that ties to Elbaf. And then, personally speaking, I need to see Big Mom return to Elbaf. I think that's
not ready for Fit Mom.
These plot lines don't have to be mutually exclusive. Look how many plot lines are just pulling on an Egghead. We can do all these things.
But only because we're following other parties in the process. So, like, there's a chance of that because, let's say, while let's say Luffy could go through all their Egghead Elbaf stuff, we cut away to Sabo preparing with war for the maybe the God Knights, who knows? Or maybe
even look at Egghead itself. We got the whole Bonney plotline. We got the Admirals. We got the Gorosei. We got the CP0. We got the whole Vegapunk plotline. You're like, Blackbeard's turning up. Big News is turning up.
Also,
Elbaf's not going to be like a isolated arc with only the giants involved.
No,
it's going to be.
But yeah, I just want to say something about Shanks, right? We know Buggy's reaction to Shanks mobilizing. But we still don't know the world government's reaction to Shanks mobilizing to get the One Piece. Because the world government were willing to play ball with Shanks when he was this peacekeeper role. But now that he's actually mobilized and go for the One Piece, maybe he might have too much information, so they want to take out Shanks. Because the world government was willing to deal with it.
Good luck. I mean, there's your through line to Final War, right?
Yeah.
I mean, which I think we've talked about this for years. If they want to take out Shanks and Blackbeard wants to be on the good side of the world government, that could easily bring Blackbeard into this as well. And he comes into the territory gunning for Shanks. You have the Holy Knights gunning for Luffy after what happened after Egghead. Plus, whatever the resolution is going to be with stuff with Loki and Big Mom and the other, plot threads in Elbaf. But I mean, you have a direct tie then to bring Blackbeard himself here against Shanks if he does that to try to win over the world government.
Yeah. So, because I absolutely love that. I know we've talked before about the Big Mom, Elbaf, you, me, and Cole on a different stream. But now that we have more context, more information, the important thing here is what's going to happen with Pudding, because we know that Pudding is with Blackbeard. Does Big Mom herself mobilize to get Pudding back, or is that an exclusive like Carter Curry thing?
Yeah, I've got a theory on this. I think the Big Mom family finally tells Big Mom to get lost after she won't go help Pudding.
Damn.
She won't go help Pudding, and she's obsessed.
Yeah, but she hates Pudding. We know
she hates Pudding anyway. Yeah.
She's not gonna go get her.
But she finds
the Big Mom family will go get Pudding with Katakuri or whatever, and Big Mom herself alone will go to Elbaf because her family abandons her finally for not caring about Pudding at all.
Yeah, and
I think she goes alone.
They had the conversation on the waterfall with like Perospero being the captain or Katakuri being the captain, so it's already kind of set up.
I think they're finally gonna have enough of her and let her loose.
So you're saying that we're not going to get Katakuri? We're not going to get Katakuri pulling up at Elbaf and then a Zoro versus Katakuri fight.
No,
we're not going to get that, unfortunately.
No, we don't want Zoro to lose there, man.
Yeah, I'm about to say, he's not there yet.
Katakuri's going to full lane.
Guys, we went so well.
Could you just repeat? Could you say exactly what you just said again, Brago, just so the people can hear it clearly?
We don't want Zoro to lose, guys.
Yeah,
so we don't want
that's right.
We were doing so well. We went 2 hours without mentioning Zoro. We were doing so well.
Yeah, that's blasphemy, actually.
That's crazy.
What are we doing?
So yeah, that's why I think Big Mom will be alone, so we don't get too bloated with Perospero and Smoothie or whatever. Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Smoothie was in Wano and did absolutely nothing.
Did nothing.
So, yeah, so it's not going to matter if Smoothie.
So we all agree that Kano and Big Mom aren't dead, right? Surely.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Kano
maybe, but Big Mom. No.
Big Mom is definitely not.
I'm extremely interested to see what Kano says about Luffy's being Joy Boy or being Nika.
I mean, we kind of already saw that.
I was interested
in
that in Wano as well as King, and we didn't get anything.
Yeah. I think it'll be post Egghead when we see them again. Maybe Kaido's like Luffy is Joy Boy.
Yeah,
but wouldn't it be great? I mean, Big Mom had a whole dialogue when she was falling, So
this post Egghead arc, like the whole in between, is gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be insane.
So much shit is gonna happen.
New bounties all over the place.
I'm so interested on seeing how Emu mobilizes after all this. After all this information has gone out, the next time we switch over to Emu, the reaction to all of this stuff, potential face reveal. Like, I think this is the time.
Yes, I am in complete agreement. I said this on stream recently, and people were like, or it wasn't on stream, I did that TikTok or whatever. It was like your 10 predictions for the next year. And I said I thought that we're going to get the Emu face reveal this year, because I think Emu's face, when we first see it, is going to be his reaction to the news that Saturn is not untouchable. And that all of this stuff actually went down at Egghead Island. And his, like, genuine freaked out,
Saturn, you're a fraud.
scared. Right, exactly. And
no, you know what I find interesting?
The reaction to it, and that's
Morgan has the pictures like Saturn all beaten up or dead,
exactly.
like the worldwide global. Saturn's a fraud.
Emu's thing is weird though, because like Emu doesn't feel like the Reverie got like eluded, and he was just like, why don't we blow up Lucia? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
he doesn't care about the other Celestial Dragon.
The Gorosei were the ones afterwards that gave like logic to any part of that situation, and Emu, the one thing that we do know is it cares about Vivi. So if Vivi shows up in that newspaper on Egghead, Emu could look at everything. Saturn could be dead on the ground, and I think that might be drool marks looking at Vivi. Yes. Like, I don't know what the
and that goes back to the spitting image thing, right? Because if Lily truly was the originator of the pawpaw fruit and really did use that to send the poneglyphs everywhere, and he just told them at Reverie. He had the list of bounties with the swords in them and all the different people he wants dead.
Yeah, he wants
and they're like, kill the Nefertari family, get them out of here. And now suddenly the worst possible thing happens. And the woman that either he was in love with or whatever the whole story is with Lily is, the spitting image is now quite literally a spitting image and has her power. Yeah. It's over, bro. Like that.
And then imagine she herself is going to like relay all this information, like rally the troops, like, yo, this is actually happening. It exists. Like, come on.
All right. The official translation also kind of notes to that, like the idea of like the 8 wives, like Guinea was one of the 8 wives. Yeah. That could be like some random dude, according to official. Like not necessarily. Yeah. I mean, maybe it is still Emu in some way. Maybe I don't know. But part right now.
Said a fellow. Calling Emu a fellow in a passerby is wild.
I don't think she was Emu's wife. No.
Yeah, like Saturn talked about it like they shared women, right? Like they're not sharing with Emu.
They're not sharing with Emu, bro.
The way I read that,
or maybe when Emu's done with them.
The way I read that, it was Celestial Dragon's wife. She got pregnant.
Holy hand-me-downs, hey.
Yeah. Holy hand-me-downs is a crazy thing.
I didn't say that.
They'd probably rather Emu go first.
Bro. Oh my god. Wow.
No, but like the way it worked in my mind for the Guinea thing was she got captured by a Celestial Dragon. She got pregnant. The Celestial Dragon didn't want her anymore, and then she ended up in, Saturn's experiment lab. That's the way I think it worked. It's just like not. I don't think it's anything like crazy reveal for that.
I don't know. Think it's just. I feel like that was a plan all along with Ginny to kind of be experimented on.
I mean, that's why like the wild malice.
Pregnant is part of the experiment.
Maybe I don't know, but like
it's probably more along the lines of like Saturn needed subjects who were pregnant, and they looked at people who were there, and then
of course he used Ginny, who was a former
biggest question mark for me is like. They didn't make it seem like anything really, like, we don't know how Ginny got taken, and I don't know of any storyline that makes that like
somebody showed up. They had somebody showing up. Somebody of significance.
Right.
They hid him.
But they had a Gorosei, not a Gorosei, a Celestial Dragon, but we don't like. I'm just kind of trying to think about it like as far as like in the future, does that something that Oda fleshes out? I don't think so. Is that something important?
I don't know, because they hit the person who showed up.
It's possible if the 8 matters.
I'm thinking she was targeted.
Yeah,
and
that she was for sure.
If that's the case, right, then the person who picked her up is important, and if it's important, I don't see it being a random.
Here's an easy solution to that. Easy solution, right? Is that person was a holy knight?
Yeah,
that person who abducted is a holy knight. Yeah. And then when you get the holy knight versus the revolutionary thing, and I'm assuming
it gets brought up.
Bonney is with the revolutionaries.
Yeah.
You get a fight with the Holy Knights, and Bonnie's fighting this dude, and he's like, by the way, I'm the
Holy
reason
Knight
you even
mobilized
exist,
for
bitch.
Virginia
And
is
like,
kinda crazy, though.
but when that happens, bro, it's over. And then
Yeah,
you
but
go,
Be like, you look just like your
A whole
mother.
lot more like
Exactly.
Virginia is kinda
Yes.
crazy.
Dude, but you just
Oh,
look
God.
like your mother. That line is too sweet.
Yeah.
If
Not
Plus the
having a
Dragon
third
Punch.
reveal and
Yeah,
shit
right
like
Bonnie's
there.
That was
dad
Bonnie's
ends up
so
being
strong
sure.
as a 12-year-old,
if
right?
Bonnie's
Yeah.
biological,
Yeah, I don't understand.
sperm donor,
she has
it
to freaking
actually
let
ends
go,
up being
brother.
relevant,
But she
then I
ages
want
up.
Kuma to
Wait,
stay in the story.
Did I stop?
That's my thing,
Did I
though.
come back
Because
to
if
sperm
Bonnie's
donor? What are we
biological
talking
sperm
about?
donor is here, I want
okay.
Kuma to slam that dude. And
But
that's
I
the
don't
only
think
way
it's a
to
sperm
justify it.
donor. I think it's literally the Holy Knight.
Good, yeah.
Just like Brago
Yeah,
just
no,
said,
I'm
it's
saying
it's
that,
the type
but
of thing
I'm
of
not
like,
gonna
oh,
say-
you look just like your mother, and that's gonna cause her to go up.
Do we think
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
Gallagher?
okay, so one of the
I want
Holy
Kuma to be
Knights,
there then.
one of the Holy
Yeah.
Knights, like,
Maybe,
is
yeah.
actually the father of
Yes.
Bonney.
Yes.
And then you're
Well,
thinking that
yes.
when we get to that battle, and
Bonnie's
it's like, oh,
fighting.
wow, like, you look just like your
Bonnie's-
mother. And it's like, oh, okay.
Maybe I
like,
should take
yes.
you for my next wife.
I like
There
that.
you
Yeah, I
go.
like that.
Right,
Yeah, I like
bingo,
that.
bingo, bingo.
I like that.
Lesser
Yeah.
Dragon Punch right there. Boom.
Exactly.
Was it
I
Gallagher?
would want
Wait,
Kuma
have
to
his
be
own,
there,
have his
and
own
then
daughter as
the
his
Holy-
wife? What are you talking about?
That's crazy.
Oh,
I want
incest
Kuma
is
to
crazy?
still be there, and
Bro,
then
this Lesser
In the
Dragon's
world of One
wild,
Piece,
dude.
that's like
Is
so
it
low on
Celestial
the totem pole.
Dragons?
Crazy
Wild,
things, yeah.
the Holy Knight's epithet needs to be like the Bear Slayer or something.
We seen Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It needs
Oh,
to be
yeah.
like the Bear Slayer, and Kuma needs to be there. That's all.
It'd be
I'm
like
saying.
the
If-
Slave Slayer or some
Yeah.
crazy, something
The
crazy.
bear
Like
slayer.
Slave Slayer is nuts.
It'd be something like that.
Well,
yeah,
well,
it needs to be
Garlic
like
is
I don't know.
famous for killing as many slaves as possible, so he
It was a
might
game.
be, you know.
What are the odds that Garling and Garp actually teamed up against Roger and Rock simultaneously? So
This-
side by
you know what-
side.
You know what I think actually
No
happened?
shot.
I think Roger.
Yo.
I think Roger.
No
You don't,
shot.
you don't,
I
you
think
don't-
No.
Roger Solo.
I think Roger solid rocks. I don't
And
think there was this
Garling
team
fought
up.
Whitebeard.
Yeah, something
Garland.
like
And he's
that.
going to start Whitebeard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I
Yeah,
like
but they
that.
So
can't
then,
like.
so then what did Garp do?
Garp was
Yeah, he
fighting
helped
Roger.
other people.
I mean, it's already been set
Other
up. Yeah.
people?
He fought the other.
I think Garp. I think Garp definitely. I think they both
Cheeky,
fought
gotcha.
rocks at different
Yeah.
points. Roger
agree.
and Garp
Yes.
fought rocks at
I
different
agree.
points.
I agree.
I don't know if
And
Otis.
then they just
I-
happen to show up together.
But it wasn't like a 2-on-1.
I don't think.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
I don't think Oda's done it on purpose, but the community's starting to like disrespect Roger as like a powerful.
No.
Nah.
That's
Roger?
just
Not
the
this
open.
community.
Nah.
That's just the
It's
open,
just
right?
it's
I
just
don't-
straight up
Listen,
retard,
I think
bro.
Cole can
Fuck
attest to the
outta here.
fact that Garp gets disrespected more. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, because Cole's part of the disrespect.
Exactly.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you
He's
are.
number
What do you
one.
mean? Turn
He's
on your
number
camera and
one.
say you're not part of the disrespect. Literally, everybody.
Bro.
Oh, Garp is slow and old. Why do you think
Slow
that?
and
Cole's been saying it for
old.
15
I'm not.
goddamn years.
He turned his camera for real.
Yo, Cole.
Yo, I have said so many times. Look, I have said so many times. I've done videos on why I think Garp is actually one of the best characters in the story. I
Okay.
think Garp is a
Not
great
written.
character.
We're talking
No,
about
no, no,
power,
not
bro.
really.
No one's
Okay,
talking about.
in terms
Not
of
really.
in terms of power, Garp is where I thought he was,
No,
which is
he's
fine.
not.
However, no, you can go back to my 2023 version, my top
Oh.
30. He's right there. But the problem is that people said that Garp
No.
was like the same motherfucker that fought against Roger. I'm like, yo, you niggas are tripping.
He
It
was.
doesn't make any sense. And he was not. It doesn't make any sense that Garp would be on that same level. And then
Oh, you talking
all
about
these-
same level? No.
Yeah,
no,
thank
no.
you. Well, I say, bro. Like
I mean-
that's not my fault for cats,
But
being
Cole,
wrong.
No, but that's like the
No,
extreme.
yeah,
on the
but Cole,
opposite end.
No, it was
You-
not.
this is
Yes.
Prime, and
No.
you could say Garp is here, but your expectation prior was like, and you're
Yeah,
like,
the goalposts
Garp-
have moved. Goalposts
No,
have
you,
moved.
no.
you did, Cole. Come on, you
No.
you had the
You can go-
old and
you
slow
can-
thing,
you
and you're
can
like,
go-
yeah, he's still old and slow,
You can,
but he's
yeah, you can go back to the stream. You know I had him. Garp was I think it was my number 19 or number 18 in my
Yeah.
top 30 in 2023. Or no, 2022. 2022.
Now, Cole, let me ask you this:
Well, we're talking
do you,
about
thi- do
2010.
you still
We're
think?
talking about
Do
now.
you still think
Now he's the same.
Luffy? Do you still think Gear 5 Luffy or Luffy right now is stronger than Prime Garp?
Gear 5, Luffy stronger than Prime Garp.
Luffy right now.
No.
Ooh, get him, Brago, get him.
So then it's changed.
No, it hasn't.
What?
All right. We're gonna have to wait for
Garp, no,
Twitter and the
Garp hasn't
evidence.
changed.
All right.
Luffy has changed. I said I dropped
Oh,
Luffy
Luffy's
because
gone
of family.
down.
He's gone enough.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not top 3 in the verse like people were saying he is after Wano. All right, he's not top 3.
But
He wasn't
that
strong
was-
in
was
Kaido
never
after
comes.
Wano.
That
I
was
don't know
one
what's
of the
wrong
Yeah,
with
Yeah,
you.
everybody was
Absolutely not.
losing it after Wano.
That
He's
was
not
one of
As
the
far
toughest-
as Garp and God Valley, though, I think a significant line that caught my eye was like Ivankov and and Kuma after the fact did mention the heroism. So like from their perspective, they recognized it. So to me, it like as far as a role that Garp could play, it's like whatever Ivankov and Kuma saw as a good thing to do, Garp did that. And on top of whatever else happened, sure. But at minimum, that's the one concrete thing. It's like, I don't know who he fought, but at least Kuma and Ivankov, who were trying to escape, recognized him. And it was like, oh, they're just talking about his heroism because like that's all they did to talk about Kuma, whatever. But Garp had to have some role positive for Kuma and Ivankov, which is, you know, helping people escape, probably, you know. And as far as what Saturn, like, I don't like, my huge conundrum is Saturn. Saturn is the weirdest character there. He linebacker tackled the baby Kuma. Kuma just got this fruit, and Kuma succeed. And what was Saturn doing? Was he just watching everything? I don't know.
Maybe Big Mom interfered in that situation.
Big Mom
maybe Big Mom was next to them, I guess. I don't know.
Well, maybe they both went after the fruit, and then Big Mom intervened.
Maybe.
Well, Big Mom was
that's still insane though. That Big Mom just strolled off of there in the face of Saturn.
Yeah. Saturn was there at ground zero.
Listen, I agree
with
you,
at ground zero.
People no, we were talking about Roger getting disrespect. No, Big Mom gets disrespect.
Bro, when Big Mom comes back
out, Big Mom has gotten so much disrespect over the last.
It is insane how much disrespect.
It is absolutely.
That is Oda's fault, though. That's not our fault. Come on.
No, but Eric, even in the midst of that, you still got to acknowledge that she is one of the stronger characters.
I agree.
Yes.
If Oda let her use her abilities the way she has,
it's too easy for her.
Broken.
Yeah,
right.
no, it's broken.
But Oda just conveniently forgets she's got Konkurosaki when Law's on top of her.
Like as far as like Big Mom has like some random giant stuff. She ate a person. Like she has the powers.
She has the powers.
Bro, this is the scene I want after Egghead. All right, it's Big Mom on an island and she's lifting weights and she's like, "I'm gonna get Straw Hat." That's what I want.
Imagine.
That's insane.
The thing with Big Mom that I always just find
she married the volcano at this point.
Well, I mean that goes back to her power too, right? Like again, Big Mom's weakness time and time again, at least in the story, and the thing that I hate about it is like the fallback on like her mental illness, right? Whether it's like the amnesia or like just any number of terrible things. Right, exactly. Whereas I feel like
it's
Big
to balance
Mom's
it.
Power, right? It's to balance how broken her power is, because the reason why all of us are in agreement, like, oh, of course she's still alive, whatever, is because based on what we've seen already in the story, she could very well just like put life into the lava surrounding her in the volcano, make a happy homie bubble or whatever, get out of there and like leave within 5 minutes.
This is kind of Oda's MO, right? Because he kind of inserts weaknesses in these random places, like Luffy with Tier 5.
Which is why the Big Mom thing consistently is a sore subject for me, for you, for Cole. Like the disrespect is genuinely unreal when you think of how the character was hyped up leading up to everything else, and how she's talked about in relation to Shanks and to Whitebeard and to Kaido. Like, to then see her randomly, when you're in Wano country, get folded by Frankie and Robin, passing her down as like a gag, is like atrocious to me. It's atrocious.
But then you see her taking Puncture Willie and like, what?
That's what I'm saying.
That's not enough.
Exactly.
Kaido got knocked out, defeated. Big Mom is going into the hole talking about Roger. What the fuck? This is some bullshit. Why are these kids doing like, yo?
But then on the other hand, she's like, Marco, I need more souls for you.
I just don't get how people like. Kinemon can take 15 Thunder Bagwas to the face. Big Mom looks at she's staring the magma down, saying, "I'm not dying to this." And people are like, "She's dead." I'm like, "She's looking at the magma."
This is after Puncture Willie. This is after so many different things. She's insane.
No, Big Mom was on 70% health while she was falling.
No, she's looking at the magma.
That's
like,
incredible.
We saw it in black and white, but in the panel, she's staring the magma down, saying, "That ain't shit. I'm living this.
I'm good."
She's also saying, "Roger, why did you do this?"
Bro, she was having a Roger dialogue, bro.
Literally,
the whole time.
Odin didn't even. The boy, he knew he was gonna die. He didn't look at that like, "I'm living this." No, Big Mom's staring at a volcano and's like, "Yup, Earth's crust, nothing."
Yeah, she's really different.
like Cole.
And then the volcano,
and he's just like, "Oh, her clothes."
Do we think Big Mom is all human?
That was
Big Mom all human.
That was his first thought.
What do you mean by that, Brago?
Kaido's Jackie, baby.
Do we think Big Mom is like just a human? Because we saw her parents.
Right.
Or does she have like other blood flowing within her?
I mean, the wild thing.
Buccaneer blood?
Buccaneer blood.
I think that's exactly it. Right.
No,
Is that the way that it's been folded up now, and now that we know that there's kind of an interim between giants and also normal people, and they're bigger, to me, like the Buccaneer thing could totally be part of Big Mom's story.
Big Mom, Whitebeard.
Yeah,
You know, but right there though, see, like there was an idea that Whitebeard was a Buccaneer, but the problem is that we just saw Kuma take attack from Akainu and keep it pushing like it was nothing. Where Whitebeard took attack from Akainu and he got to have his face blown off. So it's like, wait a minute now. If Akainu can do
Kuma kept it pushing. Kuma kept it pushing because he's part robot.
But remember though, his foot got caught like a magma bubble, and then that foot's still there. Yet half his face kind of like attacked by a mango.
Weird. I think Oda just wanted him to keep his foot, but like I don't think it's the same thing.
Bro, his face, bro. He's a Buccaneer build, bro. He's a Buccaneer build.
Wait,
he is metal.
Whitebeard kept it pushing.
Okay, wait.
We have to remember though.
But how much of that metal versus how much of that Buccaneer do you think matters for Kuma? Like the Buccaneer matters more because obviously
Whitebeard did keep it pushing though.
Part of the major theme is that he has a Buccaneer body. His body's extremely tough, extremely durable, and then we saw it time and time again.
Zoro was easily able to cut Kuma's flesh.
Yeah.
Right? Wait. But what did Kuma do right afterwards, though?
Yeah, but
he
that's
literally rolled
he's
up his sleeve. He rolled up his sleeve and said, "Here's a beam, kid."
The flesh.
That's what happened. Stop lying.
But I think Buccaneer.
The flesh, which is Buccaneer.
I don't think
flesh was cut easily. So don't.
But we see that with the kind. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
is that like in terms of
that's the
like
metal.
Wait, even before he gets the modifications. We have him take attack from Saturn, and then he's like, okay, well, it's gonna be fine. Saturn gives him a beam, and then whatever that thing is called.
There's arrows stuck in his back as a child.
Yeah.
Also, Saturn was able to
Saturn gave him. Remember,
it's a regular arrow, Cole. It's not a Kuja arrow.
It's not a
Kuja arrow. Got tagged by regular. Whitebeard was taking damage by regular fucking bullets, bro. I don't want to hear shit.
Yeah, and Kuma was taking damage by regular arrows. What's your point?
Wait. We don't know if they're regular bullets, though.
It could have been hockey bullets. You never know.
Hockey arrow. Hockey arrow. I don't know.
Where's hockey arrow?
That's right.
Whitebeard can be a
Whitebeard is
Buccaneer.
against the Marines.
I don't know what Cole's talking about with his defense.
He took a Jay Garcia beat. What the fuck?
That means a stun.
I think what you explained showed that
baby.
Whitebeard and Kuma are more alike than you think.
You think that a baby Whitebeard's taking a beam from Saturn?
Yes.
Nah, bro.
For sure.
Cole, have you seen Kuma?
Why do you hate these old men, bro?
Maybe I don't know about that.
Kuma and Whitebeard in baby form look identical.
Why do you hate these old men, Cole?
I don't understand.
I know.
All these weird hang-ups, man. He just loses it about Whitebeard and Unu. It's just like.
No, what do you mean?
You don't know Scar. You don't know Sword got Rio.
King.
Wait, Akane? What do you mean Akane?
Sword might have had Rio, bro.
Yeah.
We don't know.
King, have you seen
Rio?
Young Whitebeard and young Kuma stand like next to each other?
They're the same.
They look identical.
And young Big Mom.
Yeah, and young Big Mom as well.
They all look the same.
They all like the same.
No, wait. No. Big Mom was like.
Young Big Mom.
10?
Like kid.
No, she's like. 5-year-old Big Mom is like this.
She's bigger than them at the end of it, but
yeah, she's way bigger than them, bro.
Yeah.
She's the size of what's her face? Gerd, the one giant girl.
Cole,
they're the same height.
King is very technical. Everything has to line up mathematically. It all has to work.
No.
You know how bad Oda was with scale, Cole?
I like consistency though. I like
it. I do like
consistency.
I do like it.
Scale and Oda don't match.
But Cole, this is the whole thing with the Devil Fruits. Oda gave you how Devil Fruits are made, and you still won't succumb.
No.
To how Devil Fruits are made.
No, that's not true.
Look, at the end of the day, Oda, he just will change stuff. Is what it is. I think like when we went into Marineford and we were learning about hockey for the first time, like even what he was thinking of for hockey at the time versus what hockey has become in the story, or even like with Devil Fruits, like I don't necessarily know or believe even that 10 years ago, like when we were in Marineford or like early,
Fishman Island.
Fishman Island, I honestly don't even know if he knew at that time that devil fruits were manifested from people's dreams or something.
No, I don't think so.
I think
I don't think Oda had like Rio planned out. Advanced Conquerors.
Yeah, I honestly don't even think Gear 5 and Nika was at all planned out. I think he wanted to look back at the story and went, okay, I set these seeds here for this thing, that could eventually become this, and I'm going to flesh it out into this. But I
think he
honestly
wanted
don't think
he wanted a freewheeling power up for Luffy where he's like super free. But
and he's like, this is good. I've introduced this thing with the sun god. I can bring this up.
I think sun motif a lot.
Which is why I think like looking back at the stuff with Whitebeard and Marineford, or like feats in Marineford, and like who fought who, or like if he's like, I was laughing earlier, Cole, when you were like, oh, you know, Whitebeard, he was getting damaged by regular bullets, bro, regular arrows. Like,
so
I just don't think he was thinking about that now. Whereas like if that fight would happen in the story today, it'd be explained in some little panel that like these vice admirals have hockey and have imbued their bullets with hockey.
Yeah, I agree.
Whereas that wasn't
which makes sense, right?
I agree to a certain extent with it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like my thing is, I think Nika and that stuff, like I think he knew what he wanted of Luffy, but the things that came later are like the names and the specificity, right?
Exactly.
So he
knew he wanted a Looney Tunes power up.
As far as
totally.
the Looney Tunes power up and why I think that like like what Brago said, Rio and the specifics of it. It's like as the longer the story gets, the more he needs to put in between. But I do think that he had a ceiling in mind, and the reason why I think that is because he introduced a nerfed Whitebeard that was able to like when Luffy looked at like the tectonic plate shifting, he's like, "Yo, I ain't that guy," right? But clearly, Luffy's going to have to overcome that, and Luffy still right now. Like if Whitebeard did that right now on Egghead, that's still like, what the heck is that, right?
Of course.
And so that's why I do think that like Oda had a ceiling, and Luffy's like getting to that ceiling, and like Nika and these like all these powers. I think that Oda had it in mind.
Do you feel like Whitebeard was the ceiling?
No, I don't think Whitebeard's a ceiling. He had a rough estimation, and the reason why it's rough is because he had him nerfed also. He knew that Whitebeard had a ceiling beyond that, and this is like what he wanted to show right here. And imagine if characters were capable of feats like that back then, which I think like a lot of people's top 30s, a lot of characters are going to look at what Whitebeard did and be able to survive that, right? If they're not going to be.
That's why people get excited for.
It's weird because I think for Oda, he doesn't really know exactly, but that's why he saves so much.
Right.
So like when Shanks pull up, he could have Shanks scuffle, but he's like, no, nothing from Shanks.
I'm not ready to reveal this yet. Then he's writing himself into a corner. Exactly. That's my point. I don't think it's that he's not planning things out. I do think he has rough estimates of plans in his head of what he wants. It's the specifics of it, which is why he's like for 10, 12 years or whatever, hasn't showed barely anything of Shanks, hasn't done anything about this stuff. What he doesn't want to write himself into a corner and then have to be like, I wrote this as
like technically we've seen with Wano and Egghead, where Luffy just quote unquote beat Kaido, but then he's struggling with a Seraphim with Zoro, and it's like this is just weird.
I mean that goes to like, you know, I mean people bring up like, I mean the Seraphim thing is interesting because
because you know what it is,
build the Seraphim, but like my thing with Oda and the build up is. And this is why I start off the stream saying that this punch that Kuma lands on the Gorosei, that's where the ceiling does matter. And one thing that Oda did say recently, and this blew my mind, but it's there in the pilot, is that he always intended for magic to be a part of One Piece, and he brought it out at this far into the stage. But he said this has always been a plan, and there's proof. Pilot episode, magic is there, and he waited that long, so he had to have known that like magic was gonna be this crazy thing that he couldn't show at any point until now. Now when there's gods and these levels of power, so if magic was always in the story, and he had to wait till now after Nika, after we see the Gorosei, after all this stuff, that tells me that he did have a ceiling in mind, and the world had to level up to the crazy thing. And the question mark is, does he power creep it like Naruto at the end of it, right?
But the problem is that we're ignoring the checks and balances that Oda always puts there too. I don't know why people always know that shit too. Because like for everything that Oda does, where he upgrades, there's always a check and balance. Like Luffy gets Gear 5.
It's a caveat with everything.
But it's consistent. Wherever he gets a power up, there's always limitations to that power. But like with Gear 5, he has a stamina issue,
it's
so he can't use
consistently
Gear 5.
Inconsistent,
Madness.
That's a good way to put it.
Because what is Luffy's?
Cole is right. There's always a counterbalance to OP abilities.
Cole, he just boomed his chest and he went back to Gear 5 versus Kaido.
Even when it came to the idea of Bonney different power, we just saw recently how he put a check and balance in that. When it came to even gaining the power, people were saying that, okay, well, she wanted to become a 10-year-old girl quickly, so the power came to her. So it spawned out thin there. But we find out, in fact, it was actually Saturn there's always a check and balance. Like every arc that Oda puts in there for like most situations where there's always a root cause to something.
All right,
Even the fruits themselves, Vegapunk always alludes to the idea that they had infinite energy at some point in time back in the day that ties to his very dream. And for some reason, we ignored that check and balance that Oda puts in there. It consists of the entire story where there's always a check and balance that Oda has in there.
Cole, you know what I
always,
think,
consistently.
You know what I think the infinite energy was? Will.
Dreams.
Will dreams. It's not going to be a machine that
the people back then had better wills and dreams than they do now?
No, they'll be able to harness. They'll be able to harvest.
Okay, how do they harness that power?
Well, I mean that's the story of the oppression in the Gorosei. Regardless if they're strong or not, the way they control the world is by oppressing them, not letting them travel.
It's not going to be like
information.
It's not going to be like
the microcosm is on Dressrosa, right? It's like toys. The
there's
toys,
always
like
something there. There's always something there. Like Oda just had the idea where he, through Vegapunk, introduced the idea that something like memory can have mass, which is a huge idea because there's a concept where you have going all the way to Dr. Hito Luke, where someone is forgotten when they are like someone dies when they're forgotten. But if we give memory mass, we have a version of immortality now that can exist through technology that he's built in the world of One Piece.
Right. But Cole, if memory has
even
mass,
devil fruits can be made artificially.
Cole, if devil fruits have mass, can't dreams have mass? Therefore, they can be.
They can have all these things can have mass and weight and substance to them. But what's obvious is that Vegapunk has said forward consistently that what they had back then was way better than we had now.
Yeah, okay.
Why?
Because they had infinite energy and infinite energy.
There you go.
So
there is a root. So I'm not capping when I say that there is a check and balance everything because all himself writes that in there consistently.
All right.
That's not me capping.
No, bro. Oda just has cop outs.
Cole,
okay, like the inconsistency that Brago talked about, like the Gear 3 shrinking into a little dude, right? That's what I was saying, and it just went away. Oda just took the time skip and was like, you don't have to talk about this anymore.
Like, there's no excuse for Kinemon surviving Kaido. None.
I agree.
You can't,
I agree.
So, like,
what's the checks and balance with that?
There's both.
To add to that, I think the argument of the check and balance would be, well, we never saw him put him back together again, which is why he got hit. Like, that is the way in which he checked how he was able to
I think when arguably the strongest person in the One Piece world attacks with a Conqueror's Haki attack,
look, I'm
and
not
you're
saying
already hurt from fighting him and being stabbed.
Listen.
You're preaching to the
probably
choir.
Listen,
I was the person who I said during my live stream.
We all agree it was bullshit. He's not perfect.
Oda only checks and balances Luffy because if Luffy was overpowered, the story would be over. That's why
he checked and balanced Zoro when Zoro got his ability. He checked and balanced Robin when she got her ability.
That could be adjusted always. Like the main character.
Yeah, right. But keep in mind that part of that system, part of that ceiling is that he adjusted as time goes on.
I do agree the ceiling is set. It's not going to be like Naruto where it gets out of control, like fucking blowing up half the planet.
Luffy's already out of control.
That's what I'm saying. Is I think that's the weird thing, and why I think it's kind of smart that he did Gear 5 the way that he did, because Gear 5, to me, is the ceiling. Like, we might get more power-ups or more things, but realistically, I think whatever Luffy does in the story moving forward is within the vocabulary of Gear 5, right?
For sure.
It's
That's
whatever
why I think
he
Emu
wants.
has the devil fruit where he can shapeshift as well. We saw it.
Something like that, exactly, right.
Yeah.
Where, like, that's the only real kind of opponent he could go up against now. Like, where Luffy will take hits and doesn't necessarily have the stamina and gets laid out and needs more food or whatever. But realistically, like, so long as he can remain in Gear 5, he does not need another power-up in the same way he did after Gear 3 or Gear 4.
The time is going to happen versus Emu. The Straw Hats have to step in and hold off Emu for a little while.
Yeah, sure, you can do whatever.
I wanted to bring up this with Gear 5 since we're talking about it. So, going based off the idea that back in the day, and even the giant robots somehow live off the rhythm of Nika or something like that, is the way to give Luffy infinite stamina against Aimu is to everyone to do the dance at
like
the wall?
Spirit Bomb?
To like
Please, no. Please.
to do the rhythm of Nika?
Like if everybody just like get up and
they have to
dance,
do the
get your Nika power. No,
my dream was to throw a big party with everybody in the world, and this is gonna give me my final move.
No,
everybody's party.
But it's already in the prophecy.
Because
it's already in the prophecy that they have the fire that they dance around, right? And we know that in Fishman Island, he's supposed to burn that shit down. So that's the timberwood that everyone starts dancing around. Because I'm burning.
We see it in the Carter fight. Luffy resurrects himself with the rhythm of the heartbeat, right? So the rhythm theoretically should give him infinite
Kuma, we'll find out at the end of this arc.
And the robot runs
if Kizaru did the dance, everybody's doing the dance. If Kizaru was out here dancing the two-step, everybody's two-stepping. You know what I mean?
The rhythm is a frequency, right? And a frequency can have energy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Taylor Swift caused an earthquake. Taylor Swift.
Hello, who are you? Wait, who are you? Wait, who's this guy? What? Science?
Yeah.
Eric? What the fuck?
I'm trying to explain it to you.
Come on,
I'm trying to explain it to you so you can.
I'm just eating. Sorry.
Because you need science. You need hard facts.
King doesn't like mystic elements. He doesn't.
He only likes science and hard facts.
I do.
You just need a palette for it, which I totally
remember.
I think we're gonna get. I mean, Emu and the Gorosei have used mystical things like the satanic circles or whatever, but like I don't think it's gonna be anything too absurd beyond, like you said, like maybe shape-shifting against Luffy or something along those lines. But like I don't see this late in the game in the final saga them adding like a fourth pillar, right? You've got like the hockey and the devil fruits. I don't see a situation in which they're going to be like, and now magic property that everybody's like, we're too late in the game now.
Agreed.
We kind of already introduced the fourth element of Hawkeye Garland with soul and souls.
Sort of.
Well, that's not really.
I still feel like that's under the umbrella of Oda's logic.
The whole thing is like
you can argue that soul. You can argue that soul is tied to life force because we have that, and because like that's where Oda's kind of really have that be like in lockstep, where like the soul power is giving something life, even though it doesn't need life. It gets life.
We've had these questions for years, like. Has Brook literally been to the underworld, and is he literally summoning the winds of the underworld?
We still don't know what the hell was going on with the
true.
The Klabata man, and like what's going on with Zoro's demon stuff, and
like notice how like Zoro's green
is based on what you believe in, like.
Sure. It could be just real.
Yo, green embers are real. What do you mean they're real?
It's just Conqueror's
But the thing is, they come to life because people believe in them.
100%.
Come on, there's more to than that.
I still want a Jesus fruit really badly. We got a Buddha fruit. I want a Jesus fruit.
It's
or the Hito no Me model Jesus or whatever. Be fire. You have a giant cross you're whipping around.
That's crazy.
We look like how Mihawk has the edge of his blade. And then he has like the Artie crown and he rips it off like his. He's fire, man.
Model Jesus is crazy.
Change the scene to
hybrid Jesus would be insane, bro.
Well, like, what would Jesus' like awakening be? Crucifixion?
Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit.
So he gets a stand. It's called the Trinity.
Well, he gets a divine sword of the heavens and starts one.
The Holy Trinity.
He gives a mountain Holy Spirit, and then the mountain serves him, like Big Mom said. Absolutely.
Jesus, the Lord of the Dance, right?
Well, the thing is, his awakening could be that once you kill him, he comes back. You know.
Yeah.
Well,
he negates the weakness of water and he turns it all into wine.
If you're gonna do Revelations,
nah, that's just like his fire fist.
Yeah, we do Revelations. Is like
ultimate attack, Sodom and Gomorrah. Like,
this guy's
he did fall into
heaven.
So he's like Fujitora.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be fire.
Well, according to the Book of Revelations, Jesus is a swordsman, so he's gonna have like a crazy sword as well.
No, not this.
Everyone was a swordsman back
then. Maybe that's the secret. Maybe Mihawk this entire time has
he just had a blade, but is he a swordsman?
Mythical model Jesus has never used it. Maybe that's how Zoro got his scar during the time skip. Is maybe he crucified Zoro and he put the nail through his eye. Maybe that's what happened. We're gonna find out, dude.
So, shall we have the Mihawk conversation for the fans, or we're gonna? What's Mihawk?
If Jesus was a swordsman and he comes back, is he stronger than Mihawk?
All right.
I mean, by technicality, since he's on Earth at that point, then yeah.
So right.
Mihawk is the strongest in the world.
It's the strongest in the world.
Mihawk, an update. He's like, another challenger.
Speaking of Mihawk, we haven't talked about it.
Gets an email.
2024 Mihawk. What is he doing?
Yeah. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Last we left off, he was getting inspired by Buggy's speech to get the One Piece.
I think he's gonna try to basically prove Buggy wrong.
What do you mean?
Hell.
What does that mean?
Prove Buggy
I have
wrong.
a-
What,
I
yeah,
have
what
a
do you mean?
prediction.
Because basically Buggy's saying that he's not motivated and that he's lost his purpose and his will and he's not a true pirate. So I think Mihawk does do something.
I like how you spin it to make Mihawk have all the power.
My
That's
prediction-
How
the
does-
point.
yeah.
Do you guys see Mihawk
Wait, what?
getting a like divine departure level?
Attack.
moment?
Yes.
I think so. I think Mihawk gets a W in 2024, yo.
Yeah, so
It has
I
to
think
build
I said this
issue.
last year before, like 2022. I was saying, or whenever the Seraphim were introduced, S-Hawk specifically, I was thinking that Mihawk is going to be the first character to like one shot, like one slice a Seraphim and show
Do we
that it
care
is
about
possible
that?
with a flame.
Nope.
Like, I mean, but the durability of that, right? Like Luffy combo attacked, right? Like if we're not sending anybody besides, like, if there's a Doflamingo, whatever, we don't know where those are going. I think Mihawk's feat would be like literally being able to one slice through a Seraphim.
No, partial.
Oh man, that would be insane.
No.
Crazy.
No.
Brago, no.
If you want to know, wait. If you want,
You don't think that'd be
no,
crazy?
wait, if you
slice
want-
the Seraphim?
I've asked this question on Twitter.
if you want a divine departure feat, there's only one thing that can happen. He has to one-shot Fujitora. Full stop.
That's
No.
true. That's true.
No.
3 Billy Barry Man, he has to watch.
One shot.
That's one.
I think
Yep.
one shotting a Seraphim versus a
Or
blind dude.
Cole, what if he
You know,
one shot
right,
his
Fujitora
old
fuck.
enemy?
I don't know. I feel like Cole wanting Fujitora to get one shot could be agenda, but you know.
That is
we move.
To be fair, I did
We
see.
move.
Cole, I saw on your the
What?
other day. You posted that meme of, like, there's the meme template of the guy with the hand on the shoulder, and I was cracking up so hard. I saw the one on your post where it was Shanks' hockey.
Yeah, that one was
that was great.
creative.
On green
That
book.
was great. That was actually
incredible.
great, bro.
That was
That was
beautiful.
incredible.
That was so good.
So creative. That was hilarious. Oh, I
I
love
saw
that
one
meme.
with Saturn on Kuma with the genie in the background.
Oh no!
That's
I saw one
I
like,
didn't see
I saw
that.
one like with the one with Luffy and Usopp when he's leaving Water 7 and he hits him all across the water and he gets to zoom in
Nah,
on
there
his
were
face.
some good ones.
It's great.
I've
Yeah, there was.
At first it was kind of lame, but now I'm like, you know what?
I've
It's
heard
really
like,
they're funny, they're
Break
funny.
Break Week comedy is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's always
Very
and it's
good,
been 2
yeah.
weeks. People are getting restless out here. It's been a long time.
All right, by the way, so
Speaking of
2024.
Wi-Fi hockey.
When Oda has that
Jay
comment
was
during Jump Festa about there's going to be some sort of situation between two individuals.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
I would too.
What do you got?
Wait,
Luffy versus Shanks and Shanks wins or something.
Well, if we
What are
take
these
so
caps
I
last
don't think so.
last year,
Luffy and
Oda,
Shanks.
Not
last
yet.
year Oda said like 2023 going forward, he said like this guy's gonna fight that guy, this battle royale, you won't believe the
happened.
result, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what we ended up getting
That
was like,
happened.
if you look at the intro of the OP26, it's like he actually had that guy versus that guy. It's like
Yeah.
all of them were fighting.
Of
so-
course. Yeah, they were all.
So I
that
feel
good.
like that might be the same thing. Like when he says that guy, he probably means
But I
like, yeah,
think it's
everyone's gonna be
always
fighting.
delayed though. Like I remember when he talked about Shanks. Shanks didn't do anything till like towards the end of the year.
Well,
Yeah.
we still
And then
did
they
it.
went-
It's not like the year
Sanji.
Sanji.
I
didn't have
still-
your
Yeah.
Sanji
I'm
until the year
I'm
after.
still haunted. I'm
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
haunted
Sanji.
by those comments where he was like, "They're lurking legend."
The
and then
lurking
for
legend,
3
oh.
years.
Yeah.
people
But that
were
was the
like,
editor's
"Was it
fault,
Emu or
right?
was it Rocks? I don't
I
know.
remember
It's
somebody
only
said it was
one."
Marco.
Yeah,
It was like a
because-
lot.
No, it could be any
It's
number of
Emu.
characters.
It's just Emu. It's so simple.
It doesn't matter. If it's
Isn't it
Rocks or
Rocks?
Emu, who cares? It doesn't matter.
Wasn't
It's-
it like
it's
the
about
editor's
the legend
fault?
that
What's
was
that?
lurking
Unless you rock
made
Emu. Oh.
themselves known. It doesn't
It's still
matter.
a debate. It's still a debate.
Oh, okay, man. I like this.
Just
I
so
think
people
Rocks is
can-
closer to Emu. Wasn't it supposed to be connected to Whitebeard?
People were
No?
saying,
I still want my Shimu. I still want to be
people
Vivi's
were
like
saying
ancestor.
Bullet
That'd be
because
kind
of
of
the movie. Like,
Yeah.
it's still
Ishimu?
like-
Bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could have been
because of the
bullet
movie.
the movie.
I straight up
It's
forgot
Emu.
about that movie until the second.
Bro,
season
Oda has to
started.
have the courage to make the final
Stampede.
villain, or one final villain to be
Stampede,
female.
man.
Honestly, on God. Too many
The
dudes.
final villain has to be female.
Or at least one of them has to be female. I hope so.
What a
Wow.
movie.
See, I was
think-
Yo,
saying-
Shimu! Shimu! Yeah!
You overestimate how much
Crazy.
Oda cares about
Isn't
that.
that the whale at SeaWorld? Shimu?
That's Isn't that Shamu?
Shamu.
Shamu.
I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
the name of the guy. Simu's
Shamu.
Shang-Chi. Simu Liu is Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
think
Oh, yeah, that's right,
Iris.
that's right.
I think Iris
Shamu
female
is the
is the
one.
hero of. I think Iris female because we already have Nefertari Lily, who's a female figure from that era.
So
Bro,
unless
I'm
I'm
down-
is Lily.
I am down for lesbian Emu. I'm here for it.
Okay, well.
Bring it on, baby.
No.
Emu was in love with Lily. Bring it on, man. I'm ready for that.
Rumor
shit.
has that
Let's
Robin
go.
and Nami, yeah.
What do you mean
Sad, man.
rumors, Cole?
Sad,
The
man.
ones
It's
you're
basically
starting?
that
I'm here
Iris
for it.
male.
The lesbian
Terrible.
Emu?
Caribou spread.
Shit, lesbian Zoe, let's go.
What do you guys think of the theory that Imus are built like you know?
Oh hell yeah, make it happen, bro.
So I just saw.
Arush,
I watched Solo Leveling episode 2 today, and if
I
want Emo to have the same thing that's revealed in episode 2.
I know it's like a few minutes. Fuck me. I need actually.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
Wait, Brago, have you read Solo Leveling though?
No, I haven't read it.
I
haven't read it.
No, I haven't read it.
Chat, don't say anything. Chat, don't.
I haven't read it. Only thing is, like, we had a moment from this thing in the episode. I was like, oh, that's terrifying, and I was like, if I need a moment like that from Emo.
Yeah, just
hold your
beer,
real quick,
Brago. Hold your beer.
Yo, wait, Roger is Omniscient Reader getting a?
It's getting one. It's getting one. I'm so ready.
Me, man. I need to read it, bro. Because fuck.
It's good.
But it's not on stream because I'm gonna get clapped by Korea.
Actually, you know what? I did Omniscient Reader on stream and I didn't have any issues whatsoever.
Oh, really?
But to be fair, I didn't have any issues with the first 100 chapters of Solo Leveling either. Then they came for me like, a bad
later on. Okay.
That's still a
They just wanted you to like it first.
Oh wait, I can see. Was it Korean, South Korean, or Chinese? That came after.
It was Cacao Page that got me the first time, so direct from Korea. Then I got the approval from Tappy Toon because those streams were getting so many viewers, and so they were like, "You're good. We want you to do it. Keep doing it." So I had a stream sponsored. I had a stream sponsored by Tappy Toon. It was sponsored by them with 25,000 live concurrent viewers. It was part of it was the late Jeju Island arc stuff. I did literally that stream. That stream then got claimed by Korea because Tappy Toon didn't get the approval from Korea for my live stream.
Well, that's on Tappy Toon. That's on Tappy Toon.
I was like, my hands are up. I don't want to do this ever again. Bro.
That's that bullshit right there.
He's covering for
That's that bullshit right there. No, because I do the same thing. Bro, the claims were so bad that you had no way to counterclaim. They just said either
inside baseball for the people.
Take it down within a week, or we'll get down within a week, and then we'll give you a strike.
So here's the thing that happened on my Solo Leveling, right?
North American release. I'm like, I'm from that's like if Viz hit me up and was like, Roger, for next week's One Piece live reaction, because you've been doing them on Sundays, we're going to have you be able to use the manga panel on stream. And I'm like, great, Viz, thanks so much. Oh, and you're paying me? Fantastic, let's do it. Then I do that stream, and then the next week, Viz takes it down. That's exactly what that was like.
Wow. Because Croatia came after.
I'll be like, well, I got paid.
Right. That was kind of my thought process. I was like, I'm done. That's fine.
Because you can't tell me to put it back up,
right?
And I'm not putting in another video, so
right. So I think for me, like the thing with Solo Leveling for a lot of these manhwa is like I'll still cover them, but I like don't even potentially mess with having anything on screen. I have like a filter, I'm in front of it, and that's that. And there's no other question about it. There's no
maybe they didn't like your reaction. Did you react badly?
No,
react hard enough. Oh, love it. I love when that's react hard enough.
No, I had a huge reaction because it was
if you react hard enough, it's hilarious.
Jeju Island has the controversial Korea.
Yes.
Why Korea might not get anime?
No. It was post Jeju. It was this, if I'm remembering correctly, the one that was like the lost stream, and I'm sure one of my viewers will tell me. I think it was the one that ended.
Don't tell Brago though.
No. It's the one that ended with like the supermodel sister. You know what I'm talking about? That was
super normal.
It was nothing bad at all. It was like the cliffhanger of those chapters was you get like the Instagram profile of that girl who's like the sister of And then I'm like, oh, this looks awesome. And then that stream got clapped.
If it was Jeju Island, there's a part where if you laugh too hard, I could see why Korea decided.
Yeah, right.
I would have died laughing.
Brago, as a fellow anime only, hearing Instagram profile picture for a chapter ending is crazy, bro. I don't know what that is.
That's crazy.
I don't know what that is.
Like I said,
you'll know when you get there. You'll know.
I loved episode 2.
You guys gotta tune into Brago's reaction to Chainsaw Man. Oh my god, dude. We almost had to.
I'm a Chainsaw stan. I'm sorry.
We almost put that to kick and rumble.
I'm locked in. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
Honestly, Brago, I don't know how you do it after because like even on Twitch, I've eased up a little bit where I'm like, if I'm watching the anime, I'm like, whatever, I'll show more of the panel or whatever, and I'll just edit it later. Dude, this man literally goes live on Twitch and just straight up watches the episodes with the audio, with everything, and then doesn't get claimed. I'm like, I don't know how this is happening. I don't know.
They sent me a message that said they love me, so
they didn't. I'm like, I don't know how you're able to do it.
The thing is, I always get like the thing is like, hey, there's a lot of copyright in here, so we're gonna mute a lot of your video and stuff.
But I would take that any day. That's fine.
Yeah,
gonna block.
Oh shit!
We're gonna mute your video so you don't get a copyright strike.
One Piece with the audio and visuals on my Twitch, and I just get banned for a week or whatever, bro, I would do it instantly because I barely use my Twitch. I use
Low-key,
hey, we're gonna be live at 9 for the episode, boys.
Shout out to YouTube members. Shout out to YouTube members' private Google Drive. That is the way. Shout out to them, bro.
Shout out to the
members only Google Drive. That's the way.
Shout out to the 650 people viewing this stream right now. Thank you for tuning into a One Piece stream. I love every one of you guys.
Like the stream.
If I had to
watch Chainsaw Man,
plug my
watch JJK.
Watch JJK too.
Watch JJK.
Oh, man. I love that I'm seeing in the chat right now too, where people nicknamed Brago the Raw Dog for his reaction. Brago Raw Dog reaction.
Brago was on the wrong website when he was reacting.
Man. That's what Twitch is made for.
Your legend One Piece pirate name is
only Brago. Only Brago, baby. Let's go.
Oh my goodness gracious. That is funny.
Good lord.
Does anyone have any thoughts about Kid and Lore in 2024, or are they just gonna turn up when they're ready to turn up?
I don't want Cass to get upset if Kid comes back and he's actually giving people a hard time. I'm just don't get mad.
Giving people a hard time before.
No.
I don't understand it.
No one thinks that Kid's gonna do shit when he comes back. If he comes back, he's alive.
Yeah, he'll definitely do something. I think if anything, we're gonna get something because obviously there was the whole thing with the decimation of the kid pirates, right? And I've seen people who, for whatever reason,
we're calling it the decimation.
That's what they're saying. But I've seen people say like,
"Oh, like the Red Wedding
are dead, bro.
Yep.
It's over.
Annihilation, eradication."
I'm like, in what world do you think Kid and Killer are dead? If anything, them showing them at the bottom of the sea right after the whole thing with Shanks and that whole confrontation. If anything, I feel like the Kid and Killer stuff is going to be that they get folded into the red hair pirates. That like they were washed so badly that they're forced to be punished.
Brutality.
And that is like, and they have exactly. That they're like apprentices or whatever, and they have to bend the knee. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he's not going to have strength or feet or something like that. It's like a humbling to be like, no, you're under me now. I'm going to say
that's crazy. That's crazy.
You're going to be
insane.
But it's
you
not
might as well
really,
stay at the bottom of the ocean.
The very beginning, bro. From the very beginning, when we saw Kid with the red hair, and you have Shanks with the red hair pirates and the potential for things happening with them, and him saying, "I want to go after Shanks specifically," like that to me.
I like how Killer was like, "Bruh, don't attack him, please. Kid, don't attack him, kill him."
At that point, Roger, Shanks' celestial dragon blood should come back. He should show back up riding on Kid,
just like on the back of Kid.
Yeah,
with the at that point, just haven't do that.
His whole career.
Well, to be fair, the Kid's character was always gonna be humbled because he's just that.
Of course, but I mean, that's why I think that opportunity is good, because if anyone other than Shanks did the humbling, it'd be over. The stocks for Kid would be down tremendously. But Kid, at the end of the day, even as somebody who's like a Law stan and a Law fanboy, was equal parts with the fight with Big Mom and took down Big Mom. So realistically, there needs to be some level of respect on Kid. And so you can't kill him.
Who has lower stocks? Kid or Dragon?
Kid.
Kid or Dragon? You said who has lower stocks is Kid for sure.
Do you see Dragon's defense force right
Dragon
now?
at the bottom of the sea.
Kid,
Dragon,
negative stocks at the moment. You have
Dragon stocks up, baby.
Kid got shit on.
Yes, sir. Tell him again, Brago.
I have never seen someone get absolutely lambasted by the community on a regular, consistent basis for just looking.
Kid is arguably the most hated one.
For just looking fucking left.
No.
Arguably.
It's unbelievable, bro.
Oh, this is
unbelievable.
why. Let me explain exactly why.
Bellamy.
I know why. I know why.
Way more than Kid.
The honest reason as to why, okay? A good portion of the One Piece community is fatherless. And so when they see Dragon on page, they go, "Oh man, it's triggering something with this," and they hate him blindly. That is
the truth. That's crazy.
Side of the community that's doing that. There's nobody else, because and I'm right there with Recon and I'm right there with Brago. All right, to even potentially say that Dragon stocks are as low as Kid stocks right now is blasphemous.
That's crazy.
Tell him again.
Blasphemous.
That's crazy.
That
not.
is-
That's crazy.
I don't think it
That's
gets
all
low.
it
Does
is.
it get any lower than Kid stocks like Bellamy? Maybe?
It can't be.
Like,
Kid is literally on the bottom of the sea right now. You can't get lower.
Can't get
bro.
lower than Kid Stokes Cole.
You can't get lower than.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Kid is,
People find a
Kid
way,
is
bro.
the most hated One Piece character. I can't think of one hated more than
The
Kid.
most hated One Piece character is Kid.
Gio
he's
is
always-
literally
he's
the
not the
only
most
man
hated.
carrying the Kid.
Bro, I don't know. Like,
I would say Sanji half the time is up there more than.
No, Sanji get more votes.
Kuma, no,
If we
Kenny
did a
got
poll-
captured and- after Kenny got captured, bro, it was bad.
If we do a poll, Kid would lose, bro.
He wasn't sleeping, bro.
4 to 5 votes right now.
Dragon
2 to
wasn't
5
there
votes
when-
right now.
Yo,
Wait,
like this
what?
man Toad on Twitter right now had the memes of like Luffy yelling, "I'm saying
All right,
Robin,"
the
and then you
five
had fucking
worst
Dragon like,
songs.
"Oh
Yeah, Dragon-
damn, Kuma."
I saw that.
You know
I
what's
feel
crazy?
bad for you, bro.
What's crazy
I saw that.
is
Good luck
people
with that.
telling
I'm like,
people
"God
saying
damn."
Dragon
It was
should
bad.
go save Kuma's girlfriend. He has
It
the
was
power
bad.
to do it. Why didn't he do it?
It was bad, bro.
Why didn't Kuma go save her?
Dragon told him
Dragon
to
was
do it.
doing bigger, better things. That's all it was. He's
No,
off
no,
doing
the
other-
people with the lowest
Can't worry
stocks
about
going
Ginny.
All right, we could do this. Who has the lowest stocks going into 2024? All right, it's
Going
gonna be
into
Kid.
2024.
Kid or
It's
Dragon?
Kid. It's Kid.
It's
Kid or
It's
Dragon?
not even a question.
Kid
It's not
or
Dragon.
Green
Oh,
Bull.
you're
Hold
not
on, at
doing
least
it,
for Dragon,
Green
at
Bull.
least
I
for
will break
Dragon,
this
there's the
one out right
potential
now.
of something
You're not
happening.
I
But
agree.
some people think Kid is dead.
Shut
Yeah.
up,
Oh,
Brad.
yeah,
Here's
true.
my thing with
True,
the lowest
absolutely.
stocks, though. I
Yes.
think it's like relevant, right? Because like Kid, like stocks, like half of it was copium, but like a
Yeah.
Dragon, the way it dropped, right? It's like there's a huge delta of
I
difference.
mean,
And
we're
for
talking
me,
about stock
I think
price, right?
I think like the lowest drop might be for like if the Gorosei, if like
it
when the
has to-
chapter comes out and the punch like whatever, the Gorosei stocks are plummeting. Like if you had your
Everyone's
stock
Gorosei
up
stocks
for
should not have been
you're
that high in the
bankrupt.
first place.
2007
Yeah,
financial
sell
crisis.
Gorosei
What do you mean?
stocks now. Sell
They've
them
been so
immediately.
high for a minute, Brago. It's
No,
like the
I
Gorosei
think-
like the final village.
I didn't think they should have been that high.
Yeah,
I
was
think
that's
people
it.
overrated
Like,
them.
You know,
I'm talking about like
surprised.
community, like for kids like stocks were like there was some weird fandom like 10% that were just like Kid is the
On
strongest
Luffy's
person
level.
on
Yes.
Yasha for some
Yeah.
reason.
Very much. But then how many cats say that the Gorosei are like the defective final villains? A lot of people say that.
Yeah.
A lot of-
And
Yeah,
so,
that
and then
was
so,
the-
and then so if Kuma comes in there, like, yo, get this nasty ass spider in my fucking room.
Like to the point where it's like Kid people like
That's
there was some crazy nuance where like people like didn't know how crazy Shanks would be, but
Yeah.
thought that Kid could
Fools.
box him. And I'm like,
Fools.
what world?
well.
did we
Hold
see
on.
that?
What Shanks
go,
did to
Brago.
Kid basically proved that Shanks is lapping everyone. If we look
No,
at
but
everything
that's
that's
what I'm
happened.
saying. That's what I'm saying. But no, I'm saying from
Yeah, it's
prior
true.
to Kid, right? In that from
What happened to
1076 to
Kid
1079.
Kid took attacks from everybody, bro. Several
course.
attacks.
And
got
Oda
back up.
made
Well,
Oda
well,
made
Brago,
Kid the
Brago,
chapter to
Brago,
say he was full health. He's like, is Kid full health? Yes.
This is
Right.
This
I'm
is
saying,
the,
bro,
Yeah.
Kid
This
took
is- this
attacks
is the
from
thing.
Big Mom and Kaido. This is
Agreed.
after being hurt.
even
Yes.
even with that.
And
But-
Shanks one-shot him in his right
Yeah,
hand.
but
And
this
his
is the
hand.
problem
Yeah.
though.
And he
like,
wasn't even aiming for the right hand.
yeah,
Come
this is-
on, bro.
No.
Extra fries on the side, even though you had them.
But this is the issue with the community,
This is
right?
not a knock on Kid.
delicious.
This is Shanks hype.
Yeah, but Brago, this is the issue
I'm
with the
there,
community
I
and just
agree.
copium because
But like,
that
but the
happened.
thing is, like,
Hang on.
the Kid stocks
Yeah.
being like, if you're facing Shanks, it's like you're facing Shanks. Like, if you're betting on the stock, you're betting on Shanks, and yet people were like randomly putting it on Kid
But,
stocks.
Pa,
somehow.
this is
That's the weird
this
part
is
of
the
it.
issue with the community. Like that Shanks thing could literally happen, and then you got guys on Twitter saying that like Kid's gun exploded in his face, and that's what
I
did
mean,
the
it
most
did.
damage. Like this is the level of copium we're at now. Where like Kid's gun backfiring killed him. It's
Can
like
we,
Shanks.
can we talk
think,
about
like,
this
but-
though? That the One Piece opening had to portray Kid in such a great
Actually
light. They
boxing.
removed,
Yeah.
they removed Killer.
They made it
Killer
seem-
does
The
not-
whole fight was
No, no, no.
animated, bro. They
But
already
they made
even
it
Yeah, the
seem-
whole fight was
no, no,
animated,
no.
right?
It made it seem like Kid saw it coming, though.
did.
they made him look. They made him
He said
look,
it, he
and
did.
Killer's deleted. In
Brago,
reality,
Shanks-
Shanks did the same
Brago,
thing.
Killer-
Killer
Bro,
was
this
like,
is
hello?
cope. This is cope that people act like it's a sneak attack. But Kid literally
It's not it's not a sneak attack,
Yeah.
but he clearly wasn't prepared for what was coming.
That's
No,
not
of
bad.
course
It's fine. What do you mean?
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is like
Why not use speaker side, bro?
it's like an onslaught that you're not prepared for. Even if you tell him, yo, Shanks is different, you can't prepare for that.
I like that Killer's.
He should have known that he was different. He lost an arm to the monkey.
We've seen this with Kid time and time again, though, right? Part of it is that like Kid's whole thing as a character is that he's headstrong and he goes into stupid situations and he doesn't think and he's brutal and he does all these dumb attacks. Like I think
it sounds
it
like
doesn't
somebody
go against,
else, to be honest.
No, it doesn't.
It
Because
doesn't.
Luffy isn't
Whole
brutal. That's the
conversation
difference.
But I feel like I think the thing with Kid is that one, I agree with Brago in that the fight between or the clash between Kid and Shanks did more to hype up Shanks than it did take away from Kid. But I think going into the year, if the question is whose stocks are the lowest, it's Kid. Without a doubt, because Kid, again, with him being humbled in whatever way he's going to be humbled, because he is alive, regardless of people saying he's dead, that's crazy. But like, he's going to be alive. And when he's alive, something is going to be wrong, right? Maybe he lost another limb. Maybe he's working under Shanks. Maybe he lost a leg. Who knows? But
something is going to be wrong.
Something's going to be wrong.
Something's going to be gone.
And he's going to have to climb back up with
Look at Leg Tyler.
That's hilarious, yo. No, I think here's the thing. I don't think there's any salvaging.
Paraplegic is crazy.
There's no salvaging for Kid because he can't accomplish anything.
No, wait, no. See, that's what I'm saying. It's not true. What if Kid runs into Luffy and then they have something go down?
Well, and it's actually Cole, come on, Cole.
I'm just saying, bro.
I mean, maybe.
Don't be surprised.
Maybe. Here's what I wouldn't be surprised for. Here's what I wouldn't be surprised, right? Shanks says, you know what? Shanks and Luffy, they run into each other at the beginning of Elbaf, right? They have a confrontation. Luffy's like, it's so cool to see you again, my friend. He's like, here's your hat. He goes, no, you know what? Let's do a Davy back over this hat. Let's just 1v1 one of my crew versus one of your crew. And then Luffy's like, cool, Frankie's a cool guy. He's got robot powers. Let's go, Frankie. And then Shanks goes, all right, Kid, I choose you, and throws Kid out.
Oh my God.
And then like a Pokemon. And then you have Kid versus Frankie.
Yo, ignore what Roger said.
I don't know.
Ignore everything you just said.
And they have a
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with Kid. No matter what he does, the community is going to be like, oh, they're just throwing him a bone. Because remember in Wano where Kid just randomly responds to, was it a poo? No. Yes. Was the poo or somebody was talking about what he did in
It wasn't a
Caribou.
Caribou.
Okay.
And he's like, wait, no, that's not what happened. I beat him and everyone's like, okay, cool. It's like nothing.
No, but here's the other problem, right? Like Apu, you brought up Apu, and it's like Apu is the reason Kid got slaughtered because he's the traitor, and he's
and Kid didn't knock him out.
I'll let that slide. And then the other part, he actually ran at Luffy at the end of Wano, and Luffy will-broed him. Like Kid actually was like, "I'm gonna take your head straw," and Luffy's like,
"Apu should have 3 bills too."
No, you're
like,
not.
Here's the
Apu's still alive, right?
Apu knocked out Luffy. Right?
Apu was like
fought against Zoro, took an attack from Kid, fought against
Zoro, took attack from Zoro too,
and also Zoro. Apu might be legit.
Might be him.
But exactly. Like, the biggest takeaway,
the biggest takeaway from this whole thing with Kid and companies that, and thank God, is that no, because like there was an idea, and I hate it so much. There was an idea that because we're having the pre-time skip, Kid was ahead of Luffy. Shots type 1. There was an idea that Kid was ahead of Luffy, and a lot of folks believed it because he had a higher bounty than Luffy in the pre-time skip.
Like Jackie clarifies that.
Exactly. I agree. So the biggest takeaway from all this is the fact that people understand now. Yeah, Kid is not Luffy. There is only one Luffy.
Kid is that he was a fraud.
Kid is not a fraud. He's not a fraud.
He's bad. He's fraudulent because he just kills civilians.
You guys want a fun fact about pre-time skip?
Is that fraudulent? I mean, it should be more. He's more
famous. Pre-time skip bounties. Oda has said it's pre-time skip, at least up until Sengoku. I just posted a short about it. It's all been decided by one character, Major Brand New. He's the one who decides all the bounties. So he's the reason why Kid has a higher bounty. So you could blame him, Cole. You could Taekwon, take it up with Brand New.
I mean, I think for Kid, at least in regards to his journey, he was doing it without being aided by.
Right, he doesn't have
like
the power that Mihawk said Luffy
not even just the power. Luffy has been acquiring the perfect crewmates.
Of
Yeah,
course.
but he doesn't have the like he doesn't
Because
got
beyond
the
Killer, what kid got like heat?
That's his problem.
Somebody, I forgot who said this, but this is I thought it was a great explanation between Luffy and Kid, where Luffy has the power to create friends, right, and allies, and Kid basically has the power to create enemies.
Yeah,
right.
He doesn't have to.
Right.
Exactly.
So it's just like they
it.
have the same mindset, but just like Luffy, he got Hirogoro in Wano, and Kid left and was like, "I'm gonna do it on my own."
Yeah, but
I'm glad you bring that up too, because I'm sure we're going to talk about this later in the month, Cole. Because I know we're doing your power scaling stream.
Real quick, the 27th. 12 p.m.
I'm there. You got it.
Wait. So FYI, because I did a Tuesday version of that earlier this month. That was 15 hours long. So I'm not too sure if we're gonna make it that long.
I'm not making it 15 hours.
Hopefully not. But I'm trying to get like more cats into the stream, and then we'll see how things go.
But what I was gonna say is that for that stream, I know damn well what I'm gonna be doing, which is I know Law is gonna be significantly above Kid.
I mean,
because Law was taking on multiple Blackbeard
commanders.
And managed to get out of there because his crewmate Beppo goes so long and sneaks him out and goes out of there. The fact that his polar bear crewmate stopped him from facing the same fate that Killer and Kid did, like, to me, that right there is.
But I think it goes back to just like the difference in regards to the personalities, right? Because Law was trying to run
3-on-1. He was trying to run, but he was still
trying to run away. Yeah,
but that's like if Kid was trying to run away from Shanks and then was fighting Yasopp, Ben Beckman, and Lucky Roo all at the same time and still managed to get away. That's absurd to me.
I think he can do that.
He didn't. Clearly, he's on the bottom of the sea.
The thing is, that's Shanks.
He failed.
I was about to say.
Yeah, but if it's Yasopp, Ben Beckman, and Lucky Roo,
hey man, Benny took that arm in the first place. All right,
that was kid. That was young Kid. You know what I'm saying? That was young Kid. Hold on. Ben Beckman is taking all the Supernova's arms. Time skip.
Absolutely. Time skip. Okay.
Yeah, hold on, but
technically it's not free time skip.
Wait,
it's
real quick.
It's in the middle of time skip.
Yeah.
Yeah, real quick. I gotta give a shout out to Eric and Christian. Number one,
thanks, man.
Number two, did you guys hear that? Like, just think about where we were like 3-4 years ago, and now kind of saying, "Well, that's just Shanks."
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh my God!
Everyone agrees he's top one. It's over. It's over.
How long did it take us to get here, bro?
Yeah.
Like,
when disagreeing though, because I feel like
hold on.
I've never heard from someone who's not normal.
Okay,
everybody who's normal.
Shanks has always been top 4 at worst.
Minimum
right?
Top 5.
Cole's acting like we've been calling Shanks all the time.
Like
nobody
did. This is the
It's
thing.
people you can hang around with then, because
I don't want to hear this bullshit.
This is the thing. Most of like the YouTubers,
always,
well, the old ones anyway, have Shanks top 1. There's a lot of new guys that talk about Mihawk and.
I think it's like this is what happens, Eric.
Wait, Roger's not on Twitter. I forget. Roger's not on Twitter.
Tell me one name of someone who puts Mihawk top 1.
Radman.
Radman. Fiji.
Roger wanted names.
No, Roger, I don't think you understand how strong the Mihawk hive is.
I love Mihawk, though. I'm saying as a Mihawk fan, if you were going to ask me my 10 favorite characters, Mihawk is in my top 10. I still think that is the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life.
What I'm saying is, Roger, there are a lot of people that believe that Mihawk is stronger than Shanks.
There's a lot of people.
Twitter, Roger, the people you least suspect, they're Mihawk. It's the craziest thing.
But I realized what happened, and I saw it on Twitter in real time.
This is what's going on.
People get bored, right? And then they just like, what can I do that's like big brained that can blow the community out of the water? Oh, Ulti can beat Katakuri.
Oh my God, bro.
Oh my God, bro. Ulti beating Katakuri is actually wait, real quick. Because I don't know how much longer I could stay, because I have to go to a separate photo shoot.
Yeah, I need to do another stream.
I want to ask you guys something specific. I want to ask something specific, which is, there was a meme going around recently. There was like a power scaling chart thing where it was like you choose one of each row, right?
Yeah.
One of the rows. There's one
migration. That Brago modified. Yeah, I see, bro.
Okay, so there you go. So there is one row that's on there that I specifically want to ask you guys about because I have heard a wide range of opinions, and it's the one that I think is like the closest of any of them.
Right.
Which is the row was Katakuri, Law, Yamato, and Current Crocodile. And who would you take?
Oh, you mean those things? Never mind. Never mind.
Okay, choose one of those four who could beat
Katakuri, Law, Crocodile,
Yamato, and Crocodile.
Oh, I saw your IG reel about that, Rod.
Right.
Yeah, I'd go Law.
So go
it's a Katakuri, Law, Yamato, and who?
And Current Crocodile.
Why is Crocodile there? I'm playing.
2 billion.
I would say
it's got to be Law. It has to be Law.
That's what I said. It has to
How's
be
it not Law? How's it not?
It's either Law. It's either Law or Yamato.
It's Law or Yamato.
It's Law or Yamato.
Yeah, I think it's Law or Katakuri.
There we go.
I think Katakuri above Yamato for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Without a doubt.
I think.
I don't know.
It depends because those lists are
The
like
problem is
to save yourself.
I think Yamato is stronger.
Nah.
The problem is that Yamato. I just watched Yamato versus Kaido in the anime again, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So
it's a fantastic episode.
it was insane how she's boxing against Kaido. So
but that's not real. But wait, time out. Because it's boxing is not the right way to put that. I think like
the anime gassed it.
The anime
gassed
it for sure.
No,
the anime gassed it.
No, the
Bro, they had Yamato blitzing Kaido.
Yeah, she does that.
I think the other thing too, people don't take into consideration the fact that Yamato is literally the child of Kaido. So like, of course, there's going to be punches pulled, like regardless of what is said in the dialogue. Like Yamato going against Kaido, I don't think is a good, especially in the way that it was put in the story, where it wasn't like any major damage was done. It's not like all of a sudden Yamato broke one of Kaido's horns off or something. You know what I mean? It was like a stall thing. Whereas I feel like Katakuri, because I think Katakuri, like if we're really doing this, I think Katakuri to me is definitely above Yamato. Because Katakuri, then I would say would be like king level.
I'm not
alongside the other commanders. And if people are saying like Zoro is beating King, like I don't know.
Okay, here's the thing, Roger. Here's the counterpoint, and I'm a Katakuri stan, right?
Yeah.
I don't think you are.
What?
I don't know if you're after Mr. Slam Jam.
Listen. I'll say this, right? Here's a counterpoint. Here's a counterpoint.
Okay.
Yamato was willing to box against Kaido for a short period of time.
It wasn't short.
When it was time for Katakuri to box against Yonko, he stood down.
Right. He said, I'm not doing this.
Yamato's fine after the war. He's still active.
I think
here's my thing. I think in regards to all of those characters, I think Katakuri is the best fighter.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's gotten appropriately upscaled to Wano yet.
Right.
Wano.
I don't know. I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree with Kyle.
I don't think he has. No, because the biggest equalizer in Wano, I think, or the biggest bump is Advanced Conquerors.
Exactly.
You give Katakuri Advanced Conquerors, I am with you.
But in terms of attack power.
Is that Katakuri, right? Like it also depends. Like those lists, it's like, are you saving yourself? Do you need people to protect you? For Katakuri, I feel like his awakening is just insane. Like he could throw like the amount of stuff that he can do AOE.
Like Mountain is nothing.
I still take Law though. Like Law.
I think we're all in agreement. We all agree Law is of the four. I agree.
Yeah. But
I think Law would struggle with Katakuri greatly.
I feel like Katakuri's utility is insane.
Because Law's advantage is you're not seeing it coming.
But can he?
That's
can
his
Katakuri
advantage.
even dodge room? That doesn't even make sense to me.
Of course he can. He can dodge everything.
No, because Eric, it still has to happen, right?
Yeah,
so even if he's using his room, it has to happen.
He's in the
see it
room,
happen.
and then he just like something.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Law's strength is like
to dodge Snake Man. Katakuri was doing that immediately, bro.
Yes, that's my thing. That's why I think Law would struggle because Law's strength. Law's strength is the unexpected. You don't know what he's gonna do. Katakuri's gonna see it coming.
Right.
Yeah, and Katakuri didn't really show fatigue with his awakening that much. So it's like if he can use that awakening off, like that's insane. That's broken. That's like, what are we doing? How do you?
My thing is that shows that Katakuri, in regards to dodging, is insane. Is they slowed it down, but he was dodging jet Gatling perfectly.
Yeah, bro.
Perfectly, with no problem. And then we saw when he goes to donut mode, it's like,
of course, it's over.
You know, so I think Yamato has the power to put Katakuri down, but Law has the technical skill.
I agree. The Katakuri disrespect that's going on Twitter is out of control.
It is.
Eric, Well, when characters get popular
Fucking
for one,
Ulti? Like, what the hell are you smoking, bro?
when
Ulti?
characters get popular for one, right?
Well,
Yeah.
People are like, okay, how can I say this character gets beat?
Fucking Ulti.
Right.
But like
Check
even with
in.
Shanks sometimes, it's like, what are we talking?
I think
I'm
the
a DM
nexus is
with
it.
always the nexus
Yeah.
of all these conversations
What I
is
missed?
always
I'm a DM
Zoro
with
because
it.
they want Zoro to beat Katakuri easily to like.
Which I also think is absurd because like I think even Cole, I think I quote tweeted one of your posts about it where people were like Katakuri versus King and I was like Katakuri easy and people were like there's no way there could possibly be the King.
Bro,
I think to me, the weird hive mind around King is what I find absurd.
It's Zoro
Like because literally if you're not stupid and you know to wait for him for his wings, you're good.
Yeah, and he's
And
got
if you
future
are
sight.
able
He
to
can
wait
see
him
when he
out
turns
enough,
them off. Right. Yeah.
that's it. You can literally.
I
see
think in
when he turns
regards
them off.
to power,
Like-
you could argue King, but in regards to
But Brago,
IQ,
you have to deny yourself the absolute toeaway gas they gave that fight. Because
no, that final episode was insane. But like that feels like no, it was insane. It was insane. But that feels like
King is like has the most gas of any character I've ever seen in one. Period. He had one fight and lost that fight, and still people are like he's stronger than every character.
King wasn't.
And I'm like, what are you talking?
I think because of like the counting stats that people look at, where I look at, for instance, I think Doflamingo is one of the best fighters in One Piece. Doflamingo is one of the best fighters in One Piece, right? But I don't think that's value in One Piece.
Right.
Which is wild to me because like literally you had Doflamingo with the birdcage, with Fujitora and Zoro and all these other people, and still people sleep on Doflamingo.
That's a hack that people don't use it.
Whoa. We can apply to Katakuri, not for Dofi, not yet.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying Dofi above Katakuri.
No, but Dofi's one of the best fighters in the story.
Yes.
Wait a minute, I was sure about that.
I agree.
Yes, he is.
Dofi's coming back Final War, absolutely. Doing something
He
wild.
may.
You don't show him on the ground of the prison being like, bring on the throne war.
Listen,
Lion, of course he's going to come back.
Wait, here's a question. If Homing didn't leave the Holy Land, Doflamingo would have been like a top tier Holy Knight. Yeah,
he'd be a God Knight.
Absolutely
Insane.
Dofi'd be a God Knight.
I almost wish that was the timeline.
He would be strong. He probably would be stronger. Because remember, Dofi. Remember,
they said because again, like remember how like we saw like
got comfortable.
That's
exactly.
Right.
Dofi rested on his laurels. Exactly.
But at the same time, normally a lot of times when you go through the world of One Piece, you get stronger just by exploring, doing things, meeting people, that kind of stuff. So like Zoro said that. I think Shanks alluded to that too at some point. So it's kind of like I'm not too sure if being the whole land just by itself is making you stronger. Like
I think you have the best resources up there.
The God Knights probably.
I mean, shit, they haven't shown it yet. I mean, Fisher Tiger's like, ha ha. The style of the boy is like, ha ha.
By the way, I was talking to this the other week. 100%, we're gonna get that Fisher Tiger flashback with Boa, and he's gonna be like, oh, Nika. In that flashback with it's gonna happen. Like everyone's gonna know about Nika now. It's always been a thing.
I mean, it's gonna be a thing that everyone's been saying. You've been telling the story.
It's gonna be something that people like. I've always heard about that. Nika.
Oh, Nika, the rubber.
Or someone's gonna call him that.
Here's my thing: if I would have mentioned Nika once in Fishman Island, there wouldn't be a problem. All right.
No.
Yeah,
or even literally by name once pre-time skip in an alluded thing in Skypea or something.
The most he did was the sun.
Don't bring up
he had
the sun god
stuff.
Right.
Don't
he had the sun stuff,
mermaids.
like the chapter with Jinbei, the road to the sun. Like
even
he had all that.
I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's perfectly fine if people if people refer to the sun god or like later on instead of just Nika by name. I think I won't have an issue with it, but if every character in the story randomly is like, I remember the folklore of Nika, wow, that to me will be a little odd then, because everybody then knows about this guy with rubber powers that's running around. And then meanwhile, for the entire first half of the story, when you have a guy with literally that power set, no one questions it when he's suddenly making friends with everybody and liberating countries. That's when it gets a little.
And the biggest knock is on the Gorosei, right? The Gorosei sitting still, be like, it's just that rubber.
I mean,
surely the Gorosei know about the problem.
Well, the thing is,
they don't care about.
Yes.
The
Gorosei,
they don't
I'm not
care.
sure. Because
they don't believe it's real.
Okay, so remember like in chapter 1030, I think it was 1037, when Junichi pulls up. In that chapter, the Gorosei kind of talked to each other about how like there was something that was hidden even from them. So they kind of allude to how like they didn't know something,
right?
And then they found out something off screen, and then that's when they said, "Okay, go and kill Luffy now."
Surely Anu has to know.
Everybody, but Kuma back then knew that there's somebody with rubber powers, and so like as soon as if I'm the Gorosei, anybody with rubber, We got to get rid of him immediately.
If Joy Boy hid the poneglyphs and hid
a Monkey D, Garp's grandson.
Yeah, but the problem is that Delphi powers are always set in stone. So it's like if you have a Gomu versus a mythical Zoan, they're two different powers. Like someone like Oven, can make fire, but he's not a Mary.
What if Joy Boy?
I'm saying if rubber is the thing that's the characteristic that you know for
I see what you're saying. Like I see like
also. Luffy should have been packed up so long ago.
Yeah, but Brago, we act like the world government hasn't tried to take out Luffy multiple times, and he always escapes.
They did try.
They tried with Kuma.
Yeah, but they tried
like he always gets away.
Cruzan always let him leave.
Kuma was the one that saved Luffy.
Kuma saved them.
Yeah, Kuma.
They thought the warlords would get him.
So they always try to take him out, and then you got to remember for 2 years they thought he was MIA/dead.
I think it just feels like because of how important it is.
The biggest departure from that is actually Thriller Bark, because it's like they didn't tell Kuma to take him out. They were just like, oh, like he might beat you, right? But if they wanted to actually be efficient, they'd be like, that dude has rubber. He already took out Warlord. We're sending Kuma to kill him. Like
at that point, they would just be like, look, all right, we're gonna send Akainu. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
So like they're saving grace. They're saving grace that they didn't know.
They
shouldn't have known. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they had Usu transporting the Gomu no Mi. It was under the world government ownership.
No, that's ridiculous though. And
at that point, right, they already were like, the amount of punishment that Who's Who got, it was significant. Because why? It was important,
let's be real,
right?
Luffy starts his romance dawn, and it's like 6 months until he gets to Sabaody, right? So
maybe even less.
So we're talking about 20 years of storytelling, but it's only really been 6 months. And the Gorosei have sent people after Luffy, and he keeps on escaping. You gotta remember about the timeline. Like they have,
even without that, though, right?
But the problem is they put him onto the high level. They say, hey, even making Kaido mad is preferable to having Luffy get Gear 5 or have the unique ability. It's wait, time out.
Yeah, they were gonna make Kaido mad.
Y'all should have got something way sooner than that.
I agree.
That's what I'm saying. They have to say it has to be they didn't know.
Who's Who was transporting it, and he knew Shanks was the one who did it, and they're homies with Shanks apparently. Like, you know what I mean? The Gomu was there. They're later like, oh wait, we changed the Gomu.
Maybe it's like,
and then Shanks is the one who took it. Who's like, what was I supposed to do? It was Shanks, and they're like, oh, you're dead. Like
the way the fruit works is there's been previous units, and they haven't done shit with it. It seems like awakening it is like,
but that goes back to what Brago said. It's like no matter what, you show up with rubber powers, you're done. Like it doesn't matter. 6 months don't matter.
Well, it goes back to the world government's main issue. They're arrogant. They're arrogant, and they're like, it's not gonna happen.
Let's not pretend like just because of this flashback, we think that the world government is competent or can achieve anything. For the last 20 years of the story, they haven't done anything.
Oh yeah, of course not.
Saturn's as a scientist, worse than Caesar.
Yeah, trash.
I think it makes it worse. It makes it worse, Eric, because Saturn took so many measures
on garbage measures. Worse measures.
Yeah.
Like his
I don't know about the worst measures.
Saturn Kuma? He said we're gonna remove his free will entirely. We're not gonna leave
How many times has Vegapunk betrayed this man? But secretly, a million times.
The audacity for Saturn to even say, "Oh, I'm a man of science." I wanted to literally that was. Oh my!
I think that was one that kind of, it was like tongue in cheek, almost like don't do it. He believes it, but he's trying to throw Vegapunk off.
And then
Vegapunk doesn't know what he knows.
He's doing experiments and failed all of them.
But the whole thing about the world government, the Gorosei, is they fundamentally don't.
He's still a man of science. He did experiments.
The world government doesn't want to believe the truth of the world, which is free will exists.
Because if they believe it, that makes it stronger.
No, but like in general, bro, they don't want to believe that free will exists.
But then here's the thing, right? His comparison that they're ants, right? Imagine being outsmarted by an ant, dude. That's what's happening to him. An ant is literally like, this is ant life.
They can't comprehend it because they don't understand the world.
Yeah, he just said, bro, why would I care about an insect?
And that's crazy to me. And ain't no world am I letting an ant beat me. That's stupid.
That's their biggest weakness. They're arrogant.
Well, Pa, if you're tied up on a post and some ants get you, dead. So ants could kill you.
Yeah, apples on ants, you know. Okay.
But anyway,
if I'm Gorosei level, ants aren't winning.
There we
You
go.
guys still got some time left, or how do we feel?
I'm gonna head out like.
I gotta head out soon too. Yeah, I'm like wrapping it up.
Okay.
What's the photo shoot for? Is it a calendar?
It's actually no, we're doing a merch drop. I actually can't even talk about it yet, but I'm gonna show it anyway.
okay.
Is we're doing a merch drop for the podcast that I'm on, and so we have like a whole bunch of hoodies and shirts and all kinds of tags and stuff, and we have like a pro shot here that's in LA that we have to go shoot at night, and then we're doing another one tomorrow in Santa Monica, and so it's like a whole big thing.
Okay.
But the clocks turned out awesome. You can see the little here. Take a look. Little Japan time clock.
Nice.
Oh,
Turned out really nice.
Oh,
Yeah, it worked out really good.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, it turned out really nice.
Yeah.
All right.
There you
So, 2024 One Piece is gonna be insane. Not to mention
sir.
all the extra projects they're
All
gonna
their
do.
studio wit, all those projects.
Some people get mad at
I assume a video game is coming that is gonna be good because they're investing in the IP. Hopefully,
No.
we get
Just
the
make
they
another
tried.
Pirate Warriors.
Pirate
Yeah,
Warriors
they tried with
5.
Odyssey.
Just make another Pirate Warriors. That's all we need.
Yeah, Pirate Warriors
Dude, just
5.
make. You don't even need. Just make a Burning Blood, bro. Make a Burning Blood 2.
Burning Blood
Burning
2?
Blood was
One
legitimately
Piece
fun,
Budokai.
bro.
And it's
Oh
Guys,
yeah,
guys, we have a
but
card
Pirate
game.
Warriors though.
Oh, we have a card game, guys. It's great. We're
Yeah,
doing
if,
it.
game
if
is
they
fun,
put
to
it
be fair.
digital, if they make it digital, I'll play it.
The card game's fun.
The card game.
Yeah.
Just honestly, the thing is, we're probably
I'm
not
so
going to get
tired
an
of One
actual
Piece
2D
games.
fighting game anytime soon. Like
So
I
tired of
want
it.
I want a One Piece Fighters. and I
Seeing
think
they
it's
can't
like-
get a One Piece fighting game
Bruh.
before One
Hold
Piece.
on,
I'm like,
Brago. That's a complete shovelware game, though. That's not like a.
I don't care. I'll take it.
The Hunter x Hunter one might actually be good though, because it's
Hunter x
developed
Hunter's
by the
getting a
Mercury
game.
series,
Bro,
right?
Yeah, it
Just-
doesn't kind of solid.
Yeah.
Give us a Burning Blood too, bro.
That's all I
Right.
want.
Give us,
Oh,
yeah,
Bro,
everyone,
with all the
everyone
Wano
obviously
characters,
wants-
are you kidding me?
Yeah.
We need
Gotta create
Rockstar.
it.
We need Rockstar to make GTA 7 just one piece.
Everyone
play as
always
Roger?
wants the
Gear 5
the
Luffy would be
Dragon Ball Z
insane.
Fighters One Piece.
Gear 5 Luffy would be so fun.
GTA.
Honestly,
Luffy,
at that point
yeah.
though, just do like one, like I said, get Arc System after Dragon Ball to do One Piece, and just do One Piece Fighters. I think like that's a 2D One Piece fighting game is going to eventually happen, like within our lifetimes. But I don't think. I think it's going to happen probably more towards
Do
the
you
end,
know that Arc
like the actual end of the
You
series.
know, Arc System actually made that game. It's on 3DS.
Yeah.
No,
It's-
yo, I
it's-
love
it's
Jump
a-
Superstars.
it's a Dragon Ball
Jump Superstars
versus
is
One
fire. Yeah, I love
Listen,
it.
listen.
But
Oh,
that's what we
yeah,
need.
okay.
We need Jump Superstars 3.
Yeah,
That's what we
Ultimatics,
need.
the rumor.
I'll take that.
Put that up there. No more Jump Force, because Jump Superstars was essentially 2D,
Smash
but also
Brothers,
kind of
basically.
Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
It was
Right.
awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah.
It's like
screwed.
my
Shout out to-
kind of game,
Just
dude.
Shout out to
make
Battle Stadium Dawn.
Shueisha, just
Battle
make
Stadium Dawn was fun.
Just make Smash Brothers with
Get
infinite
Bandai to
DLC
do it.
packs.
Fire.
Do it.
Just do
Smash
it.
Brothers, the anime
Yeah,
characters
Bandai.
would go so
Sakurai's
hard.
not doing anything. I guess.
Dude, Bandai already makes
Yeah,
Smash Brothers.
Bandai has
So
the time.
Bandai, you're making Smash with anime characers. That's all they have to do. They literally just take the
It'd be like the
exact
biggest game in the
template.
world. Yeah.
That sounds
That
like
would
a
go
job for you,
insane. That would
Brago.
go insane.
I mean, Roger. That sounds like a job for you.
That's what I
Right.
want, man. That's what I want.
You gotta call up the Bondi.
See, but I don't want to make the game. I'm not over here trying to make the game and get people send me death threats. All right, I want to react to the trailers and make my money that way.
Yes, sir.
I'm not
Yes,
about
sir.
to try to make the game myself.
You
Yeah.
said death
That's
threats,
not
and
me.
then Cole's camera turned black and white. That was kind of scary.
Why is Carl's cover like?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh,
It's
That's
cold.
crazy.
Is that the
I
Jesus
don't
fruit you were
agree.
talking about?
That's right.
No.
The
Alright,
Hito me model Jesus, exactly.
any new products for the people's channels? And if for 2024 we're doing anything interesting, or we're just going the same?
Roger and I are doing a top 100 video game stream.
Excited
Sometime
for it.
this year.
At some point this year,
Yeah.
we're gonna do it. It's gonna be fun.
Oh,
I'm
Rico,
actually-
I bet
we didn't get a chance to do it.
I've been talking
Rico,
to Randy last year about maybe hopefully setting up an actual in-person reverie. That'll be kind of
Yes,
lit.
sir. Yes, sir.
Cole, can you pay for
um,
that plane ticket? Or
Maybe. Oh, but
Oh,
as long
shit.
as I get a few Rue burgers when I go to Australia, okay?
I mean, you
There
get
you go,
all the
there you
root
go.
burgers you want. All right.
Damn right. Perfect. Yeah. So I'm thinking about
like-
so hopefully we can work that out. Let's say at some
Yes, sir.
expo, maybe actually get that going on actual. And then I don't know how it's gonna be per se in terms of setup, but I need to talk to Randy about that and see if things if he has the time and would work things out. Hopefully work things out. But because that'd be amazing.
Would certainly be fire.
Alright,
There's-
so we got
yep.
Cole's top 50 coming up.
That's 2 weeks.
That's right.
Oh,
It'd
that's
be
gonna
fun.
be so cancer.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious. Who's
Oh.
hosting the next reverie?
I don't
Like
think
the
we've
actual
talked
like
about
it.
online one. We talked about it.
No, I don't think we've talked about it.
Who hasn't
I
done
don't think
one?
we talked about it.
Hey, yo, I bought it's Taekwon.
Surely after
Taekwon.
Egghead finishes, we'll do one, right?
Taekwon.
Taekwon would be fired.
We just
I'm
gotta
down
wait for
that.
an Oda break, right?
No,
Yeah.
Next rev after Egghead, right?
after Egghead finishes,
After
sure.
Egghead?
Yeah, that'll be the next
Oh,
one.
sure, yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
so how long do you
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
think Egghead's going for?
Oh,
Do you think it's wrapping up soon?
I think
months.
I think we'll be in Elbaf by the end of May. That's
End
my
of May?
prediction.
Yeah, I
End
can
of
see
May
it.
we will be in Elbaf.
Depends how long
Yeah.
the post arc is, I guess.
Yep.
But, yeah.
'Cause some people
Yeah.
were like saying like 20 to 30, and I was like, that's an
No,
entire
that's
year,
way
right?
That's a year. Yeah,
Yeah.
no way.
I mean,
No.
knowing Oda, it could actually be that though.
Well,
I mean,
depends.
he's
Depends,
not
gonna take
right.
it depends how many breaks he takes, because the season 2 of the live action's happening
Yeah,
this year. So he might
exactly.
take
Right.
breaks
And I
stuff.
also without talking about that, but I think removed from that.
well,
I think removed from that. I think with looking at what's going on in the manga right now and the way that they're advertising this, like if you go on Manga Plus and it says like we are now in the peak of Egghead, right? We're heading to
Yeah.
climax.
Yeah.
Like I
Yes.
do think this Saturn, Kuma, and then potentially Luffy coming back and doing something, whatever this confrontation is like the end. I
Right.
think. I think we are very close to the end.
Yeah.
And so
it's
I
not
think
robot, I
by,
think. But
Yeah, I think depending on breaks-
I don't think we're gonna get like a 10 chapter drawn out fight kind of thing.
I
That's
love-
we're
that's-
going to have at least one more this month,
Yeah.
right? We have one chapter this month on the 21st, potentially no break after that, so we could maybe have two more.
Yeah.
We then I think if we get like 3 more in February and we just only get one break week, like I think realistically we could be out of this confrontation by the end of February and then out of Egghead by end of March.
Yeah, I think that's
I
possible.
think Max, Jude were in.
Wait,
Elbaf. That's the
here's
best.
an
Yes, for
interesting
sure. Like I said,
question.
end of May, so June,
Yeah.
exactly. There you go.
Since
Yeah.
like the stream was winding down, I just had a question. I mean, I sort of got the answer, but it'd be fun to go around and hear everyone's thought on next chapter's coming out very soon, and
Sure.
some people think Saturn's dying, whatever. But like, what do you think happens right next?
Right
with
now,
Saturn?
Saturn gets smacked. It doesn't work. We get a little down moment. Kuma,
Yep.
we're desperate, and then Luffy gets back up.
That's
Yeah.
exactly
That's
that's literally
exactly what I
beat for
think,
beat
yeah.
exactly what I think.
I
I think Kuma punches, it doesn't necessarily work all the way. They look over, right? Kuma, Bonney have a moment. They look up and Luffy's in the sky and he's
Okay, so
back
like,
to normal.
I guess
agree, but
I'm
like one
asking
add, but
more
I agree, but like wait,
specifically-
that like one add one thing though.
Yeah.
While it's down moment, he cut the dragon. He starts flying over like ghosts.
Dragon's
No,
not
dragon
dragon.
starts
go.
flying
Let's
over.
go.
That's it. That's it.
And
Alright,
then
wait,
we go
wait,
back.
wait,
Yeah,
let's go
yeah.
let's go
Dragon
around
sucks.
Let's go
Dragon
around.
sucks.
Will
Yeah.
Dragon do anything in 2024, Christian?
Stop,
Absolutely.
bro.
Yeah.
He'll do something. He'll
Ah,
finally
ah.
have.
He might be an
Amen.
egghead.
Pa,
That's
will,
right.
will
There
you
Dragon
go.
do anything
There
in
you go.
2024?
I think he does something. What he does, my God, God help him. God help Dragon at that
King
point.
Rickon, will Dragon do anything in 2024?
Absolutely.
It's
Stamp
his
it.
time. It's his time.
It's time.
Brago,
He needs to fight at Holy Night. He needs to fight at Holy Night.
Brago,
That-
will Dragon get off his chair in 2024? Will he
Yes,
move?
bro. We saw him moving in
We
the
saw him
last
standing.
chapter.
That is true. He was off his
We
chair.
saw him moving in the last chapter. It's
Okay.
like, yo, where do you think he went?
Yep.
Roger. Dragon
Yes.
2024. He will move.
No. I don't think he's really going to do much. I don't think we're going to get much of Dragon. I think we're going to get a little bit of something here or there, like him alluding to he's going to make a move, but I don't think we're
He's
really
still
getting much
gonna.
of
He's still
Dragon.
planning his move.
Can
Yeah.
Dragon beat a Seraphim?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
No one,
Yes.
no one questions Dragon's strength. Everyone
I was just-
agrees he's really strong. It's just that he doesn't do anything.
There's
Yeah.
always that one person, you just gotta check
I
them.
think,
Just
I
like
think
the
everyone's
Mihawk
got
thing,
Dragon top 5 minimum, surely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Alright, Cole, will
I wonder
Dragon
what
do
chat
anything in 2024? Is it Dragon's year?
Go Tanks. I'm waiting.
Alright.
Go Tanks on the. I mean, where he is, Egghead Island, gonna fly over. Boom.
He's faster than Kuma, Cole. He's-
Oh yeah. Amen.
Alright.
Yeah, because the
Amen.
timeline, the timeline's a little bit off because he's asking that question as soon as Kuma left.
Right.
So I believe like he could be on the way to Egghead now. Whereas
Wait,
like if you
wasn't
look at because he's
Oh,
asking.
It's in real time, isn't it?
It's
Yeah,
I
current,
don't
in
think it's
real
real time.
current time.
Wait, I
I
thought
thought
it
it's real
was.
time.
It's real time.
I don't think that makes sense.
Why? It's
There
for it to be
there
real time,
no-
because
there
why-
was no, you can
No, because I'm
argue-
saying you're asking a question of where Kuma could have possibly went like several hours later.
I don't think
That's
it's so
that's
bad.
why the stocks are so low. It's
Watch out, Park.
Oh,
like the double spread, right, Brago? It says present moment, and we don't go any gradient. There's nothing like that. We
Yeah,
go
it's current
right
time.
But
towards
also the
the
people,
current
the
time.
people are
We're back
talking
to-
about
back
the
to the
raid
timeline.
from
Yeah.
Luffy on
Yeah.
Egghead as
Well,
well.
So it-
Bonnie's being held by Saturn, and then Dragon's in the corner of that page, being like, "Where's Kuma?"
Yeah.
So,
See,
like,
and I
it's
my
current
thing,
time.
it's like a day has gone by, and I'm like, so like, and I roasted him, and people were like, but it's not blah blah. I'm like, listen, it took a day for Dragon to ask the question. If Kuma's running off some fragment of his true instinct, where do you think he'll go, Eva? It took him a day to ask that question. Me, I see my homie
Yeah,
jumping,
that wouldn't make sense
I'm
to me.
asking immediately.
Immediately, where are you going?
Yeah, that would make sense to me.
Yeah.
And so that, I don't blame you, Brago, for thinking that. But yeah, looking
absolutely.
back at the chapter, it literally is current time.
Again,
So he has
Wow.
Bonney in
just
his
with the
hand.
just with the dragon stuff, no one's saying he's weak. Everyone just has questions about him narratively as a
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. For sure.
All right. Anything else before we wrap it up? Anyone got anything else? We all good?
Big news,
I
Morgans.
do-
We're gonna see his human form this year.
Oh,
Human form Morgans.
Cool.
Human form.
Is
Big News
he
Morgans.
Scott Gabon?
Yes.
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 Well, maybe not anymore, right? Because like we saw Scopper Gabon on God Valley, and we know that Big News Morgan's reported God Valley, right? So like
Right.
That doesn't
concurrent
prove
in the
anything,
timeline.
bro. He could
Yeah,
be the same person.
It could be
Yeah,
his
He
but-
could be on Roger
You haven't seen
and
them at
God
the same
Valley,
time together.
and like we haven't seen them in the same.
Just to
movie.
remind everybody, for anyone's watching, if you don't know, now you know. This arc is longer than Punk Hazard. So
Really?
we're
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So we are on
Which
pace
is
to
crazy because Punk has
it's-
so much wasted time. It's crazy.
yeah. So there's a good chance that it's going to be even longer than the anime because it's going to add a lot of shit. All right,
Oh,
they're going to add
yeah.
Good stuff.
unbelievable shit. Okay?
I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Give
yeah.
me more. Give me more Egghead. I love it.
So
Yeah,
there's the
I
anime.
love it.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Yeah.
which, the episode's out. We should probably watch that.
Do you
Yes,
guys?
that's
yeah.
There
awesome.
you go.
I need it now.
Can't wait for that.
You
Do
gotta
you
watch
think
it.
Vegapunk
I'm
dies?
ready.
Vegapunk dies?
Nope. Vegapunk's
No.
living and talking to soul.
Which one?
The main body's living.
Yeah. Which one?
Main body and Lilith. They both live.
There you go. That's a good call. That's a good call.
Alright.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're about to wrap it up. I appreciate the boys come along. We should do this more often because
Absolutely, gentlemen.
2 weeks from now,
Always
remember
a
2
good
weeks.
time.
Always a pleasure.
always
Bring
a
your
good
top
time.
50s. All right, get.
I'm
Get
ready,
ready.
dude. The Doflamingo
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
is gonna be so toxic.
Yeah,
I cannot wait. I'm not backing down with the burger.
Hey.
Top 5. We're going, man.
I think we're gonna try and
We
get
got
more
plenty of
guests
time.
on in 2024, Christian. It's a little bit difficult.
Time-
with the
yeah, the time
zone
zone's
and the official
hard.
come out
It's
Mondays.
hard.
Hey, man.
We'll try.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the channel. I should probably say that. And yeah, we appreciate the people coming. Reverie, Reverie's probably middle of the year, I guess. We'll
Yeah,
figure
probably.
it out. Yeah.